Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Angel Velez, and John Tortorelli. And this is now episode 491. In this episode, we're going to get into the adjustments OKC made in Game 2 to neutralize the Pacers' offense. Kevin Durant saying reportedly, according to Amico Hoops, that he wants to go to the Spurs. He's hoping that the Suns will trade him to the Spurs. Followed along with a lot of NFL topics. Training camp, mini camp has started today. We have some notable holdouts that we have to talk about. And then Jaire Alexander recently got cut by the Green Bay Packers. And John's favorite team made the move of the offseason. And that's signing four-time MVP, future Hall of Famer, Aaron Rodgers.
Didn't he get less than Justin Fields?
Who's better?
Justin Fields.
No, he's not.
Not according to Steelers.
Not according to anybody.
He's not better.
Oh.
I want the Steelers to keep Fields.
So what do you think about
What
him,
is
man? It's a
Aaron
mega
Rodgers
move. Aaron Rodgers.
Not a mega move.
Yes.
What are you guys
Well,
now going to
there's-
peek
Oh,
at?
no, this is a mega move for the Steelers.
There's two ways you could look at it.
They're back at 10
on
wins?
one side of the coin.
They were never wavering from that.
Yeah.
All right, John, floor is yours. Apologize.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
The offensive line this year you're hoping it's going to be healthy, and if that can protect Rodgers, the matter is really just how well he works together with Arthur Smith. I think it's a good move for Pittsburgh. I was a little bit aggravated with Rodgers. I'm kind of have a feeling why he weighed this out at the Steelers. More importantly, though, I'm glad that my team has a quarterback, and I feel like it does give us an extra 2 wins at the end of the season. I know a lot of people. You're looking at
Fair.
me
He
crazy.
said 2 wins.
Mason
Not
Rudolph
nuts.
versus
Wait,
Aaron Rodgers.
two from last year? How many wins you had last year?
10.
Wait,
No,
2 from last year?
That's
Just
what
in
I'm
general.
asking.
That's
Your
what
win
I'm
total
asking.
for the
No,
coming
what
season.
he
That's what my face was like, because
I
that's
can
12
use the
wins.
words.
That's
I
12
had us as an
wins.
8-win team with Mason.
Oh, okay,
Rudolph.
all right,
I think
all right,
we're a
that's
9
my
and
fault,
10
that's
win
my
team
For
with
sure.
Rodgers.
I
Yeah.
thought you were saying it from last year.
No,
And
no.
I do believe that a lot of people don't like Rodgers because he's a controversial figure, but you can't deny his play on the field. He's not the same quarterback after the Achilles tear. I still believe that he needed structure and he needed to go to a place like Pittsburgh that can provide what the Jets couldn't necessarily give to him. He thought he
Awful
could.
franchise.
He thought he could come in and bring in
Horrendous.
his own offensive or architecture, and it really fell flat on its head with Nathaniel Hackett. But now in Pittsburgh, it's going to be more of what he needs, and there's a chip on his shoulder because I know one thing for damn sure. He doesn't want to go out on a 5-win season with the Jets. I think he's going to want his career on a high note, and the Steelers gave him a chance to do that. Not too many times in his career he's had a good defense. So it's just got to stay healthy.
Hey, the question. So,
Really glad to raise your hand.
I just wanted to be fair.
A
I
scholarly man.
don't want to interrupt you. So you had him 8 wins before Mason Rudolph. Just
Yeah,
I don't want to
we
get.
did a record prediction, and
Okay,
I
you had
said we made a mistake waiting for Rodgers.
So now,
Our main win team.
now you're at 10,
9 to 10.
9 and 10 playoffs.
I don't know.
All right, just
I'll
actually.
say no.
Okay,
Right now, I'm not quite.
The
sure.
AFC is very tough.
I agree. I'm with
It
you.
is.
It was very tough last year.
I
And they
am
made it.
jealous
They did.
of John.
What?
With this rich history of quarterbacks in the last 5 years. You have Big Ben Hall of Famer, Russell Wilson Hall of Famer, now
Nothing.
Aaron Rodgers Hall of Famer.
Nothing but Hall of Famers.
Nothing. 3 Hall of Famers in the last
Yeah.
5
Yo,
years.
Sneaky.
Is it 5 years Ben was in the
He
league?
retired in 2021.
Damn.
Felt longer.
It does feel
So longer.
longer because of the misery we've seen from Pittsburgh.
I mean, they
tell
did
you-
make the playoffs.
I'll tell you who won in all this. JJ McCarthy. Because the rumors that he was going to go
You
to
believe the
Minnesota,
rumors?
there was a piece of me that was like,
I tried to tell you,
I was becoming worried
I feel you. Kevin's a
because
smart
the
man.
longer they waited, the more and more pessimistic I became on it.
Yo, bro, you saw JJ and Justin Jettas. They go into the games together. They bonding together.
Of course, you gotta
You
do
had
that.
to know.
Elite vet by JJ.
Not a
if
lot
I'm
of.
being
Listen,
honest.
I'll say this: there are some people at the table. I don't like the point, but there's some people at the table who really felt like Aaron was going to go there and start. But Kevin O'Connell is smarter
He
than all of
could've.
us put together.
He
He's smarter
very
than
well
all of us
could've.
put together, and he knew this is my guy.
Yeah, he's
This is-
smart in the
this is my
fashion
guy.
that he
This
doesn't
is
want
my guy.
Aaron to come in and step on JJ's toes.
Also,
That
ruin the
matters.
culture.
not that
You don't want to
Aaron's
ruin
not
the
a
culture.
bad
You don't
player.
wanna coach- you don't wanna coach-
because you know it's JJ's. Like not McCarthy. I'm talking Jet.
Talk.
Like it's his team.
Talk.
The culture
Talk.
he wants to set.
Oh, you don't want
That's
you
the
don't,
foundation
You, don't want
you want.
that. You want a young foundation. You want
Last
young
year
blood.
he was
100%.
talking up Sam Darnold. He's
And
following
look what
him as a
happened.
quarterback.
And look at what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
And
Aaron
Magic
Rodgers
followed.
would have been better.
Nah,
Aaron
there's
Rodgers
levels
is
to
better.
it. Sam Darnold's playing with a chip on his shoulder because he actually had something to prove and money to make.
It's young
Aaron
blood
Rodgers
over
got
there.
something to prove
Rodgers
right
made
now.
his money already.
But he has something to prove
Rodgers
right
is a
now.
Hall of
What is
Famer
it-
already.
what
He
is
There's
doesn't
nothing
want to
prove.
go out 5-12. He doesn't.
No, he'll just go out 7 and what? 9?
Listen, and I'm saying Rodgers' record last year is not an indictment on him. More so,
No,
it's still
not.
just an indictment on the New York Jets being the worst franchise in sports.
Yeah,
That's
Jets.
all it is.
He also
We're
cost him
third.
a couple games.
The Jets were third.
Steeler game.
The Jets were third in passes dropped last year.
No, listen, your
and the
receivers are dog
offensive line
shit.
was awful.
But
All right,
Aaron
can't say the
Rodgers.
receivers
Wait,
are
no,
awful. It's
stop.
literally
Aaron Rodgers
Garrett
wasn't
Wilson.
that good either in big games.
Minnesota,
He wasn't.
Bills.
Niners. Like, he wasn't that good in big
The
games.
Niners
Jets
was his
line
first
was
game
awful.
after rupturing his Achilles.
thought y'all would win.
in years, but still,
You thought y'all would win.
We still owe Dante
I
Hall.
feel
a
like
bottle of
in
wine.
their defense, you thought the Jets' offense line was awful.
yeah, it was.
With
Beginning of the
tackle
season
play?
was awful.
Yeah, but by the end,
It got better.
The Jets'
ish.
offensive line got better
This is
when
the best their offense lines
They
look.
got better when they
Olu
played easier.
Fashanu played. No,
So,
it,
Be
no,
more
Nah,
Moses
a
at
little
tackle.
It's the fact that Tyron Smith was a turnstile left tackle. Now Olu Fashanu came in and started, but Aaron Rodgers could not drop back past 2.8 seconds because then he would get pressure.
And then there was no run game on top of him for him
That
to build
was-
off because the run
that
game,
was
the
a
run
very
blocking was
important
also
thing.
dog shit.
Unfortunate.
Brees Hall's more
unfortunate.
of a receiver for that team. I never thought that Rodgers was signed with the Vikings, and to me, I think
Neither did I, but
every
I was
young
giving him
quarterback
credit.
needs a veteran. The Vikings backer now is Sam Howell, but like kind of Riv highlighted with McCarthy coming in, you look at the coaching in Minnesota, and year by year, it's Kirk had an MVP caliber season. Sam Darnold has an incredible season. It's one of, if not the most quarterback-friendly team in the NFL, to where you trust J.J. McCarthy and his de facto rookie year coming in and being overproductive, but it's so important to maximize the rookie contract, and you weren't going to do that if he had J.J. sit in 2 years. I think he's more NFL ready than his production at Michigan would have suggested.
We gloss over Dobbs' sanity too. He got traded there. He
Facts.
was winning games.
Nick Mullins.
Yeah,
had a
you're
few
right. He
very
had a
productive
300-yard
All
game.
matters in Aaron.
Monday
JJ
Night
needed
Football
reps.
legend, Nick
He missed
Mullins.
his entire rookie
a
season with an
fact.
injury.
Yeah.
He needed reps. There was no way he was going to redshirt for 2 years.
So what's Aaron proving this year?
I think Aaron's going to have a really solid season.
What's solid? Like, throw me some like actual numbers. Throw me some numbers.
He could throw for like 38.
If I tell you the numbers that he had this past
did
year,
last
you would
year.
think it's solid.
Yeah, but you watched it and you know he wasn't great or good all year.
See, but that's why Rodgers. I get what you're
I
saying.
thought he was solid.
It doesn't come down to numbers
'Cause-
with Aaron. It mostly
Okay.
comes down to
So
winning.
okay,
What
we're-
it's talk. What it's not even winning because I think that's a team thing.
No,
It's
yeah,
just
the winning-
the Jets defense ranked worse than the Jets offense. The Jets offense was better than the
That's
Jets
fair.
defense all year long. The Jets defense is one of the worst defense in the NFL, especially after Robert Saleh
For sure,
got
for sure.
fired. I feel
Losing
like
Johnson.
the expectations changed with Aaron because when he first got to the Jets,
Mhm.
the promise was we have an elite defense. We have a run game. Just come here and manage the offensive infrastructure and we'll win 10 games. Well, that defense fell off a massive cliff
Yeah.
when he played there. And now Jets fans are expecting the MVP Rodgers when he doesn't exist anymore. He came into the situation to be a game manager. The Steelers have been able to carry quarterbacks for the last couple of years off their
Wait,
defense.
he came to which situation to be a game manager? Jets?
Yes.
No.
To be a solid
No.
offensive piece.
I
Post
feel like-
Achilles
I
tear.
feel like
Post
we're-
Achilles tear.
I feel like
yes.
the first year, yeah, not the second
Year
year.
one,
But it was
Nah.
39.
you're not going to sell me on the fact that the Jets brought him in to be a game manager. No way.
The Jets brought in Aaron Rodgers to be
To make plays.
a better quarterback than anything
Of
they've had
course.
in the last
100%.
20 years.
No,
That's
but
what they brought
that's
him in
not.
for.
Wait.
No, being that and being a game manager are two different
Aaron
things.
Rodgers was promised what? An elite defense.
Yes.
Nobody thought Aaron Rodgers was gonna come to the
I'm
Jets
not,
and be an MVP.
okay, first off, you're confusing me on every point because there's some things I agree with
are you
what you're
confused
saying. I'm confused because I agree with it was more so an infrastructure thing, not Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron
Absolutely.
Rodgers was as bad as the 5-11 because, like you mentioned,
No.
it's a team game. I agree with what you're saying, but there's no way
Has to be a middle
you're
ground
gonna
here.
convince me that the Jets 2 years ago brought in Aaron Rodgers to just be good enough.
The
That's
Jets
not
2
true.
years ago brought Aaron Rodgers to be a top 5 quarterback.
Top
No,
10, 15.
But what was he when he left the Packers?
He was declining.
But what was he?
A top 15-ish quarterback.
Okay, so that's what you're probably bringing him in
if
to
you're
be
the
around.
15th best quarterback, you are a game manager.
But Aaron Rodgers was coming off 2 back-to-back MVPs to go to
His
from
final
2
season in
back-to-back
Green Bay,
MVPs
he was awful.
to top 15. Don't lie.
His final year in Green Bay, he was awful.
But we're not dropping him from being top 2 years in a row MVP after 1 year. You're now a top 15.
But he was supposed to give you good
Father
quarterback
Time hits
play.
you fast.
Who was their receiver? He didn't have anybody in Green
Remember
Bay.
Dallas.
He was also not good. Like his individual play was not good.
I remember the
and
talks,
that's why
man.
Not good was like
That's
what
why I
24 and 12
That's
for
why.
Rodgers
That's why I
standard.
told Dells that when Rodgers first got signed to the Jets before he ruptured his Achilles, I told Dels, if Jordan Love has a better season than Aaron Rodgers, I would not be shocked.
You got the tape on that? Because
yeah,
that's
I think
a good take.
He knows that. I said it.
That's a good take. I
said Jordan Love. I might have the tweet. Actually, I might have tweeted that.
I believe you.
And Jordan Love, he had a better season than him, but he ruptured his Achilles.
Yeah.
But yes, because I thought Aaron Rodgers was declining. But even with the new information that was given to us, with the fact that he did rupture his Achilles, it wasn't the fact that he came off a declining year in Green Bay, and now we're not expecting MVP quarterback. We're expecting a great quarterback, but then after he ruptured his Achilles, we're expecting just a good quarterback.
Nah,
we're back.
I remember that season, bro. You guys were expecting AFC Championship berth.
His first year?
Yes, his first year.
But then his first
and if you're in the AFC,
play,
you got to get your game manager out of that.
Season. Y'all were also gassing last season. Preseason, because I was there. I was doing it too.
For sure, but last season because of the team, I thought the team was better.
Agreed.
But I wasn't gassing last season because Aaron Rodgers is gonna carry us. I said our team is great.
He didn't think that
I'm not going to agree all in.
He didn't think Jermaine Johnson was gonna get.
You thought our offensive line was gonna be great.
I thought
we thought the team was gonna be great.
But
I think
why were we high on it?
He'll be better than the game manager.
The defense was terrible.
Little both.
The defense was top
It's
five.
like, yes, the defense was definitely at the forefront, but it's at the helm. We have Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, because you go from a situation where you win 7 games with the worst quarterback play in the league.
But we never went in with game manager ideas.
So anything,
no way.
After rupturing his
That's a
Achilles,
lie.
for
That's
sure.
hindsight.
After rupturing his Achilles, I'm not thinking he's going to be a great
mentioned
quarterback.
game manager and Rodgers in the same breath.
I'm just saying the situation around him collapsed.
It did.
Every Jets fan should have not expected the old Aaron Rodgers. And because he couldn't save us in these situations, the blame was put on him.
Because there was moments where he could have saved y'all.
There were moments.
There were moments where he could have saved y'all.
The Bills game, most definitely, he had an opportunity.
The Vikings games, he had an opportunity to save y'all.
The Bills game,
there was some mistakes all around.
The Bills game was an awful pass protection game. And also, Breece Hall could have scored a touchdown and just took the wrong angle.
Listen, bro, that's another conversation.
I think
for another
in the Bills game, in the Bills or Vikings game, I'm not sure. It might have been one of those two. It definitely was one of those two. Aaron Rodgers had a touchdown drop by Lazard.
I think it was the Bills game.
Like we had a lot of moments where players.
They also had a Hail Mary in the Bills game that
I was going to say Lazard actually caught.
But
and Garrett Wilson also made insane catch after insane catch.
Yeah, I think
he threw an INT to end the game.
There was moments where Aaron could have won y'all some games early in the season. But there's also moments where they collapsed.
I'm not looking at it and saying, okay, Aaron Rodgers didn't beat a 14-win team and the second best team in the AFC.
Who are we talking about now?
Aaron Rodgers,
no, what 14-win team?
Talk about the Vikings.
The Vikings.
Oh, it was down to the wire, though.
No, but it's you have last
That's
possession.
What I'm saying. Aaron Rodgers was the reason we went down to the wire.
Let's be fair.
He wasn't the reason I won.
We lost the game.
You're not being objective. It was one last drive. Rodgers has a ball in his hands. As a fan, as a guy who understands what Rodgers has done in his career, we're anticipating. You have one moment. I need you.
That's what
one
you brought
moment.
him in for.
Yeah, this is why we brought you here. For moments like this, to go ahead and seal the deal on a final drive. Like Riv said, and he's right, there were multiple occurrences of that last season, and he fell short. Both are true
moments, but I think losing to a 14-win team and the second best team in the AFC.
Eventually, yes, they were.
Again, you're not wrong,
defense
but
coming alive in those moments, they get paid too to make plays.
Drive.
Aaron Rodgers, at the end of the day, I thought he was more than solid. I thought the team fell apart as a whole.
I'm not going to disagree.
And that's why I think with the Steelers, it's a better situation.
But Riv's also right in what he's saying. There was a couple of moments where you needed him, and he didn't rise.
And those were early in the year.
But this is the thing that I don't understand about this type of talk, because everything always goes back to the quarterback, and pinpoint these moments, but we don't talk about how on 3rd and long, our defense had a chance to stop a rookie Bo Nix in the rain, and he threw a great pass on 3rd down to get the team into field goal range, and we lost the game because of that.
But we're not blaming him on the Denver game.
But I'm saying,
I never mentioned that. But we also can say how Bo Nix threw a touchdown and Aaron Rodgers didn't.
There's a multitude of games. That was first-ranked defense. That's a great defense. There's a multitude.
60 yards.
There's a multitude of games where it wasn't Aaron Rodgers. It was the defense.
I agree.
Yeah. That game wasn't the defense.
The Broncos and Jets game?
Yeah, that wasn't.
It was a combination. I mean, if we got that stop on 3rd and long, we win.
But I'm saying the Jets defense definitely
they just
was
score
not bad.
like
we had one touchdown.
Disgusting game.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah,
kick a field goal to win the game.
But it's also
and then they had a chance to kick a field goal. Shout out to Rodgers. Actually, he actually put them in position.
And
he missed.
Those be the worst parts when you put them in position, they miss the field goal.
And I do think that a lot of the Jets season last year it wasn't like Rodgers being a disaster. It was everybody being a disaster.
No, yeah, I don't think Rodgers, like, obviously you look back, you don't think Rodgers gets all the blame. But we can't act like he doesn't get blamed. That's what I feel like we're doing right here. We're saying
there's a
he was
little-
more
but
than
I
something.
get it.
Because to start the year early on, it was definitely a lot of Rodgers could be better. Rodgers could be better. It was a couple games where he could have been better.
I think he was at fault. He wasn't perfect.
Yeah, but
he doesn't deserve the most blame.
He doesn't. But you're saying all of a sudden, them losing to a 14-win team is okay. But it's not when you have a chance to win those games.
Woody Johnson, number one to blame.
The decision to fire Salah week 4, week 5 was crazy.
It was
and we all
detrimental.
shitted on that because that was crazy.
That ended the season.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
I blame just the collapse of the defensive line.
Top to bottom.
John Franklin Myers went to the Broncos for nothing, and he had a Pro Bowl level season.
Demon.
And we let him go, and our run defense suffered because he wasn't there.
It's true.
Like, I think that the Jets made a lot of moves, and it put an obscene amount of pressure on Rodgers, and because things didn't go right, he's the easiest scapegoat. That's what it is.
I mean, it's a quarterback. So, yes, like that, you're right. You're correct. The quarterback is always going to be the scapegoat because they're the guy that's usually the leader. So, I'm not disagreeing. I agree with you on that facet.
That's why I think with the Steelers, this is an infrastructure that if it falls off this year, that's just bad luck. But it has been an infrastructure for a multitude of years.
If they don't go,
it's not going to be bad luck, brother.
If they don't go over 500, it becomes a Rodgers thing.
Yes. And we're pushing that heavy. And I don't care about no number.
My thing is, I felt like what didn't get talked about the Jet season was Jermaine Johnson here in his Achilles week 2, and then Hassan Reddick not coming to the end of the year.
He was
and when
nuts.
he played, he was dog shit.
Yeah.
That's what led to the Jet season falling off and spiraling, along with the coaching decision. With this Steeler team, there are a lot of questions. TJ Watt hasn't reported minicamp. He was hurt the end of last year, and he has 1 year left in his contract. Cam Hayward's 36 years old, coming off a near Depoy caliber season, and you can't just take that for granted at his age. Keanu Benton, another guy on the defense line that has to develop as a run stopper. I think, look, the offensive line, Broderick Jones last year is going to pressure one of every 15 dropbacks, and now that's Aaron Rodgers' blind side. He was one of the worst pass protectors in football. Look at receiver. I'm sorry. There's so many questions with the Steelers team. I can't say they're definitively a playoff team until I see Roman Wilson be a decent starter. Because Robert Woods right now is a wide receiver.
Is Broderick going to right tackle this season?
He's going to left tackle where he started. He played.
He was right tackle last season.
Last year he was flipping because Dan Moore.
John, question because I've seen this.
I love him as a blind side.
I know, me either.
I've seen this on Twitter. Is it true though that TJ Watt never really shows up to minicamp?
I don't remember.
Okay. I seen a report on Twitter. I wish I would have screenshot that. TJ Watt usually doesn't show up to minicamp.
I mean, when healthy, you got an amazing big three of Highsmith, Hayward, and him.
Herbig is awesome too.
Facts. I don't want to disrespect him.
Everything in football is connected, and you can have a great quarterback look terrible in a bad situation because the play calling matters, the coaching matters, both sides of the ball matter. Like, I'm looking through the Jets games, and we lost against the 49ers. We just got beat.
Belt.
The Broncos, it was a 1-point loss. The Vikings was a 6-point loss. The Bills was a 3-point loss in primetime.
That game was good too.
The Steelers in primetime beat us 15-37.
No, that was Belt.
Russell Wilson, throws for what, 2-3 touchdowns in his debut.
That was the end of the season, actually.
Yeah, that was.
That was a moment.
That was the end of the year.
Officially.
2-5.
Then they lose to the Patriots by 3 points.
That really was the coffin.
Because then Sauce, unfortunately.
Then we beat the Texans, and then we lose to the Cardinals 6-31.
That's when he became a mod.
Like when the Jets lost to the Cardinals 6-31, I mean, that's just, you're just not prepared. And that's how I felt like about the Jets. Is like they just didn't come to these games prepared. They lost to the Colts by 1 point. Anthony Richardson had his best career game against them. We're talking about one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and he just torched our defense. Seattle, we lost to them by 5 points, but Seattle was a 10-7 team that had an elite defense. We lost to the Dolphins by 6 points. We lost to the Rams by 10 points.
You sound like winnable games.
And we lost to the Bills 14-40. Most of these games in the moment felt like they had clear control of it. I would say
the Jaguars too.
The Jaguars, we beat the Jaguars. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, I feel like everything just collapsed. Like, there are moments where Rodgers could have played better, but I think everything's connected. And if you want to blame Rodgers for like who was there coaching wise, and that's fine. I think that's valid. I think all the evidence points to that. But with the Steelers, it's a bit different because it's Mike Tomlin, it's Arthur Smith, and it does feel like there's a real infrastructure and culture that he's just plopped into, and he just is going to manage the game for them. And then hopefully in a higher level than Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Justin Fields wasn't able to read the field much at all and held the ball on forever, took a lot of sacks.
A lot of fumbles.
What Aaron Rodgers doesn't do is Aaron doesn't hold on to the ball. He gets the ball out quick. He had one of the quickest times to throw last year in the NFL. So I think he'll mesh well with DK Metcalf. And I'm looking at the Steelers with their defense, getting Darius Slay with Joey Porter Jr. I think that's going to be good. I think their defense should still be really good. I do agree with John. A lot of question marks on the offensive side of the ball because I do think there's a lot of projection going on. Broderick Jones, how is he going to look at left tackle? He was awful at right tackle. He's now more natural at left tackle, but how he's going to look. Zach Frazier is an elite player. I think he's an all-pro level caliber center. He just has to remain healthy. Mason McCormick, their right guard, young right guard, he's a really good player. And Troy Fautanu at right tackle, who's in his second year. How is he going to look? So this offensive line is young. If everything goes the right way, I think it could be a really good offensive line. But when projecting, you also have to take into account if it goes the opposite way. If they're too young and they can't protect Aaron Rodgers and Broderick Jones is just as awful at left tackle as he is right tackle. Now Rodgers doesn't have good protection. And then the receiving core. I like DK a lot. Calvin Austin, I think, is good. And they're hoping they're getting something from Roman Wilson. But overall, it's a little bit of an underwhelming supporting cast.
Once you get Rodgers, every Steelers fan is thinking the same thing. I wish Pickens was a part of this.
You know how I feel about Pickens. I understand the move a little bit more now that the dust has settled a little bit. But when I look at that Steelers depth chart and I see Robert Woods, Bobby Tree as a wide receiver too, I want to throw up.
Roman Wilson, breakout year.
That's what they're counting on. If they don't get that, they're going to have to run
Michigan
a lot
legend.
of
Respect. Like, I believe in him.
He's been good in
your
training
haircut,
camp. He's been showing
He is
out
a
in training
Michigan
camp.
legend.
I like your new haircut.
Thank you, boss.
It looks nice.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think the Steelers, they have to have an infrastructure for Aaron Rodgers.
So what's Aaron Rodgers like, the 14th best quarterback in the AFC?
I think in the AFC,
No.
the AFC has a lot of little quarterbacks.
That's what I'm asking.
I still think he's a good quarterback. Like the disaster the Jets were.
Hold on.
Their offense across the board.
It's a genuine question.
Right?
That's a good question,
No,
man.
the AFC is loaded.
Yo, he like
Gino just went to the
sounds
Raiders.
Crazy disrespectful, but
No, he's going to be like
Cleveland and
9.
Indianapolis were better than those.
Facts. Gino just went to the Raiders though, so you take him. You take the Raiders off. You know, like
Anybody on the Jets.
facts.
all right.
That's
So
true.
let's go. Just go through the division. Josh, Tua or Aaron Rodgers.
Tua right now.
Oh, Tua.
Drake May or Aaron Rodgers.
Drake May.
May.
Yeah, it's projection based.
All right, Justin Fields. You take Aaron
You can take Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers.
I mean, it's
Only
Aaron
Dallas
Rodgers
would
pretty
take-
clearly.
Only
Rodgers
Dells would
is
take
better.
Justin.
Okay.
And partially me.
Okay, Mahomes, Herbert, Gino, Bo Nix. Any objections?
Next division.
Okay.
You can go.
No. All right. So, all right. I'm proud of you. CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence.
Stops there.
Yeah, I guess this is
We're over
TBD. Cam Ward in 2025 or
Are we
Aaron Rodgers.
projecting? You love Cam.
I'll go with Aaron Rodgers.
I think it's still Aaron Rodgers. Cam Ward hasn't proven
It is a
nothing
wait
yet.
and see. I agree.
All right, so we-
And then of course Colts, Daniel
Yeah.
Jones.
If the Titans had anything else at wide receiver outside Calvin Ridley, I'd be a little more confident. But you lost so much.
Daniel Jones
So-
lost the
So
shit out.
right now there's only two
You got
quarterbacks.
Cleveland, Titans,
Three facts.
Colts.
Yeah.
Because then you
Jets,
have
4.
yeah,
But
four.
there's a chance that Cam Ward could be better
So he's
this year.
10.
I'm
And
not
that's just
betting
the
on
AFC.
that. I'm not betting
And the
on that.
Browns. I don't think that's an indictment on Aaron as much
No.
as it's an indictment on the talent that
No,
the AFC
is
has
crazy.
a quarterback. You know, there's very few teams that don't have a quarterback in the AFC. But even with the disastrous Jets offensive season that was last year, number one, it wasn't as bad as seasons before. Like the Jets before Rodgers got there were the worst offense in the NFL. The 2024 Jets and Steelers comparatively their offense, the Jets had a better EPA per play, a better success rate, a better dropback EPA, a better dropback success rate. They were also better on the ground and they had a better rushing success rate. All of the Jets' offensive numbers were better than the Steelers' offensive numbers last season. I think Aaron Rodgers is an upgrade over Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, but that infrastructure has to hold up. That's what it comes down to. And I think every year I go into the season projecting a Steelers fall off. That's what I do every year.
Would Aaron Rodgers be a top 10 quarterback in the
Let's
NFC?
see. Check it.
Because I was genuinely thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just go
Hurts.
by division. Hurts, Dak. You
Jaden.
guys saying Russell, so obviously we'll take Rodgers over Russ, and then Jaden.
That's 3.
So there's right now only one that we're taking him over in that division. Baker Mayfield,
Yes.
Baker.
Bryce Young.
I like Cam Ward projection.
My projection is because off last season, the way he ended, he was
Bryce.
incredible.
That's 5.
Leaning with Bryce.
I don't have a problem with Bryce.
Okay.
On T-Mac.
But he's better than anybody on the Saints.
Yeah, we can walk past the Saints.
Saints, I agree.
Atlanta, we still have to wait, I
Penix,
feel like.
I think I would take Rodgers still right now.
We can wait on that.
But that could change.
We can wait on that.
It could change. Penix is
too
due
early.
for a good year this year. There's a lot of
Let's
talent
head
on
over to
that
the
team.
NFC North, brother.
Okay,
Love.
Jordan Love, Goff, Caleb. Would you take Caleb or Aaron Rodgers?
Caleb.
You can go on to the next division.
I agree.
There's JJ in play, so we can walk past
JJ
that.
facts.
So we're at 7 right now.
And then the last one's the
Tampa Bay and
no, we did that one. So it'd be Matt Stafford, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, or Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going Rodgers.
I think Rodgers is still better than Sam.
Yeah.
Wait,
Rodgers
what?
is better, and after JSN, I don't love that wide receiver core at all.
Are we okay?
Much like the
All right,
Titans.
We're
Darnold
not.
had an exceptional season.
We're not.
Minnesota,
Wait,
the
but you're
Minnesota
taking Rodgers?
quarterback tax.
I'm taking Rodgers. Darnold had the better season, but I think Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback.
The
Okay, we're at 9 flat. I would say we can debate that all day, but we're at 9
take
flat.
his production
Kyler?
and almost reduce
Okay,
a
well,
quarter of that from what
on,
Minnesota
back. So
was
he's
on.
We're
not
back to
top
10.
10.
We're back to 10. We're back to 10. With a debatable 11th.
Facts.
Kyler, he's an interesting one because he doesn't throw to middle of the field at all. And
does.
5'9".
he is awful under pressure. Aaron Rodgers, to be fair, right now
Better pocket passer.
he's always be a better pocket passer than Kyler. Aaron Rodgers right now, as he's gotten older, he's been terrible under pressure because he just doesn't want to take hits. He's older, he's fragile, he doesn't want to get hurt.
Especially
Even
that
though
Achilles,
there was
too.
a lot of moments last year with the Jets that he took some hits and I thought he was genuinely injured. That's how bad they were demolishing him in the pocket.
Hold yourself for that.
But Kyler Murray, his issue is that he will stand in the pocket and he will see any sight of pressure that comes to him and he will lower his eyes and not go through the progressions on the field. He leaves a lot of plays out on the field when there's a semblance of pressure. And the thing is that he really just only throws sideline shots and he can't be a quick game passing quarterback because it's a struggle for him to get those passes out in the angles with the offensive lineman in front of him. But that's the biggest knock on his game. I think the biggest knock on his game is that he's not a great pocket passer, but his passing outside the pocket has dipped tremendously. He's been one of the worst deep ball throwers in the league over the past couple of years. And a big reason for that is because he doesn't wait for routes to develop down the field, because if he's met with pressure, he's not going to look down the field no more. I mean, it was many times when Marvin Harrison Jr. was very frustrated on the film, and even Trey McBride with him, when he would lower his eyes like that. So I think Kyler's far from a perfect quarterback, and I think that, like Aaron Rodgers, we are taking a lot of younger guys over him because he's old and out of his prime. But if you have a team that is stacked and you're asking me to plop in one quarterback for one season and no injuries off, I would take Aaron over Kyler.
Why didn't the Vikings do that?
Is tough. Oh,
Because Jaire McCarthy's development is way more important than
They drafted him with the
Rodgers
first round
would get.
pick.
So wait, the development is more important than them winning a championship.
McCarthy's a top 10 pick. That's what their franchise is going to extend to the next era. That's what matters way more than 1 year Rodgers.
The
That's
Vikings
what they got to be focused on.
need to see what they have in JJ.
I don't know. The Vikings are still chasing their first bowl.
Yeah,
If
but
you thought that Rodgers gave you a better chance to win a
You want-
Super Bowl, again, you
want
got to
so many
understand how
bites at the
difficult
apple.
it is to win
I
a
watched
Super
Green
Bowl.
Bay sit Jordan Love for 3 years.
because he was one of the biggest project quarterbacks in recent NFL.
Yeah, but I
history.
think the Vikings-
McCarthy's way more NFL ready.
Also,
But
the
the Vikings
Packers
also
also
have a-
sat Rodgers for 3 years as
And-
well.
Yeah, they Brett Favre.
Yeah, of course.
And
Well,
Rodgers,
it's Aaron
they drafted
Rodgers.
Love when Rodgers came off MVP season. So there's no reason to sit or move on from an MVP when he's just going to do that
No,
again the next
absolutely.
year.
True.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love was a case where he developed because of the fact he got to sit for 3 years. If he got drafted by the Jets, he would have been a bust.
My
More
point
likely
only
than not.
A
becomes-
lot of
He-
quarterbacks would have been a bust
Yeah.
with the Jets.
So wouldn't you?
To be fair, yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying, because I think
If Rodgers was
I
still
get-
an MVP right now, that decision for the Vikings becomes much easier.
Duh.
Because right now, JJ McCarthy, he's an unknown and they believe in him.
so then what team are you plopping Rodgers on, and
If it's not the Vikings, the answer is no team.
it's no team.
Right
But
now in the
that's
league.
not the
He's
question.
coming up
The
with a
question is
hypothetical,
of,
like the
I
ultimate
think
hypothetical, like
Aaron
Madden
Rodgers
almost.
plays the quarterback position better than Kyler Murray. That's what I think.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. Okay.
I think he plays the
Well,
quarterback
a lot
position
of
better than
people
Kyler.
do. Kyler
But the
Murray's
thing
more
is
of a
that
playmaker.
He's an orthodox
when you're
quarterback.
running a team, you don't think about who might be the better player, even if it's a little bit right now. You kind of think, okay, if this guy is 41 and only gives me one more year of football, that's not more valuable than the 22-year-old that has 3 years on a rookie contract that I could take advantage of right away. So I think that's where the Vikings were coming from in that standpoint. And it's a show of confidence to JJ. He got hurt his entire first year and really wasn't able to get reps. If he sat out most of his second year as well, you're setting him up for failure to just coming into his third year and start playing. Like, I think he was already under the expectation he might have started day one when he got drafted there. And he was definitely under the expectation he was going to play now. And I don't think that even the best version of Aaron Rodgers, if JJ balls out at a special level this year, is a significant or maybe even an upgrade over what JJ could be. Yeah. Like, I think JJ has some special traits to him. And it's also an entire year of learning the offense that Rodgers has to come into and then learn all over again. So I felt like a lot of things went into that decision, not just like who's better or who's not.
Yeah, I can see that. I like the Vikings are a smart organization. So like, and they have a smart coaching staff. So, and I know they want to win so freaking bad. So
if you haven't won a Super Bowl and you're a franchise,
and
they're still
there.
Chasing your first.
They're like right there.
If you think Aaron Rodgers gives you a better chance to win a Super Bowl,
it's all relative. It's a barely better chance. You're going to focus on the guy's 21 years old.
That just shows that JJ probably showing them some shit in training camp that's like he's ready.
No, I'm not going to disagree.
We saw it happen to Trey Lance too. He missed his second season after he sat his first, and he was a huge project.
He showed it in preseason, JJ, that he was ready. He could have played right away.
But he's still young as sin. He's going into this year being, what, 22?
But the age doesn't matter. It's the years left on the contract that
the
matter.
biggest asset's
my point being is Jordan sat for 3 years, came in, was great, got his contract. Fair. I understand that point, but the whole point is, for me, you're still chasing your first Super Bowl in your franchise's history. If you think Aaron Rodgers gives you a better chance to do so, in my opinion, you chase a Super Bowl because that just doesn't happen.
If it's significant, if it's slightly, do you still do it?
A Super Bowl is a Super Bowl, man.
Franchise quarterbacks.
One more season for a guy who would be going into age 23.
You're not guaranteed to get a Super Bowl if you get Aaron Rodgers. And I think McCarthy has a better year than Rodgers. And you can't look at it.
I think he has a better year than Rodgers due solely because of situation.
Fair enough. That's true.
And that's not me trying to shit on JJ. No, because you guys know I really like JJ. I love the infrastructure for Minnesota.
But that's why I think Minnesota made the decision based off that reasoning. If we could get a top 15,
I think they made a good decision.
Yeah, if we could get a top 15 level season from JJ McCarthy, we don't need to bring in Aaron Rodgers in here. We don't need him to come in like. And also, it's two sides to it too, because I'm sure the Vikings don't have disrespect for Aaron Rodgers. By all the interactions that I've read and that I've seen of Kevin O'Connell and Aaron Rodgers, there's a lot of respect there. And Aaron Rodgers had a great conversation with KOC. And KOC probably respects Aaron Rodgers a lot. And he probably feels like, I don't want to bring you in here and waste your time if we want to start JJ. Because then in your final season, a 41-year-old quarterback, you want to get a chance to start. And here, I can't guarantee you that you will start because there's a lot of politics in play. What if the ownership, week 5, the Vikings start 3-2 and they say, yo, I want you to put in JJ right now. There's nothing that you can do to control that. So I felt like even being fair to Rodgers, he just didn't guarantee him a starting spot. And Rodgers wants to be a starter for his final year. So he went to Pittsburgh, who they had no quarterback. This was what they needed to do.
Yeah, and it's not even like you take the veteran who's better, you're guaranteed to get a Super Bowl in football because everything's all going to be based off luck and fortune. So it's like you really got to do what's best for your franchise long term, even if you do have a quality roster around them.
2 teams showed us when you have everything in place, if you plop in a veteran quarterback who obviously is of the stature of Aaron Rodgers, of the stature of a Tom Brady and a Matt Stafford, it's possible.
Right. The Broncos and Buccaneers, though, they didn't have a top 10
and
pick.
The Broncos and
the
Jets. No, I'm sorry. You mean the Rams then. You mean Rams.
Well, you can mean Stafford, too, in Los Angeles.
No, that's what I'm
talking
saying.
I'm talking about Payne in Denver and Brady in Tampa.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about
He's talking about Rams and Stafford.
The Broncos hit a lick. That's simple. The Broncos literally got Peyton Manning for the low. No, I'm not even talking about that. What I'm talking about is you had everything in place. You just needed to upgrade at quarterback.
Right.
The Broncos thought they did that. The Jets thought they did that. Yeah. But the Rams and the Bucs genuinely showed that if you have a team in place, plopping that quarterback in to go and chase your first Super Bowl, that makes sense. Obviously not the Rams, but the Bucs.
Right.
Or not even the Bucs. Both of them had Super Bowls. So what am I saying? You chase a Super Bowl if you can, though.
With the Rams, their roster was stacked, and Sean McVay had evidence of Jared Goff can't win us these games. They've been to Super Bowl, and they were just underwhelming at that point. So where they needed to make a move like that. And I look at the Buccaneers, they got Tom Brady. They also got Antonio Brown. They also got Rob Gronkowski. They all pretty much followed Brady there.
That defense was a big part why they won.
Yeah, the defense was good, and that was a team that people overlook it, but that was a team that the year before was a winning football team with Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That was a really good team.
I agree.
I think that those situations were better than like Aaron Rodgers going to the Steelers.
No, but Minnesota's a great situation, but I don't think that the Buccaneers make that move if they feel like they have a top 10 pick. What do you mean?
The Buccaneers, it was easy for them to make that move because it was Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
We know what he is.
Oh, you're saying the top 10 pick at quarterback. Got
yes.
it.
With the Rams, we know what Jared Goff is. We need an upgrade, and now it's Matthew Stafford. With the Vikings, it's like this guy could be a superstar. You know, we're not in a rush to replace him. And also,
they're in a rush to win, though.
But you
Tom
kind
Brady
of
give you 3 seasons with the Bucs?
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Yeah, he's
I mean, Tom's a goat. The goat. Yeah. It's just
Vikings definitely in a rush to win.
It's gonna be tough. You got to maximize this window, and I think that JJ, it was the right move to move forward with him. But again, you're chasing a Super Bowl. If you guys think Rodgers is better, it's worth thinking about.
I think we use these examples, Stafford and Brady, and they worked out. But then we look at the Broncos and Russell Wilson, and it was a disaster.
Definitely.
And Joe Montana going to the Chiefs, they won a playoff game, but they didn't win a Super Bowl. You know, I think there's history showing us that all-time great quarterbacks can go to places in their final year and not win. Like Brett Favre didn't win with the Vikings.
But he went to the NFC Chip, and if he wasn't brain dead, they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but you got a lot of these moments here where
let me correct
sometimes
myself,
it's just not meant to be.
Unfortunately, he is sick right now. That being said, in the moment, he made a brain dead decision.
There you go.
Yeah, because, Tom Brady, even in that playoff run when they won Super Bowl, against the Packers, he threw 3 interceptions, like really bad.
That was after they were up 28-7 or 21-0, whatever it was.
That was a pretty close game
at the end because they got shut down in the second half.
And then against the Saints, it was a pretty ugly performance. But in the regular season, they lost against them twice, and the Buccaneers kind of had their number.
And they delivered belt to Mahomes.
And Drew Brees, yeah, they did. And Drew Brees, he was washed at that point. So you just need a lot of things to align to just win a Super Bowl.
Washed.
Well, Stafford winning the Super Bowl was nothing short of incredible.
Shout out to Stafford.
Like that run was one of the most impressive runs by a team, and Stafford was unbelievably clutch. Like one of the best clutch postseason runs. I don't want to say of all time, but definitely in the last decade.
Legacy defining playoff run.
3 game-winning drives. He was incredible.
Yeah, he was awesome. It's just very hard to win a Super Bowl, and I feel like with Aaron Rodgers, of course, like the goal with him is always going to want to do that, especially in his final year, but I mean, right now, outside of Mahomes, we're still waiting on Super Bowl from the Big Four. We're waiting on Lamar, we're waiting on Allen, we're waiting on Burrow.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, he won Super Bowl.
Been there twice.
And he outplayed the GOAT twice.
Belt.
Joe Burrow's in a terrible organization. We'll talk about that in a few. But Josh Allen, Lamar, these are all-time greats that can't get over the hump, and they got great teams too.
That's the problem. They keep losing to the same dude.
Their teams aren't stacked. Don't get me wrong, but their teams are very talented too.
Not this past
Lamar's
season. 2 years ago, Lamar's team was stacked.
The Ravens are stacked.
They were stacked to the brim.
The Ravens have been
the AFC Championship game
very talented multiple times.
And also, this past season, the Ravens got super hot and were stacked.
Yeah,
their defense figured it out second half.
Zay Flowers didn't play in the playoffs, though.
That's fair, but Rashad wasn't a slouch.
I'll say the Bengals and the Bills, they aren't really stacked. Great teams. Good to great teams, not stacked.
Who's not stacked? The Bengals?
Bills and Bengals. I don't think
Bills defense definitely
I don't think the Ravens are
stacked
either.
I think they're more stacked than those two.
I didn't hear what he said.
I don't think so.
Ravens are kind of
last year, Ravens AFC Championship versus Chiefs.
The Ravens don't have a great pass rush in their secondary. Last year was
this
awesome.
year they're going in. They did make some moves.
Last year they were nuts.
Getting Mike Green and Malachi Starks to that defense already. That's going to be a nice boost this year.
Yeah,
but their defense last year
they
figured it out second half.
They put belt damn near every team in the league.
The Ravens secondary was a problem all year long.
That's true.
And they had no pass rush.
And then Wiggins not start at the beginning of the season and was injured?
He was solid. You can have solid players and not be stacked though. Like their units as a whole were underwhelming.
They got rid of
outside of the run
Stevens,
defense.
At the Jets.
It was underwhelming.
I'm surprised he got a contract.
Yeah, I thought Baltimore was going to win it all.
Ravens addressed their problems.
No, I thought they were going to win it all the year that
the year they were number one seed.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that's the year I'm saying they're stacked. That team was OD next, bro.
But the whole thing here is, you can have amazing teams and still fall short. It happens all the time, especially in football. There's all-time teams that fall short all the time in football.
Some teams can't win it.
2017 Steelers.
That's true.
Some teams can't win the big one.
It's true. Lord knows that we can't relate to that.
I can't relate shit to that.
I can't.
My team's stacked. We win. I don't know.
I'm right there with you guys.
You're with what?
Yeah.
The what? Oh,
I'm
your
right there
Chiefs.
with you guys.
Yeah, you're right there getting that belt. You definitely. Woo! That belt was imminent.
Yo, shout out to them for taking that because it kind of takes off the idea of us being the last team to get belt. You know, like it was the Chiefs.
Oh, their belt.
Thank God.
Their belt was way worse than yours.
I don't know.
No, it was way worse.
I don't know. We didn't do anything.
You
to
weren't
show
supposed
up.
to. Let's call a spade a spade.
We had the best offense of all time.
Who? Oh, I'm thinking you're talking about Bo Nick's team. That belt was way worse.
Yeah, I know.
That belt was from start
Yeah,
to
it was
finish.
terrible. That's
They
why
were
I
both
don't
pretty
know if you're
bad.
right.
I don't even know if there's like
That
a
one
way to
had a
measure who's
kickoff
worse.
return in their belt. It
Those
was
were both
bad.
really
It
bad.
There
was
was
like
nothing we
56
could
to
do.
7.
Either team. There was
Those
nothing we could
were
have done.
both really bad.
But y'all was worse because y'all were like an all-time team that year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Bo Nix team.
No.
You got this year, but I had 2 of the last 3 years. I
No,
think
you
that's
don't.
better.
You've had a decade of misery.
No, the Chiefs last year won.
Enough.
Against the
Enough.
Niners.
No, you claim Steph, he can claim
And
Mahomes.
then the Chiefs
We're
last
talking
the year
about my
before that
number
won.
one.
Don't say I never defended you.
I
Drew.
appreciate that.
You're
Drew,
welcome.
Drew, when it becomes Steph, it's a Steph Harden thing. This is my Eagles, my number one. He has to talk about his Jets.
Nah,
Yes.
I'm not going to do that.
He does.
I'm not. That's
But you talk
unfair
about
as
your
hell.
Bulls.
Exactly.
What?
When was
So
the
that's
last
double
time you
standard.
claimed my Bulls?
Well, what's about your
Exactly.
Bulls?
No, John, he's baiting. That's his
I
point.
know.
He doesn't
Wait,
care
what?
He's
about
doing the
them.
what? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Yeah,
My-
exactly.
wait, my-
Exactly what
what?
you're talking about.
My
And he's
You're a Bull
a
fan.
day
Yeah,
one
I know.
Giants fan.
And he
Before
acts like he
you
doesn't
ditch
claim the
your
Bills
fandom,
and the
you're a
Eagles
Bull
too.
fan.
He's a day one Giants fan. Riv is a day one Giants fan.
Riv,
Absolutely.
he's doing you like that?
Absolutely.
Riv,
he
he's
is.
doing you like that?
He
No
has
way.
to because that belt was bad. That belt was rough, so he has to. First of all,
Are you a
John,
day
I
one
cut them.
Giants
Stop
fan?
saying I'm a fan.
Wait, are you a day one Giants fan? Yes or no? Are you being
No.
exposed on the pod
How
right now,
long were you a
Riv?
Bull fan for? Long time.
Sorry.
What's going on over there?
I would say 08 to 16.
You stopped being a Bull fan in 2016?
No,
You
you
weren't a
stopped
Bull
being
fan
a
in
Bulls fan
2022?
literally this year when they
Yeah.
got giddy.
No, I
Don't
stopped
do
being-
that.
I stopped being a
Lonzo
legit,
Caruso, you weren't a Bull
no. I
fan?
stopped being a legit, like, real Bulls fan like 2016.
No, he's moving.
You're a
gross.
Bull fan
He's
for
moving
15
gross.
years, and you
You're
drop your
moving
fandom.
gross.
So if you're going to
Riv,
criticize
be
the
a
Jets
man, please.
fandom, you
You're
got
not
to
being a
Bull
man
fan.
right now.
I am being a man.
No, you're not.
I am being a man. On this show, we've been doing it for 4 years.
I don't believe
How many times have I
2016
really
at all.
talked about the Bulls being my team? Genuinely.
Literally every year before this
2022.
year.
Cap.
Every year before this year.
How about when they were up 2-0 against the 1 seed in 2017? You weren't a Bull fan then, conveniently?
2-0 against the 1 seed.
The
What year?
Celtics in 2017.
I don't even remember. I couldn't tell you.
See, I don't believe that.
No,
I
I'm
don't
telling
believe that
I'm
one
telling
bit.
you, I can't remember that year.
That Rondo and D-Wade team.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you if I was a Bulls fan.
Conveniently doesn't remember that.
New year,
believe
it. It was
new
2017.
pin.
I don't
What do
believe
you want me to remember 2017?
You was definitely a day one Bulls fan, bro.
I was.
No, what I don't believe is that when the Bulls had Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso and they were a 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
no, he was
for
hyping
half
them
the
up.
year, you were a Bull fan. You were on this show talking about the Bulls
got
in a
me.
very high manner.
Oh
You got
yeah,
me.
he said that.
Yeah.
He said
you were
that.
not a Bull fan. though.
John, he said that Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan were a better duo than Giannis and Middleton.
You got me. That year I was geeked the fuck up. You got me. That year I was there for that. That year was definitely, that half part was definitely a movie.
Oh my goodness. I guess I can't find it where you said this.
What are you looking for?
Where you said that you're a day one Giants fan.
Oh, I said that shit like 2009 or some shit like that.
I hope that's deleted, Riv.
Who deleted?
You.
I don't
Delete
know.
what?
That digital footprints are strong, man.
I guess that's true.
Delete what?
You being a Giants fan day one?
Nah, it's on Pick a Side Meme. I never tweeted it.
Oh.
Because I was like, this was when we were in 5th grade?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you thought it was, no, this was like 5th,
When
6th
I was in
grade.
5th grade, I was a Colts fan.
Yeah.
This is what it was. It was the first Patreon exclusive episode,
Yeah,
and you
listen.
were shocked
Listen
at
up.
his just bluntness and openness to admit he was a Giants fan.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
I'm interested in hearing this.
Well, at first, I was a Giants fan. I used to root for the Giants when they won the chip. I was a Giants fan at the time. It was I remember middle school. It's how I knew because Colton was a Dallas fan. So it was like, all right, Dallas fan,
Shout out to
Giants
Colt Molly.
fan. All right, cool. Dante was a Jets fan at the time. So
Shout
it was
out
like,
to
all right.
Dante.
And then in football, at first, I was a Giants fan.
Did you repeat
I
it
used to root
twice?
for the
You know, I was saying,
Oh.
I guess I missed what Drew said, but so now we have new information added to Riv lore.
Oh, no, I ain't going to have that. That was
a-
2012.
After a team wins the chip, that's when he's a fan.
Yep.
Chill, he was there with them when they lost. He
Who?
was there with them in the Eagles.
Oh, yo, bro, cut
In
the
the Super Bowl?
Giants. I don't even acknowledge 2012.
No, I'm talking about the Eagles when they won. Like the when they lost the first Super Bowl to Mahomes.
I was an Eagles fan with Carson Wentz. Show some fucking respect.
What do you mean? That's some pretty good years.
No, don't
You were a 1 seed.
No, it was not.
It was good years.
They were
The
some
rookie,
good years.
yeah, but the year
I think
after,
he took
2 years
a
after we
massive-
got
When
hurt.
he collapsed, it was.
Yeah, that shit was awful.
But when he got hurt, you won
The
Super Bowl.
Carson Wentz era wasn't.
And the year after that, when he came back, he was amazing.
He
You're
was,
acting
but we
like
were
he
like
wasn't a top 2
we were like
pick.
9
was
and
mid.
7.
Yeah.
The team was terrible.
God forbid.
And then you got blessed with Jalen Hurts right
after.
after, and AJ Brown.
Trade.
And then Saquon Barkley.
There's been no reason to like jump ship on the Eagles.
Never.
The Carson Wentz era was not doom and gloom. He was a top 2 pick, and he had
Oh,
a
dude,
1 seed.
it was
by his
rough.
third year.
It wasn't doom and gloom. You won the
It was
Super
rough.
Bowl.
It was rough.
No,
It
His
was,
second
it was
year, you're a
mostly
1
good
seed.
memories.
It was one good year.
You won a Super
One
Bowl, the
good
first
years.
Super Bowl in your franchise's history.
That was one good year.
It was
one good year.
multiple good years outside
Next
of
year,
when
you
he
made
got
the playoffs.
outside when he just fell off.
Nah, his first year, rookie year, obviously bad. So like you
Mid.
He was solid.
he-
I'm
He
saying
was
that
the
in
year.
general. I'm
The
saying
team.
this year.
He
In
was
general,
hurt,
yeah, it was
right?
bad.
No, he was good.
Year 2, Super Bowl. After that, it was injury, bad. Injury, bad. Like it was just bad.
He
after
was
that.
good.
playoffs.
No, year 3, he was a dog.
Yeah, year 3,
No.
they're a playoff
Year
team.
3, you guys won the division last game of the season.
No, oh yes, yes. I think when he
I'm about to
okay.
stat
Yeah,
watch
but
crazy.
that year wasn't. I'm talking about in general. The team wasn't.
No, it
they
wasn't
were
good, but
alright.
he
Yeah.
was
Playoffs.
amazing.
And then he got hurt in the playoffs.
He did.
His second
Played
year,
Josh
33-7. His third year, 21-7, 102 passer rating. His fourth year, 27-7, 4K yards,
That was the
99
year.
passer
That's what
season.
I was
the year.
thinking,
When
yeah.
he
And then
played the Seahawks.
his last year, 16-15, he dropped off.
Yeah, no, but like our team wasn't that good.
Listen,
Like Josh McCown was our quarterback.
the Jets haven't made the playoffs since 2010. A 15-year playoff drought, that's bad. Making the playoffs and getting knocked out because your quarterback was hurt, that's not bad. That's not being in the gutter. That's
we had some bad
a
years,
lot
though.
of football fans would die to have their team be
Brother,
a playoff
that
team
no,
consistently.
but
A lot of football
John,
fans would die to
that
have
year we were in the mud up until like week 14.
Yeah, and he came back and he
Yeah,
made the
like it
playoffs
was
and he won the
like shout out to
division.
Wentz. Wentz was fucking stunning because week 13, bro, it was
You know the
heartbreaking.
last time the Browns won the division?
Bro,
Like
why are you
teams like that
why are you
would
telling me
die.
about the Browns?
Because there's a lot of fan bases that
Bro,
would
the
die to
Browns?
have their.
Yeah,
and
no,
you're,
the
you're
Browns
acting
Browns
like
got
that's
playoff
terrible.
win. They got
I
playoff
know,
win.
but the
They do.
point,
Yeah,
the
the
case
Baker.
in point is that
Shit, the Browns.
you can't say you're down the dumps, down the gutter when your team is a playoff team in the division. A lot of football
And they
fans
had
would
a
die to have
Super
that.
We had some
Bowl.
down years. That's all I said. We
The
did.
down years is like 2 seasons.
It was
Yeah.
literally 2
No,
years.
4.
Yeah. It's like the Thunder. It's like the OKC Thunder. But like those were some dark
It's like
days.
those years where you expect to not be good. Like Carson Wentz's rookie year, yeah, this probably isn't an amazing year.
That
I
year though,
understand.
the 4K year, we expected to be good. That year.
I mean,
After-
you guys
after-
made the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. That's the year we expected to be really good, and then we just
So we have NFL stars
we had
holding
Nelson
out.
Aguilar and shit.
NFL minicamp has started. June 10th was the start date. And we have some interesting storylines from multiple teams on players holding out. So these are holdout candidates that don't have a new contract, but they decided to show up
Goats.
to their teams.
Respect
Micah
people like
Parsons showed up.
Legend.
Shamar Stewart is attending practices, but he's not participating in it, and we'll talk about that in a bit. James Cook is seeking a new deal, but he's still practicing.
Goat.
Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson also practice for the Jets. The Jets had perfect attendance in their
Hold
minicamp,
on.
and Kirk
Different
Cousins
time?
has also reported to minicamp. Even with the awkwardness between him and Penix, he's still going. He's still being a professional there.
Still
And
getting paid.
he's still getting paid a lot of money, and he's mentoring Michael Penix Jr. Let's start with the big one. The Cincinnati Bengals, they have 2 big holdouts. It's Trey Hendrickson and it's Shamar Stewart. Shamar came out with a quote saying that Hendrickson is 1% wrong and 99% right because Hendrickson is under contract right now. Currently, he has money for 2025. The thing is that he doesn't want to play for that amount of salary, so he's looking for an extension. He's still right in that. Shamar Stewart has not signed with the team yet because the verbiage in the contract is not matching what the past 2 Bengals first-round picks have gotten. What the Bengals are trying to do is they're trying to be cheap, and they're trying to have Shamar Stewart sign a contract, and if he gets hurt, they don't have to pay him. They want to void guarantees in his contract if something happens. And this is new. This is a new precedent. The Bengals have even came out and said, we want to set a new precedent when we give rookies a new contract. But across the NFL, the rookie wage scale is the same. The contracts shouldn't be tampered with. It is usually a very easy process to get a player signed. And the Bengals have not signed Shamar Stewart, their first round pick. And that means that the 2 edge rushers that you can argue they're counting on the most this season for a defense that was horrific last year. They are not attending minicamp or they're not participating in the drills because the Bengals ownership is being cheap about paying them.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made, albeit the really strong draft picks, the really strong draft picks that they've had, the Joe Burrows, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, of course, you got to respect him. Shamar Stewart obviously was their first-round draft pick this past season. He's a wait and see, but this is still a bad front office because of how cheap the organization has been. And I'm not going to put full blame on the general managers because they're only doing what the higher-ups are telling them what they're allowed to do to a certain extent. But this franchise has only known being right there, not reaching the mountaintop, being right there and being close to it and not capitalizing on it. Joe Burrow is the best quarterback that they have in their franchise's history, and that's saying something because they've had some pretty strong quarterbacks in the past. You've had some really great quarterback play in the past. You had a really strong defense the year you went to the Super Bowl. You let basically 90% of those players walk. You stuck around with Trey Hendrickson. Pretty good decision, if you ask me, considering he is an all-pro level defender. And now you're deciding to play hardball with him, and now you don't want to pay him either. This is a team, this is an organization that puts success second. And that should never be the case in the National Football League. You have a window right now that teams would kill for. And you have failed to capitalize to do so. And with the way that I'm looking at the Bengals shake out right now, it is Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins 2.0. When Dan Marino, young in his career, went to the Super Bowl, and you're a Dolphins fan, and my dad says it all the time, I hate Dan Marino because he made me think that the Dolphins were actually going to be something and reach the mountaintop and win a Super Bowl. And from that point on, they never had playoff success. They were never anything consistently great. You went as far as Marino went, and then, of course, the defense was terrible, and you were just hoping that Marino could save you. Similarly here, you're hoping and praying that Joe Burrow can go out there and save you every single Sunday. And last year, we saw it. He was amazing. Statistically, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. You could argue what he did with the Cincinnati Bengals was the most impressive out of any quarterback that we had last year, maybe excluding Lamar Jackson. He was fantastic. And yes, you have Jamar Chase, Triple Crown winner. Yes, you have T. Higgins. Nevertheless, you have to go out there and execute. And that's what Joe Burrow did in every game, in every clutch moment. He seemed to rise to the occasion. A majority of the clutch moments, I should say, because there was a handful. Which there were very few moments of being bad by Joe Burrow. You're asking him to be a superhero. You're asking him to be Superman. And he's going to follow the same suit if you don't figure it out in the front office and start to prioritize winning. That's not what you want with what he's going to go down and what it looks like a Hall of Fame trajectory. That's how great he is. And this is becoming an unfortunate situation.
I don't think that there's ever been a top 4 quarterbacks in the league that have been this good with Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, and Joe Burrow. I think that they have a case for any era they're playing in to be one of the very
Brady,
best.
Peyton, Breeze, Rodgers. That's pretty amazing.
I'm going with these guys.
Except the winners.
Brady.
You could argue that.
You know why he's going
You
with
could
these
just
guys,
argue
right?
4 of those guys are like the top 7 all time.
You know why he's going with these guys.
Like those 4 guys I just named are top 7 all time.
Yeah. Best quarterback ever, top 3, top 5.
Yeah,
top
that's
7.
incredible.
He's going with his GOAT,
That's
man.
incredible.
You know who he's going with,
But
man.
his GOAT is not better than the GOAT. In that, I just
This
listened.
is GOAT, man. You know who he's going with.
And even if you want to say
put
he's
some
better than
respect on
Peyton,
Breeze and Manning.
like what Peyton's
Yeah.
3, 4 all time, Breeze is top
Breeze
8.
Breeze and Manning were
Brother, you are
all pro
Rodgers is
quarterbacks
top
for
6.
15
Not
years.
just
From an
perplexed.
on-field perspective, I look at those groups, the names that you mentioned, and we combine those 8. I think it's a testament to how great this current 4 is that I think it's an actual argument.
I don't think it's yet.
I don't know what he
I think-
said.
I can't make it yet.
But Mahomes,
What did you say?
Mahomes is
He is backpacking
Mahomes is
the
carrying
shit
a
out
lot,
of
but also Lamar's
You
two-time
respect
MVP.
Lamar
I think Drew
No, of
Brees.
course.
I think Drew
Yeah,
Brees is the
Lamar
worst
to start
quarterback
season.
of all the ones you. Let's.
Breeze a top 7 quarterback easily of all time.
4 seasons of 5,000.
I don't think that Brees is
Arguably
better
the
than
most
Joe Burrow.
accurate quarterback of all time.
You gotta respect Drew Brees.
I don't think you think
His longevity.
is
Christ,
Drew
Joel.
Brees
His
better
peak
than Lamar
performance?
Jackson?
Probably
Lamar's
not.
the best dual threat of all time.
Probably
so Lamar's
not.
better.
Is Drew Brees a better quarterback than Josh Allen?
It's because these guys are dual threats that you're being moved as heavily as you are. And I understand the dual threat moves me, but the pocket passing that we saw
Drew
from
Brees in the
those
playoffs,
three
man.
quarterbacks, because Rodgers obviously was the pioneer, one of getting out, extending plays, being one of the best arm talents we've seen. Mahomes before Mahomes, yes. But those three guys are the prototypical pocket passer, and it died after Tom Brady.
And these four is essentially an evolution of that.
I agree. And they have yet to reach the heights that those
Their
four.
careers
some of
aren't
them.
over.
All four of them.
But that's why I say not yet.
But I'm not. I'm not going based off accomplishments. That's not how I measure who's a better talent. I'm not going based off accomplishments because these dudes' career isn't over. If we measured them based off of year 8, Manning wouldn't have a Super Bowl right now. You know, a lot of those quarterbacks didn't win until further in their career. Aaron Rodgers and Brady won early, but Breeze and Pam Manning, they won later. I'm just looking at them as talents.
Are they more talented than Rodgers?
Not Burrow. I can argue Lamar. I can argue Allen.
I have a question. Big question.
Not yet.
'Cause-
4-time MVP.
When we talk about talent, right? When we talk about
Jesus.
talent, are we talking about talent in general or talent just at the quarterback position? Because the way they played it, the way these guys played are different. I understand Lamar, Josh, the runners, along with being elite pocket passers. But when you're just talking about quarterback as a talent, would you take them over Drew Brees?
Well, I can't just talk about quarterback without mentioning all the other aspects of quarterbacking. Back then, Aaron Rodgers.
But it's a different game.
Aaron-
I feel like it's
Back then,
unfair.
Brees throwing 46
but they're also
touchdowns in
different
2011.
players.
Yeah.
Drew Brees wouldn't be
5,400.
here today and run like Lamar. He's just a different player. Just like back
Sure.
then, Aaron Rodgers was viewed as an anomaly because it was like, yo, he's an elite pocket passer and he could do all these things on the move. Outside of Burrow, Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes are all better on the move than Aaron Rodgers. At least they're more athletic. And I think it's an argument with Mahomes. He's the least athletic of those guys. You can argue peak Aaron Rodgers.
Burrow's more athletic than you think Rodgers at his peak?
No, I'm saying outside of Burrow, Lamar, Allen, and Mahomes are better outside the pocket than Rodgers. But you can argue Mahomes
Close.
because his athleticism is not the level of Lamar's or Allen's, but it's the evolution. Like Josh Allen, Lamar, and Mahomes are elite pocket passing quarterbacks that also can make things happen with their legs and outside the pocket.
So how much do you measure quarterback IQ as opposed to running ability?
I think I measured highly, and I think all of those guys have really high IQ.
Aaron
Elite
Rodgers
IQ.
is cream of the crop.
Yeah, I think Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar are cream of the crop IQ quarterbacks.
2011 is the year I believe I'm thinking of where it was his first MVP, if I'm not mistaken. What he was doing was video game-esque.
He's one of the most talented quarterbacks ever.
But the thing was, think about how talented he was for people to say before he had any real legitimacy that he's the most talented quarterback of all time.
He won a Super Bowl before then.
No doubt. And that season,
That legitimized him.
yeah, but the MVPs legitimized him.
I think people try to illegitimize Aaron Rodgers to this day for not winning a second one. That's why I can't say that
Well,
the
you got
first
great-
Super
Because
Bowl
they were
didn't
calling him
legitimize
the most talented ever.
Yes,
They were saying he was better than Brady.
They set the bar for him.
Yeah, they
that
did too much.
He came up short on that unreal expectation, and it wasn't his circumstances or his play individually that led to that.
I feel like when you
His
that
defenses
great, though,
were awful
when
in
you
those
that great,
years.
and you getting put in those conversations,
He
you
also
got to
sold
win more
against
than
San
one.
Fran.
Like, you got to win more
There
than
were
one.
games that he
Defense
wasn't
is
good,
terrible.
but you look at
Every year.
the most part, his defenses were very bad
Special
in
teams,
those
Brandon
moments.
Bostic, I mean, still haunts Packer fans to this day. I think it comes down to what you are relative to your era. And when you look at the 2000s, the 2010s, and the contemporaries that Big Four had, talking about Big Ben, talking about Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, even before then, Phillip Rivers, I believe and I look at those quarterbacks more highly than the contemporaries these quarterbacks have today. And I
that's fair.
easily take that top four from the 2010s until this current iteration's careers are done. Then
It's not me trying to
That's-
minimize
that
these
top
four, 'cause
four-
these
should
four
do
are really
relative
good.
to error.
That top four,
That's how everything's got to be with evolution.
that top
Agree.
four is excellent. I think you can argue the best top four in NFL history at the quarterback position. I think this top four is just as good and talented as that one. Like I think we're in
I'd
a
say, yeah.
I feel like
golden
you'll say
quarterback
that
era.
again in like another 20 years. That's just evolution.
These guys are.
'Cause
He's
you
cooking.
You said that about
He's
the
cooking.
last four.
Monsters.
You said that about this four. You'll probably say that about another four. Like it's just like it's the same way NBA. It's just evolution. It's always going to be.
there's
more
no doubt.
talent.
Jalen Green.
It's a possibility, But I look at these four right now, and what's the evolution past this? Like, can somebody run faster than Lamar Jackson with his elite arm?
Probably.
I don't know. I don't think I look at
Maybe.
Lamar and say there's going to be another one of these.
We probably looked at Peyton and was like, it's going to be
I was
another
gonna say,
Peyton.
people think that it just doesn't get better than LeBron? People probably thought it doesn't get better than Michael, and then here came LeBron.
Then came Kobe. Like,
And then
you
came
got
facts,
fucking
like, right
Wemby.
after.
You got Wemby. We had Zion. Like, he's not obviously the same.
I know what you're
But, like,
saying.
the talent is always gonna. It's always gonna be.
yeah,
a
Like,
different
wait, how
type
does it
of
get
talent.
better than 6'9"? It can jump 40 inches, can run as fast
If
as
not
it can.
better, definitely similar. Like, definitely something within the ballpark.
I think with the NBA, it's a bit different because it's like as the decades have changed, the rules have changed too. So in the 90s, you didn't have 3-point shooting.
Football rules
At
have
the-
changed. You can't hand check at the line the way that you can. You can't go and
What do you
run
mean
down
hand
the
check
field.
at the line?
Or you can't
Past
grab
5
the
yards.
exact
That's
past
the-
5
that's
yards. You
the
really
blunt rule,
can't.
baby.
You can't really be up on a wide receiver the way that you used to be.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the
Hines Ward
game
rule too, right?
Also, the way that they protect the wide
Hall of Famer.
receivers, you can't
Not a
just
Hall
go
of Famer.
ahead and throw a pass over the middle of the field because your guys used to get put on the IR.
Yeah, that's talks to this physicality of the game and the product just not wanting to have as many injuries. Like that's just keeping the players healthy. But with the NBA,
But that's rule changes.
but that's more so not trying to hurt players because it was too many injuries going on.
But
And the
it's
quarterbacks
still
are the
changing
moneymakers.
rules.
But what I'm saying is that passing the ball is still passing the ball, and a lot of the schemes have evolved from that time. But a scheme that's prevalent to this day is the West Coast offense.
Mhm.
That was made famous by Bill Walsh and Joe Montana and the 49ers. And that to this day is taking over the NFL. Like, you know, that scheme that was there 20 years ago is going on now. And back then it was something that was rare. Now it's normalized. With the NBA, there was a skill you could improve on. Like there wasn't a lot of high volume 3-point shooting in the 90s. And now there's a lot of high volume 3-point shooting. There's a reason why the offensive rating numbers have jumped up. And LeBron James, an often comparison with him and Michael Jordan is, but LeBron shoots better. He's a better 3-point shooter. Yeah, because in the era he played in, he had to take more threes. That's how the game evolved. With quarterbacking, it's about the accuracy, which I think you can compare across different eras. Arm strength, I think you can compare across different eras. Athleticism, I think you can compare across different eras. There's more things that you can compare across different eras that stay more so similar with football than basketball.
Well, John Elway was like, whoa, this guy can throw the ball crazy far.
Yeah.
Brett Favre can throw the ball crazy far, but Josh Allen and Mahomes have better arms, right? Like, you wouldn't say that John Elway and Favre have better arms than Josh Allen and Mahomes. You wouldn't say that.
No, at their best, though, they're pretty similar because Brett Favre had a rocket of an arm.
He did.
I think that Brett Favre, his just major knock with playing quarterback is the decision making. So that's what I would say. Like he might have just as great of an arm as those two, but those two just make better decisions with the football and don't turn the ball over like him.
Josh, maybe.
Josh, that's his comp.
But yeah.
Like Brett
No,
Favre
he is
Josh.
Brett Favre
That's
2.0.
baby Josh right there.
I think even calling Josh Allen Brett Favre is like underselling how much Brett Favre turned the ball over.
Yeah, it's
It is, but I'm saying just the play style. Like he plays like Brett Favre.
But it's
Three-time
like Big
MVP.
Ben.
Brett
I will
Favre,
say-
I feel like in the grand scheme of
another one. I can
conversations,
see
he
that.
gets left out. He was so fucking good.
We know why.
He
To
was
make-
so good.
To make the product better too,
You're right.
today's a lot more of a passing driven league than the 2000s.
Yes.
And that also elevates the production. You have a 17th game now. That even makes it easier to kind of bridge the gap between past NFL play and current to where it doesn't give you a clear enough illustration because today's NFL is going to easily be more productive with the evolution of play calling and also rule changes to where it's almost like
Players
how
also-
can you compare them based off
Players are also
productivity?
faster now.
Yeah,
Think
the-
about the too high defense. Like you did that purposely because of Mahomes, because
teams
of
are gashing
Jet,
everyone in the run.
because of
Evolution.
Jamar. But I agree with you. They had to change that.
Yeah. And now we're
But
seeing
that
the kind of,
that point is an excellent point in regards to how we've seen the NFL evolve. Is that it's a full circle moment because the top quarterbacks in the league, defenses are forcing or trying to bait offensive coordinators into not letting those quarterbacks beat their team. That's why they have light boxes. That's why they're saying, run the football on me. Call 50
for real.
halfback Isaiah Pacheco dives. I don't care. Like
That's the thing, yeah,
we want that instead of Mahomes passing the ball. So you're passing the ball oftentimes to more crowded spaces, more defenders guarding more receivers. If you're these elite quarterbacks,
Would you say it's also a sense of just in the moment? Like we're in the moment, in the era with these guys. we watched them more than we've watched the Drew Brees and Aaron. Well, not really Aaron, but Drew Brees, Peyton, Tom Brady.
Definitely
where we
was
caught
harder to play offense back in the day.
Yeah, and we caught kind of the entail of Drew Brees when we were really old enough to notice it. We caught most of half of Aaron Rodgers MVPs, but we were born into the Mahomes era, into the Joe Burrow, Lamar. Like we grew up with these guys. Like it's different where you didn't see half of Drew Brees' life. You didn't see half of Tom Brady winning half of his rings.
I mean, maybe the people that watch our show, we were there.
I was there for Rodgers' entire career.
I was there for Rodgers coming in the first game. I was there for basically all of Peyton. I was there for basically all of Brees.
I was there for everything after 2010. So essentially,
but I don't think we were the same. Like we can say we were there in 2011, 2012. But what were we in high school? We didn't really understand what we were watching, as we do now.
The quarterback peak, I think,
when watching football in 2004.
We're thinking about
but you didn't understand it in 2004. You were watching it.
This would be a better statement. I think the longevity in the current time frame of these top four could outlast that top four. Not in career in total, but like think about it. Tom Brady lasted until like 2023.
It was 45.
Peyton Manning retired in 2016. The peak versions of Peyton Manning, I can argue, were like in the mid 2000s. Those were like when he won most of his MVPs.
He threw 55 touchdowns.
He won MVP.
Yeah, he had a great, but I think most of his Hall of Fame resume was built in the 2000s.
But his best season was
with the Broncos, for sure. But I'm thinking of like,
it really was never a renaissance. He was always amazing.
Of the injury. People didn't expect him to be more productive.
Because people are stupid.
Would you say he had 2 MVP careers? I mean, 2 Hall of Fame careers?
Yeah, and you could argue Brady had, 3?
4, 5,
something
6,
like that. Yeah.
He had one in every decade. What I'm saying is that from 2000 to 2008, Payne was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, probably the guy at the time. Brady was in that conversation.
Favre.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers hadn't played yet that we knew he was an all-time great. And Drew Brees kind of didn't cement himself until he won a Super Bowl in 2009 with the Saints. So from 2009 forward, which was, I would say, 2009 to 2016, we had Brady, Brees, Rodgers, and Manning peaking at a high level. And I think 2015 would be the last year because 2016, Peyton Manning fell off.
He did.
So I think we got 6 seasons of those 4, like being the top quarterbacks in the league. I think we might end up with more seasons of these 4 doing it.
You can't say that with Burrow comfortably with how poorly he's being protected.
You're not wrong.
But everyone else, yeah.
I think it's fair because it's not an indictment on Burrow. Whenever you talk about the Bengals, it's never an indictment on Burrow. Moving forward, you understand who Joe Burrow is.
I mean, he's
one
like
of the ones.
the modern day situation-wise, like Drew Brees.
I was going to
with
Dan
the Saints
Marino.
defense.
Literally, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Dan Marino had no defense. You were hoping and praying they would give you 30 because
like,
that's how good Dan Marino was. You were just hoping and praying.
It's like Marino and the other quarterback you mentioned where the defense is terrible, and it's also Andrew Luck with the pass protection. So
That's
you
a
don't have
fact.
it either way. It's unfortunate
It's
with
a
the
team
Bengals.
sports.
That's what we started the segment with, where the Bengals have started to slowly give more guarantee money, but their ownership is the poorest of all NFL teams to where
They're cheap.
they can't, and this kind of straddles it to being like a mom and pop shop the way they run their organization. It's so small that they really don't have the luxury of affording many of these players, and that's what caused their defense, which got them the Super Bowl, and now they're trying to find the remnants of that, and they just simply haven't drafted as well as they did previously in the past.
The Commanders, Terry McLaurin is holding out. Final year of his deal is at $15.5 million.
He was 30.
That's good.
He wants to get paid.
That makes sense.
The
Breakout
Commanders have Jaden Daniels on a rookie deal. I mean, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Terry McLaurin.
Would
13
you say
touchdowns this past year.
1009?
No, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Just 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
Can you give me the specific
bad quarterback
number?
play.
1,082, if I'm not mistaken.
Bad quarterback play outside of this year.
Hey, I can't do it, so you know.
But I think that the Commanders need to pay him. I mean,
Facts.
Daniels is on a rookie contract. It's not going to hurt them that much. I understand if he was on his second deal and they needed to be more weary of the cap. It's kind of like why the Chiefs let go of Tyreek Hill and traded him because Mahomes was getting paid. But when you have a quarterback making nothing, then you have to pay your talent. And he's one of the most reliable players in the league.
Pay your top guy. Pay your top guy. That's it. Don't wait on it. You just came off an NFC Championship game. Pay your top guy.
Were you surprised that they weren't more aggressive to get a running back in the draft? Did they?
Ron Robinson every year is like falling off in the second
That's
half.
what I'm saying. Like, I'm not the hugest Brian Robinson fan. And you have Jaden Daniels who will make any running back back there a legitimate threat. I was shocked they weren't a little bit more assertive. I know that they went deep into the playoffs and obviously that impacted their draft stock. their draft pick, which, hey, you'll take it. But I'm surprised they weren't more aggressive. Like, why weren't you one of the teams to go and get Judkins? Why weren't you one of those teams to go and get a Trayvon Henderson? Like, it just made a little bit too much sense.
They might like Chris Rodriguez.
They got Eckler
Maybe.
too. They're comfortable with Eckler and B-Rob together.
Eckler was good when he
Maybe
was
they
healthy and on
They
the
just
field.
believe in Jaden so much. They're like, we don't really care who's.
It was a nice compliment. They might think most of it was an offensive line issue.
Fair enough. And I think that's a good point.
I don't think Brian Robinson's bad.
No, but you had Lamar Jackson. You were like, oh, wait, let's go
Gus
get
Edwards was
Derrick
truly
Henry.
They can
genuinely
upgrade
awful.
next offseason.
Fair enough. But
when he's going to year 4.
facts. But I feel like
that
a
was
running
year
back
one, yeah.
on a
Year 5.
on a running back's a running back on a rookie quarterback deal is pretty essential to going ahead and being a legitimate team.
I ain't mad at the thought. I just think they could have waited another year. Like, it's no rush.
All right.
They needed so many premium positions that I don't
I
think
agree.
running back was at the top of their mind.
I agree.
Like, they needed edge rusher. They needed another corner. They got that with Trey Amos in the
Yep.
second round. And then they needed a left tackle, and they made the trade to go get Laramie Tunsil.
Great pick.
And then
great
wide
move.
receiver, they got Debo, took a flyer on him. So
They have Cooper Cup too.
No,
no,
that's
he's on the
Seattle.
Seahawks. Yeah.
Mhm.
The Steelers, TJ Watt is holding out for a contract, 30 years old, and
30 years old.
he's eyeing the 4-year, $160
Be a shame
million
if he come to
deal
Philly,
Myles
right?
Garrett got.
I mean,
Would you pay him $40 million?
you know the money he's getting because it's going to be right around whatever Garrett got. It comes down to the years, what I believe is what's holding this up, because he was hurt to end the season, but he played every single game to try to show, like, I can stay healthy again for another year. But he was a shell of himself at the end of the season. And it was clear that, especially by the playoffs, he was almost like kind of disappearing. The Ravens wouldn't run it his way, sure, but as a pass rusher, it seemed like something was off. And when you look at his brother's career, it's unfortunate, one of the greatest players I've ever watched in my lifetime. But after 30, it was not pretty due to injuries. And so I'm not comfortable paying TJ. Let me reword that. I'm comfortable paying him. I'm not comfortable giving him a 4-year deal.
There's no loyalty. There's
No,
just no
you don't-
loyalty in the NFL, and
No,
it's sad.
You gotta be objective. The Steelers have Alex Highsmith, who's an elite player as their second pass rusher, and Nick Herbig.
Pretty great.
Nick Herbig
How
was
old is
awesome.
Alex Highsmith?
Alex
He's
Highsmith's
young.
27, 28.
Alex
he was older.
Highsmith was better than TJ Watt last
He
year.
was older as a prospect. TJ wasn't
As a
healthy in the
pass
second
rusher?
half.
Absolutely he was.
It's not about loyal. To me, TJ's one of my favorite Steelers of all time, and I've grown up watching his entire career. But I'm going to be objective and say I don't think this contract's going to age well. You're going to give it to him most likely. I expect the Steelers to give it to him because you're not paying a quarterback right now. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean I'm going to say blissfully, yeah, it's going to be fine. when he's 34,
He'll be
making $40
31
million.
to start the next season.
So he's 35 and that contract ends. You look at his injury history where he's played through injuries consistently. We saw that 3 years ago.
Hey.
And then look at his brother's career. I'm not comfortable with it, but I'm expecting the Steelers to give it to him, and I'll be happy with
we'll
it.
give
The
you
same way with Cam Hayward, they gave him an extension. Some Steeler fans didn't like that, and that's a 2-year, $35 million deal. Cam Hayward came back healthy, and he was incredible. So we'll see.
2 seconds. Send them.
Oh my God! You make them OP.
What,
2
what do you-
seconds.
2 second round pick. I know. It
No,
sounds
we're not. We're not talking Eagles.
Thank God.
We're not.
Yeah, dude.
We're not picking up the phone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And
You don't
all-
pick-
if
you
you're
don't pick
gonna-
up the
if
2
you're gonna-
seconds?
If you're
2
going to
seconds is
trade
decent.
TJ, if you're going to
He's
trade
TJ,
TJ,
though.
because part of it is,
You want a
yeah,
first?
loyalty matters to me as a fan of the team, but I want to see TJ go and win a Super Bowl, and we don't give him a chance to do that.
So
I'm not talking to the Eagles.
okay.
But
Sent to us.
if
Thoughts?
a team's giving us a first-round pick, which
We'll get-
I don't know if a team's going to give us a first given his age and they have to pay him, but if they're going to, I'm comfortable doing that because I get to see him go on a Super Bowl run, hopefully, in a better situation. It's more prepared to win now. I'm good with that.
you hear the hypocrisy of this bullshit?
We already blocked the Eagles number.
He's
We're not
comfortable,
dealing
but he
with it.
doesn't want to send
You
it.
can't trade him
We're
to the
not
crosstown
trading-
rival.
Yeah, but we're in the NFC. We're not even in the same
We're not
conference.
trading to the defending champions.
We'll give you a first.
We're not.
We'll give you a first.
Would you take a first?
If they're the only team that's giving us a first, I would consider it. But it wouldn't sit right with me.
Yo, we'll win.
I just think $40 million a year is a
A
lot.
lot.
It is
For
a
4
shit
years.
ton of money.
If it's 2 years, I'm fine with that.
But you're
3
not
years,
paying a
What's the
quarterback.
guarantee on it?
you
Football
get that
guarantees
later.
get so
You
dumb.
get
If you
that
were
later.
paying a quarterback, you're more hesitant to make the type of deal, but you're not paying nobody an exorbitant amount of money on your roster
That's true, but in theory, the Steelers, they're gearing up to take a quarterback next year.
Right.
on a
And
rookie
then-
deal.
On a rookie deal, yes, but then that gets deflated by the fact you're paying edge rusher $40 million, and he's maybe not healthy. To me, it's all going to come back to the health.
It
of
depends.
TJ.
I
I'm worried
just
about
think that he is not as good as Micah and Myles Garrett right now. I think Myles Garrett and Micah are the cream of the crop at the edge rusher position in the league
Micah?
right now.
You're not allowed
Yes.
a couple of weeks of being injured, apparently.
Well, he was hurt for like
His
second
pass
half.
rush production,
know.
it dipped down
But
the entire year.
when
last
he
year.
plays, we're an 11-win team. When he doesn't,
He's
we're
a
a
dog
2-win
shit.
team.
He's a
We're
game
2-win
changer.
team.
He's a game
So I don't
changer.
want to downplay how
He's
special
electric.
of a
You're
franchise
not a
changer he is.
Double teams, triple teams. He's number one in the league.
No, he's not even close to number one in double teams.
He's a
What was the stat that I was looking
he's
at
gonna be a Hall of
or
Famer.
remembering from last season? I'll look it up while you guys talk.
Michael Parsons is interesting.
but it's hard to double team when you got
Micah was the best
as
defensive
much
player in
help
the
as he's
league
got.
last year.
No,
I
he
thought it was
amazing.
Miles.
It
Miles,
does
I
not
thought it was
matter
Miles.
either which way.
I thought if Micah played the entire season healthy, he would have had a real chance to win DPOY.
Oh, this
That's
is what
fair.
it was. This was a while ago. TJ gets chipped nearly twice as much as any other pass rusher.
Taz the best in the world.
He's what?
That's what happens.
Jalen
when
Carter's
you're the
gonna clear
best
him
the
in a
world.
year.
Or they're two different positions.
I'm just letting you know.
He's got
TJ
get
gets
Cam
chi-
Hayward first.
Oh, we'll get there fast,
They get
brother.
there.
Yo, send him too. Second round.
I
pick.
took the double team rate and added their chip rate. So TJ Watt was at 0.55, Miles Garrett was at 0.41, Trey Hendricks was at 0.48, Mike was at 0.41, Max Crosby was at 0.34.
He doesn't get double team as much as
Mhm.
these other guys.
No, for sure. He said, I understand it's harder to win a double team, so I calculated a new. All right, I don't want to read that. It's unnecessary. But it's just this guy TJ, still seeing an insane amount of attention. Nevertheless, I agree with you. I still think that Miles is better. I think that Micah, considering his age and how great he was last season, I'm still going to take Micah. However, TJ Watt and his impact, like you mentioned, John, it's second to none. And we see how much better this defense is when he's on the field because of the attention he draws and what he's able to do for the other guys on that defensive
just the
line.
team in general, man. Nobody brings in energy like him, man.
And that's not taken away from how good Highsmith is. That's not taken away from how good of a season Cam Hayward had last year. And it's not taken away from how good Herbig is as well.
Yeah.
It's just talking about an all-time great defensive player in TJ Watt.
Heart and soul.
That's why I would give him the money out of respect for what he's done for you guys.
Yeah.
It is a
Send
ton.
him.
But like Joel said, and like you said as well, you're not paying anybody else right now. And you're not thinking about paying anybody else for the near future. You just gave DK an absorbent amount of money because of that luxury that you have.
Yeah, but you could take that for granted when you do draft a quarterback, and then you do all those deals in the books, which kind of takes away the theory of draft. It's like kind of like takes away the benefit of having a rookie deal because you're paying that somewhere else. It may be worth it if he's healthy. It is worth it if he's healthy. But if he's not, then that kind of puts you in a bond.
Well, if he's still that good in your opinion, then you should pay it regardless.
And are you gearing
not
up?
that- to
are
me,
you,
it's
you're
about
not going to be
health.
bad next year, like bad, where you have a chance at a legitimate QB.
I agree with you, but he's got one more year left in his contract. So in 5 years, is he going to be healthy?
Facts.
I don't believe so.
But
I'm not comfortable.
I'm also
saying
going to
so.
assume that they're going to draw up the contract where there's a certain year where there's an out.
John, is there a guarantee he even plays till 36?
No one knows. I mean, you can never guarantee that. There's so many Hall of Famers.
I think
with
I get it, assuming that far, but he might not play that far.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you move him to D tackle, like he's just an amazing run
that.
stopper at 35 years old.
It's like he's a little too. Like I don't know. His body gives me linebacker vibes, like edge rush and shit.
I don't know if you go from D lineman to linebacker. Like
You're not moving him inside.
No.
But, I mean,
the Dolphins have two holdouts, Jalen Ramsey. They're seeking a trade
it's
for
not
him still.
surprising.
And Jonnu Smith wants a new contract. There's been talks about the Steelers maybe trading for him as well.
Need Jonnu back desperately.
Jonnu Smith he was really good last year. I will say that. He was really good. But the big move was that the Packers, they cut Jaire Alexander. They released him.
Mr. Shit
Was
Talker.
this a mistake from the Green Bay Packers to release Mr. Jaire Alexander?
I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that it was a full-blown mistake because you put the numbers out, so I'll allow you to share them. But they were still a pretty solid defense without him on the field. It's just understanding when he is on the field, they're obviously better. And he is, when healthy, still one of the better cornerbacks in the league. The issue is he's not on the field. That's where I can understand, hey, this guy was for a decent amount of time the highest paid cornerback in football, and we weren't getting the highest level of productivity out of him because we didn't see him on the field on a consistent basis. That's where I can understand because there was a lot of money allocated to him. That being said, another team's going to become very happy if he's able to play for them and is available for them. There's a lot of teams that it makes sense. I'm talking about Philadelphia, if they were one of the teams to go take a flyer on him. Us, if the Broncos were one of the teams to go ahead and make a move for Jaire Alexander, or if you pair PS2 and him with one another, especially taking into account that we just brought in Jahdae Barron with our first overall pick, like we would have a lot of depth with Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillan. We would just overhaul the secondary as well. You also have teams like the Patriots can make some sense. Detroit makes a lot of sense after they just lost Carlton Davis. You do have DJ Reed in there, but do you trust Terrion Arnold? Like, there's so many teams that he would make sense to go to. But when you look at the Packers, There's a part of me that just thinks they were in the business of keeping talent. It's just that this is an expensive talent, and they have pieces that they're going to inevitably want to pay.
Come to Philly. I do think it really is just an injury thing. I think he hasn't been as healthy as you want him to be, being your top corner, being your vet corner too. I think for the most part, he's been their oldest cornerback over there. But over the last 2 or 3 seasons, what's been bugging and bothering Jaire has always been just these nagging injuries that have kept him off the field. When he is on the field, like you mentioned, Drew, he is one of the better corners. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of teams that could go for him. I do think, I am biased, but he does fit a Vic Fangio style like defense, and I think he'll come in. You don't got to be the number 1 guy. We got Guantanamo Bay over there. You can be the number 2, number 3 guy. But I do think Jaire is going to have a good market. I think he's still a really good to great corner. It's like you mentioned with TJ Watt. It's the health factor. Yeah. Like, he's just been a guy that's been dealing with these, and he's a smaller guy too, so he's been dealing with these nagging injuries every other week that keeps him out of games, especially in a year like this where you saw the defense kind of take a jump with Xavier McKinney, and you kind of thought Jaire would be a part of that, but he's just been in and out the lineup all year.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John. Go ahead. First. Last 2 years, he's played 7 games in each season.
And I always default to the organization in these situations where maybe they did make a mistake in the medical staff, but he just had knee surgery. And a lot of time, the organization got more info than you on that. Mm-hmm. It's tough as a DC when you're Jeff Hafley, and every single week he's questionable, and then the day of the game he's ruled out every single week. And without him last year, the Packers secondary is still pretty good. It's pretty good. They overhauled the secondary, the safety room entirely, and it was one of the best groups in football. This offseason, you bring in Nate Hobbs, and there's no denying that Jaire Alexander is a great player, but when you're already without him for 10 games, you've already been putting in the succession plan for when he's not there in the first place. So I do think it's a noteworthy loss for Green Bay, but I think they'll still be fine without him.
I think it's not a mistake. I think it was the right decision. The timing of it was a little bit weird. I think overall the Packers have had a pretty bad offseason. This move doesn't make it any worse. It doesn't make it any better. I just think that when you cut a corner this late into the season, right before minicamp, there should have been more options available to improve that position group. In minicamp today, they had Bo Melton doing DB reps. And this is a wide receiver. He's just trying to make the team, though, because the wide receiver group for them is really deep, and he might be one of those cuts. So he's just trying to make the team however he can. But Jaire Alexander has played in 34 out of 68 games over the last 4 seasons. He's not available more than half of the time. The defense was top 10 without him from weeks 11 to week 18. They were top 10 success rate as well. And they did have 12 turnovers in 8 games. So the turnovers definitely inflated the EPA numbers, but the success rate shows that they were still a pretty good successful defense on a down-to-down basis. I think the Packers are just devoid of real game changers on their team. They just don't have enough. The defensive line did not improve from last season. They were 26 in pass rush win rate. Rashawn Gary was a shell of himself. Maybe he has a bounce-back season, but I look at Kenny Clark. He was all right. Devontae Wyatt was good as a pass rusher, not a run stopper. And then Lucas Van Ness looking like a bust in the first round. And their corner group, I think, is going to get saved by just how good those safeties are. I think McKinney's an all-pro, and I think Evan Williams is a Pro Bowl level talent. And I do like Carrington Valentine a lot. I think he's a penciled-in starter for them on the outside. But now it puts Nate Hobbs in flux. Did he get paid to play on the boundary, or did he get paid to remain a nickelback? Because Javon Bullard was a safety they took with the higher draft pick than Evan Williams. But Evan Williams ended up being so much better than him that they moved Javon Bullard to nickel. And he was kind of up and down last year at that position. So now it's just there's a lot of question marks with how their defense is going to be. The one thing I'll say about them is I think in every team, there's just always a breakout player. And I think their breakout player is going to be Edgerrin Cooper. I think Edgerrin Cooper is going to be one of the best linebackers in the league. Mm-hmm. I think he's a special, elite, all-pro level talent. He is great in coverage. He's an elite blitzer. He's a great tackler. He could do so many things on the field, and he has great instincts. So I think him emerging as their linebacker for the future and being productive this year, which I'm expecting, might help a little bit. But ultimately, I just look at this team, and there's a lot of projection with how they're going to be. Is Matthew Golden going to be what they need to revitalize that wide receiver room and give Jordan Love a reliable target? Is that offensive line, the interior of it, going to be much better to run the ball more consistently? Is the defensive line going to generate a pass rush? Are their corners going to be able to consistently stop the top end wide receivers? There's a lot of questions that I have with the Packers. And Jaire, unfortunately, the reason he was released is I don't think he solved any of those questions. right now he is not that same lockdown corner. I can go up against your team's best receiver and win that matchup. He's more of a cornerback 2, which I think is fine, but at the price point that he wanted and the restructure that he wanted with the Packers, it made more sense for the Packers just to move on from him.
I just think that there's going to be a team that is going to take the flyer on him. Not sure what the contract's going to end up being when he does sign it eventually. But there's a chance where he can go into a cornerback room that is stacked and that he's not going to have as much responsibility. And I think there's going to be a team that pays or is going to reap the rewards of it. And I think that we're going to still see Jaire play good ball. Maybe not peak Jaire, of course, because who knows how if that player's still around. But if he's able to stay on the field and go into a room where there's not as much responsibility on him as there was obviously when he was on the Packers, I can see him still being a really strong impact player in 2025.
He just needs to stay healthy. That's just all it is for
sure.
him. And I look at him in a lot of spots that I love. I love the Vikings spot with him and Brian
Vikings
Flores.
makes sense a lot.
I love the 49ers. They need a veteran cornerback in the room. There's a lot of spots I like for Jaire Alexander that I think he'd be productive.
They have Charvarius and Lenore still.
Charvarius is on
Ward
the
is in
Colts.
yeah.
Colts.
Yeah, they have
Facts.
Lenore, they have Renardo Green, who was a rookie last year, and then
Mhm.
they would have Jaire.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
I'm just looking at, like, usually how these things go. When players have a fallout with a team, they end up leaving that team and taking less money with the next team
Mm-hmm.
out of spite, because they're like, I want to go to the Vikings and be a division rival and play the Packers twice a year. Like, I'm sure that when he does sign to a team, we're going to look at that money and be like, the Packers couldn't give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no, the Packers probably did offer something that might have been a little bit better, but Jaire just felt so insulted and disrespected about the offer that he declined it, So I think a lot of these negotiations go that way.
I don't know. That's kind of dumb to me. You're going to take less money to go to the division rival, even though they gave you a contract that's obviously more. I don't know. That's kind of stupid. But you're right. There's definitely players that go ahead and take it personal. Like Bobby Wagner was insulted by the Seattle, and he went to the Rams, and he was all pro back-to-back years. It's like, yeah, that's what you do. And if you really are trying to prove a point.
Jaire's going to be good, though.
I could see Jaire in Kansas City.
I could see it, too.
That's one of
He's
those
saying
landing
everywhere
spots
where he
and-
needs to be.
That's
Buffalo?
that's a McDuffie
That too.
clone right there.
Buffalo would move me.
Yeah.
Ravens would move me.
Philly.
Broncos would move me.
Philly.
So many teams would move me.
I like the Bills a lot. I think the Bills
Those would be
make
cool.
sense.
Him and Benford.
You don't
And
like the
Teron
Broncos? Just too stacked secondary?
Nah, fuck with
The
y'all.
rich getting richer.
You know I fuck
I
with
know
y'all.
that, but I'm just saying, like, we don't
You
we
didn't
don't
say
need
Philly,
it.
so-
I said Philly was the first team I said.
Oh, I didn't hear you say it. My fault. Don't
Yeah,
worry. Denver, pull up.
I like these talented players to go to places that they can win.
Exactly.
At a high
Not
level.
Kansas City.
We can't win with Kansas City.
That was nuts. See, I didn't even disrespect Kansas
The
City.
Bills
like
got
that.
a lot at cornerback, drafting Harrison.
They don't have.
and then
I don't think Razul came back.
He didn't.
Yeah,
They
he
got
didn't come
Teron and
back.
Benford.
He
and they
dropped
drafted
off
Teron's
Harrison.
the nickel.
So- Yeah, but you got Harrison, and then you have Benford.
Yeah, I don't know if I can bring in Jaire to start over Harrison just early on, I would. But Benford's the locked in quarterback one.
Like, you look at the games that Jaire missed. He missed both Vikings games. He
It's
missed
big
both
games.
Lions games.
Big game.
And he missed the Bears game at the end of the season.
Don't forget that
He missed-
He's in the
played.
playoffs for November 17th.
Yeah, he missed 4 of the biggest games of the year for Green Bay.
He was there for one of the biggest game, Belt,
Oof.
when he got cooked.
Slippery field, man.
For everybody.
So you might like this, Rev. I mean, CJ Stroud has been a talk in minicamp in the offseason because there was concern about his shoulder. He
Yes,
came out and he
facts,
said he's
facts.
fine. That's going to be all good. But there's a lot of new life in the Texans facility. They fired Bobby Slowick and they brought in some replacements, Nick Caley. They brought in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. The offensive line had a little bit of an overhaul too. Who's to say
and the wide receiver room.
it's in a positive direction, but they look better. And they also saw Nick Chubb, who can be a good complimentary back to Joe Mixon. So this is a team that
I'm excited about that. I'm not gonna lie.
on paper, we're looking at the Texans. And I mean, last year we thought
We thought
were they
nothing.
going to be a top 5 offense? But maybe this year might be the year that they reach their potential.
Their offensive line's still not good. Am I mistaken?
It's definitely
Not
young,
mistaken.
and it's definitely not mistaken. It's definitely a shoot in the
It's a
dark.
question.
like
Hopefully, it can
I don't
get
know if
better.
the offense.
But-
we'll see.
I will say this. I'm excited. I'm excited about Texas
Definitely
football.
should be.
My third favorite team.
You
I
need
just,
help.
no, I am excited though. Listen, CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
You
Hello
should.
to this
You,
guy.
no, you
Yeah.
should stop. You
He's
Me?
valid when it
I know
comes to
he's got great
football.
fair football
When it
teams.
comes to football, he is valid.
listen. Stop. Let me talk about my team in peace.
His
Thank you
third
very
favorite
much.
team.
Hey, you remember they are my third favorite team. You know how I feel about CJ Stroud.
I know.
I know how I feel.
Bryce Young got it.
Bryce Young what?
He gonna get it this year.
You fucking listen. I like Carolina.
I
like
know.
Carolina. Yeah, but I'm excited. You know, they got a little overhaul in the wide receiving department. They got a little younger. They missed Nico Collins last year. Missed him huge. Even missed Stephon Diggs when he went down.
Fact.
You know, and then missed Tank Dell. You know, I just think not having those guys all season while also having a beat up bad offensive line really put CJ Stroud in a tough position, and then Bobby Slowick also didn't have a great year himself. But also CJ Stroud wasn't making the best decisions himself. I think in totality, the offense could have been better, and it wasn't. The lone bright spot is like Joe Mixon had 1,000 yards. It's like, that's cool or whatever. But
Very inefficiently, too.
Yeah, like
fell off too at the
bringing
end.
in Nick Chubb was dope. See what he still has left in the tank.
Please
They
be healthy.
definitely brought in Jaden
Fantasy team
Higgins.
needs
Nico Collins is gonna be back.
Your boy Noel.
Noel is there.
He's amazing.
Joel has spoke highly about him. I'm gonna believe you this time again. We'll see how that goes. But for the most part, you feel good about Houston once because you have a defense that you can kind of ride on. Like, you have a defense that is legit. It's elite. Number two, your division is one of the worst divisions in football. Let's just call it how it is. The Colts, we don't know how their quarterback position is gonna look with AR, with Daniel Jones. The Tennessee Titans are in full rebuild mode. You like what the Jaguars have done this offseason, but that's still a wait and see what they're going to look like. So for the most part, the Texans could be looking at a third year where they win the division. But in the AFC, where you have the big four, you have a couple other quarterbacks that are really good. CJ Stroud to step up and be one of those guys. And I think also his infrastructure needs to improve. And I think in the wide receiving department, it's young, it's flashy, it's a little bit more exciting. You have a new offensive coordinator. There's definitely something to feel good about, because you felt like last year you walked in with a lot of expectations, a lot of excitement. You kind of got humbled a little bit throughout the regular season. Now you've made adjustments. You still have D'Amico Ryans, who I think is a really good coach. I like what I see from Houston. As long as CJ Stroud is healthy, I think he's still one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. I still think he can give you a hell of a season. Hopefully you can get a productive, and I'm not asking for them to be elite. I don't think nobody's asking for that offensive line to be elite. I just think they need to be average. You know, average to okay.
I'd love if they were elite.
Like, I would love that too.
If
but
they were elite,
I don't.
we might
I think,
be talking about them as contenders.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. But I
No
think
bull.
that's asking for too much.
I agree.
Right now, I think
100%.
just getting average to good is something you're expecting. And then they're young. Like, that offensive line is really young, so that's definitely a lot to ask for.
They're
But if you
already
get
too
them,
young.
if you can see just an average offensive line, and then you can get maybe some average run blocking, you can get a solid running back group going with Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb. You can get your receivers going. You have Nico Collins, you're good. Like, you're legitimately
This
good.
is 2018. We'd be in the moon.
Yo, talk. And then, CJ Stroud can make things work. So I'm excited for the Houston Texans. And of course, the division stinks. So I have nothing to worry about.
It was a weird year last season where it was like a down season.
He was top 7 in the
won
EPA weeks 1 to 7.
They won the division last year and won a playoff game in a season where most people looked at as a down year. And I felt like this year they made a lot of very good under the radar moves this all season, where of course your wide receiver room was deep last
He's a Nico
year.
merchant. Makes you think.
Their wide receiver room was deep last year, but
Don't we
including
all wide receiver
Nico,
one
their
merchants?
entire wide receiver room was decimated by
Not
injury.
all mixed.
You bring in Christian Kirk, you draft Jaden Higgins, who I like a lot out of Iowa State,
Not very
and then you draft Jalen Noel
Talk.
as well. And their offense line's a big question, but you bring in Cam Robinson, you move Titus Howard in the left guard, and there's some guys there where, big question marks,
It's a
but
terrible offensive line.
Jesus.
Big
A
question
lot to
marks.
hope for. A lot to hope for.
But you do hope that ideally it can only get better, because last
Can't
year,
get worse.
the last 2 years, it's dealt with a lot of injuries. So the belief of continuity and just internal growth within, that's going to have to be something which is important to monitor with this team. But the defense is what gives them a very high floor in this division. So I'm optimistic with the Texans team. I think it comes down to them, much like we talk about the Bengals, though, just being able to protect their quarterback. And with the new offensive coordinator coming in, I feel like they're going to have a better season this year. And what I'm really excited to see is how Christian Kirk meshes in, and then those young wide receivers as well. In the event that Nico does miss time, I think Jaden Higgins stylistically can really step up, and I think they've got a lot of options this offense to be excited.
I feel like last year, from like week 7 on, that was like as bad as it can get, and they still like won the division. So
And
exactly, it was a down year.
Yeah,
won a
that's why I
playoff
feel good. And
still
again, they
did a
won a
lot of
playoff
And
game.
they gave the Chiefs an amazing
It was a good game. Yeah, so I'm definitely optimistic. Like, the offensive line doesn't look pretty. It's a work in progress, but I'm optimistic.
But I think a lot of that is scheme. I do think that with the
That's not
offensive line being
a
that
bad
bad,
take.
like the offensive line didn't have the talent, of course, and I think this offensive line will have its fair share of struggles.
Mhm.
But overall, I thought the biggest problem with the Texans last year was their inability to adapt game to game.
And penalties.
There's been players that came out and they spoke about this offense and they said teams would shut us down on what we did and we wouldn't adjust to it. And it showed in the first half and second half numbers. In the first half, the Texans were a top 10 scoring offense. In the second half, they just scored 7.5 points. In the second half, that was the worst in the NFL. And I'm looking at CJ Stroud and just Texans offense and how it performed. Not only do I think the Texans, they're going to win the division easily. I think they're going to finish number one. They're going to be in another playoff game. And I think CJ Stroud not only is a great quarterback, I think he's an elite tier quarterback. Like, I think he can walk into that sphere this year. Last year, the stats didn't show it. But I look at the situation that he dealt with. The offense was 31st in success rate, one of the least successful offenses in the NFL. And in West Coast systems, oftentimes quarterbacks aren't allowed to change protections because you get the ball out of your hands so fast that you're supposed to read the coverage. So the center usually reads the protections and they're the ones that set it. There is a lot of cons to that because sometimes the center isn't good at setting protections, and sometimes just your protection plan is very predictable. And the Texans was. They had 52 unblocked pressures last year, which was the second most in the NFL. And in the playoff game, CJ Stroud got pressured 56% of the time, which was the second most since ESPN started tracking that stat back in 2009. That's how bad of an offensive line and plan the Texans had overall. I look at teams across the league that they can have a bad offensive line and still be a very predictive offense. We just saw it with the Cincinnati Bengals. They had an elite offense despite having a terrible offensive line. And I look at the Texans with Nico Collins, an elite receiver, Jaden Higgins, who's 6'4", boundary receiver. The red zone threats with him and Nico is going to be huge. And then Jalen Noel, Dalton Schultz, and having Mixon and Nick Chubb. I think they have enough.
Christian Kirk, can't forget about him.
Yeah, I did forget about him, but he's also a very talented player. Nick Caley is not just somebody I'm high on. It's somebody that I think can be a head coach one day. I think he's that great of an offensive mind. He was brought into the Rams 2 years ago, but his claim to fame was he was with the Patriots for 8 years, and he learned in that system. And people like to label him as some type of like Sean McVay. Just because you hung with the genius doesn't mean you are a genius. But he was brought into the Rams offense to change their identity because when they had Todd Gurley, they were an outside zone running team. They weren't a gap team. There's a difference between being a gap and a zone rushing team. A gap team is you're blocking bodies. A zone team, you're blocking space. So he was brought into the Rams to lead that transition. And they jumped from using man blocking concepts 25% of the time to 52% of the time. That was first in the NFL. And they dropped from zone usage from 10th to 20th. He turned around their entire philosophy. And the big thing is that he is giving CJ Stroud freedom at the line to change protections. So even with the offensive line being bad, and I think it will show, we will see CJ Stroud be more of a leader and change protections to his liking. And I think that will make the offense function at a much higher rate. So I think even with the personnel on the offensive line not being better than last year, I think overall we're going to see a rejuvenated offense. And with the amount of receivers they have, with CJ Stroud being as smart of a quarterback as he is, I think we're going to see a big season from this Texans offense.
Yeah, we're winning division.
I guess the only reservation would be for me being the receivers being as young as they are. You don't know what they're going to be until obviously we see them go on the field and produce, hopefully. But definitely there's things to be excited about when you look at the Texans. The defense is obviously number one. We could be talking about a top 5 unit in the league. And Riv, I think you said it best. They really were underwhelming for what we were anticipating coming into the season, and they still won a playoff game. And nobody really had them winning that game versus the Chargers. I think all of us took the Chargers to win. Yeah, facts. And they dominated them.
The defense wins games.
100%. And that's kind of my philosophy for the Texans coming in this season, because you do have CJ Stroud, who is one of the upper echelon guys. You do have Nico Collins, who is one of the upper echelon guys. You just need to be above average, considering your defense is one of the elite units in the league. And you can still win your division pretty comfortably and still have a chance to win a playoff game or maybe even 2. It's going to be a really fun season for them if their offense can really figure it out, like Joel is saying. It's just a matter of what you're going to get from the young guys. What version of Joe Mixon are we getting? What version of Nick Chubb are we getting? Nico Collins, can you just stay on the field for us? Christian Kirk, can you stay on the field for us? There's just a lot of questions for this offense that if they are healthy, if this offensive coordinator is as good as advertised, this can be one of the pop teams of the 2025 season.
Their receiving room is just so talented. Like, I know Higgins and Noel, they're unproven. If any team had drafted either of those receivers, I would have been like, wow, that was a great pick. And the Texans drafted both of them.
Yep.
Like Jalen Noel is a slot guy. He plays Christian Kirk's role. So I think he'll eat into his snaps. He might not be as statistically productive as Jaden Higgins, but Jaden Higgins is a fluid mover. He's 6'4". He can contest a catch. I mean, he's awesome.
Yep,
Like
Bills, Texans, AFC Championship.
they have the ability to be one of the best wide receiver rooms in football. Like I think they're that talented with Nico, Jaden, and Noel. And then you have Kirk. So I think that this year we could see a big resurgence in their wide receiver room.
And it's crazy how deep it was and how good it was last year. And it was decimated by injuries. They completely overhauled it. And now it's like you're bulletproof in the event. Nico misses a few games. You have a rookie that can step up. Kirk's not healthy. You have another rookie. He can be productive. And then who knows what happens to Tank Tell? I hope he
eventually comes back.
Hope he gets back in the field as soon as possible because he's been a really great player, especially his rookie year.
And also with what you're saying, Joel, it kind of seems to me like they're going all in on this guy's philosophy because I say all in where you traded Laramie Tunsil, your franchise left tackle. You feel really confident that this guy can come in and still make your guys' offensive line better than what it was last year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of blind faith.
Yep.
And sometimes you're rewarded with that, but sometimes it blows up in your face. And that's a fear.
Yeah, it's just very hard to be worse than what they were last year.
100%.
2
Yeah.
years.
Because
Even see just rookie years.
It's not only the lack of the adjustments, and I guess this goes hand in hand with that. It's just the predictable play calling. On first down, it'd be a run. On second down, it'd be a run.
That's like
CJ
3rd and 8.
on 3rd and down. He faced some of the most third and longs in the league last year. And you put your quarterback in a bad position with the bad offensive line that's vulnerable. So I think that Nick Haley is going to do a tremendous job, and I really think that there's going to be a bounce back season. But this division is not tough, like you mentioned, and that's why I think they're kind of like they are the AFC's version of the NFC South, where if you have a functional organization, you have an elite pillar of your team, you can make the playoffs, and that's what the Buccaneers have done in that division for the past couple of years too.
It should be year 3 of them winning division.
I also think that's why we saw the Jaguars be as aggressive as they were on draft day, going from 5 to 2, trying to get Travis because they understand that division's not good, and they have arguably the best quarterback, which of course people are still going to take CJ, but you are building something on that offense. When you bring in Liam Cohen, you have BTJ. Now you go and you bring in Travis Hunter. There are definitely some things to be excited about if you are a Jaguars fan.
Has it hit you how insane it is that Travis Hunter's playing both sides? Because as you're mentioning,
I'm excited about it.
Playing the Texans, Travis Hunter, there's going to be games where he's guarding Nico Collins and then getting guarded by Derek Stingley Jr.
Belt.
Is he going to be guarded by Derek Stingley?
He can. It's a potential.
There's-
Potentially.
Lassiter might be on him too. Lassiter's tough.
It is kind of crazy that in practice he's the one covering Brian Thomas Jr. Then on game day he's going on the other side. And
We understand
Larson,
Travis
too.
Hunter's a baby goat,
I
right?
know, but I'm saying
Yeah, it's
iron
lit.
sharpens iron.
Yeah,
You're defending
talk.
a superstar receiver like that. It's like Derek Stingley back when he was at LSU covering Jettas and Jamar Chase.
Is
It's
he
like,
our
that's
only
only
hope
gonna
to
make you
see
better.
a defensive player win MVP?
Yeah, I think he could really show out at both positions. Like that's going to be insane. Just the type of load he's going to have. We'll see how much he plays. It looks like they want to play him more as a receiver than a corner, but his corner skills are so good because he's also a receiver that he's just able to track the ball. Like the interception he had in practice, that was something where he just kind of put his arm up and just intercepted it over the top of his own head. And a lot of corners, they just don't have that ability to track the ball that
His
well.
hands are ridiculous.
Yeah, the last defensive player to win Heisman is that Manti Te'o.
Manti Te'o didn't win. Johnny won.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
He's going second.
Nico's gonna kill him.
When was the last defense?
Is it Charles? No,
Charles Woodson?
I don't think it was
Didn't Peyton win?
Charles.
Oh, it was Charles. I watched
Charles-
that doc.
Yeah.
Good ass doc, by the way.
Was Charles Woodson the last defensive player? I am not a college expert, so I'm just
I
that's
thought
my guess.
Manti won. When
Manti, I know
seven.
it was Johnny.
Manti went to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when they went to the national championship and they got.
Manti wasn't that good of an NFL player though.
He was.
He like-
He
He
was
was
solid for Chargers and Saints too, right? He was
was
solid
alright.
for the Chargers. Solid. No,
There's
I
just a
wouldn't say
lot of hype coming out of college.
I mean, he
He
was
like
a
that
dog.
sometimes. You know?
Yeah, because I'm trying to go over like the Heisman winners for whatever reason in my head. A lot of quarterbacks, a lot of wide receivers, a lot of running backs. I think. Do you have it, John?
Still calling 2000.
It definitely.
Okay, so it is Charles.
No, hold up. Yeah, Charles Woodson, 1997.
I'm him.
It is Charles. Nope. Let me keep looking. Yeah, it is Charles.
Well, I was on 2000. It wasn't on
Yeah,
1997.
but that's how long it's been.
So, I
Yeah.
ain't gone to Charles
Wait,
yet.
so Travis Hunter counts
Well, I'm saying since
him, before
Travis.
Yeah,
him.
he's two-way.
Uh-huh.
But no, it's gonna be crazy, man. He's gonna be getting guarded by top end corners and guarding top end wide receivers. We just really haven't seen that in a very long time.
You're gonna get dogged.
In our lifetime, we haven't seen that.
Fuck.
No, we've never seen it.
Deion Sanders did it.
I guess he counts.
I guess in like
Pat
Not in our
Pete.
lifetime.
Pat Pete counts.
he never
Pat
played
Pete
receiver though.
didn't he only do it for like kick returns?
No, I thought he was on the offense some plays as well.
You get like
Really?
15.
No, he'll get Hail
targets.
Marys.
Probably.
I think it was
but
like Hail Marys.
I thought Pat Pete. They were flirting with the idea of him playing receiver, and he had a couple
You
of
might
plays.
be right, bro.
How many receiving yards does he have for his career?
Yeah,
Let's
check
see.
that.
400
I'll say
I just-
400?
280.
I'm gonna go
Pat
under
Pete?
on that.
280.
I'm going like
total.
100.
He played a long time.
He
Dang.
did,
I'll
Like
go
a minute.
but his
He probably
peak
had,
is
like,
probably when they
25, 30
wanted to do
receptions.
that,
Yeah.
and I just don't. I just think he.
I
got
feel
the-
his
All right, I'm gonna set. You guys can take the gamble.
He
280.
played receiver for like 2 years, like 15 receptions maybe. They're talking about 30 receptions. 4
Over
years.
under 140 yards.
Oh, so my line was high. I'll
It
go
was
with the
high.
Over.
Over
Yeah.
I'm
Under.
gonna go less.
No, I'll go over. I still got 280.
for his career, he had 64 receiving yards.
Ah.
Yeah, that's like one play. That's like
How
Muhammad
many
Sanu.
targets did he have?
So 1 year in 2013, he did have 8 targets, 6 catches, 54 yards.
Yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
They probably
That's a
really
good-
needed receivers.
That's a
that
good
day.
game. That's
Yeah.
like a good game.
That
no,
is
but
solid.
but
It's really
Pat
solid.
Pat Pete was unbelievable in that time.
He was
Yes.
a gifted athlete. He got the kick returns and
He
the
was
punt
first
returns.
first team All Pro that year.
Yeah,
One
he
of the
was
ones.
unbelievable.
Shout out to him.
Now Pat Pete probably is the most underrated corner that we don't really talk about.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
I
Now,
played more receiver.
AFC South division,
That's all right.
one
I mean,
team.
8 catches for a corner legitimately is. I mean, 8 targets is great.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. I wonder what game that was. I might just go watch it.
Yeah, fact.
Like what the hell? But AFC South is a division in flux. There are 3 teams that have the quarterback figured out: Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, CJ Stroud. The Colts thought it was going to be Anthony Richardson, but
They got it.
it just feels as if
I wish Dells was here, man.
not only is the on the field player Richardson sporadic, 50% completion percentage for his career, but now he's dealing with a shoulder soreness. So he is consistently having pain in his AC joint on his throwing shoulder. And as of today, he went to go see a specialist to get an opinion on it. This is a shoulder that I think he's injured before in his NFL career. And at this point, not only does the on the field stuff have to catch up with him and he needs more reps, but he also needs to stay healthy. And it seems like he's not able to do one of either at this point in time.
Anthony Richardson, unfortunately for him, is being hindered by a few things. One, obviously the team's not that great. And on top of it, too, his body and his skill set are just lacking right now. Now, we saw it in limited opportunity, but before the shoulder injury, he was exciting. He was able to he was able to move. He was able to be a positive with his legs. His arm definitely lagged behind, but he showed flashes. That Rams game comes to mind. And I feel like we're going to start treating that Rams game like Zach Wilson with the Tennessee Titans game. And that sounds so rude to say.
And the Jets game too.
Who?
Richardson.
Him? No, for sure. But I'm talking about like his early seasons of being the guy and having that opportunity. He's just such a dynamic player that with the fact of how inaccurate he is as a quarterback and the fact that it isn't his throwing shoulder, if I'm not mistaken, how are we to move forward with him when the passing still is not there? He's still one of the most inaccurate quarterbacks in the National Football League. And then on top of it, he can't stay healthy. Like, there's just so many things that are starting to pile up against Anthony Richardson that it's really unfortunate. Of course, because of how high of a draft pick he was when he was the number 4 overall pick. But I also just don't know what we can do moving forward when it comes to Anthony Richardson. Because if you are going to have this injury this young into your career on your throwing shoulder, I know that the anomaly of shoulder injuries and coming back from them is Drew Brees. They thought that he would never be the same after his shoulder injury. He came back. Obviously, we're talking about one of the greatest ever. But I just don't know if I see I'm not saying, of course, to be Drew Brees. That's obviously not it. But I don't know the path of him to be an upper tier quarterback with the way and how far behind he is as a passer. That's kind of where my reservations are with him. When I look at the Colts and I look at this offense, there's still pieces away I don't know how to feel about this wide receiver room. You know, Adonai Mitchell's obviously had a decent rookie season considering how much he was able to get open, but of course, due to circumstance, he wasn't able to produce the way that you would hope. Michael Pittman was a flat out disappointment last year, one of the big disappointments of 2025. That's true. His back definitely was janked up for a majority of the season.
He was healthier early in the year.
But Jonathan Taylor got brought back to life at the end of the season. That's the positive coming in. Offensive line wasn't that good that last year. So there's a lot of negatives going up against the Colts. Of course, you want a better situation for AR, but it just seems to be a lot going against him.
It's tough. You want to go first? You're welcome to.
Oh, all right. Yo, John, thank you. Thank you. You know, I appreciate that. That guy who usually sits there, he wouldn't have let me go first.
He wouldn't have. No way.
You're a real one. Surprisingly, I do like what they have over there. Obviously not the offensive line, but I think JT is still one of the 10, can be one of the 10 best running backs in the league, can probably peak at like top 6, top 7. Y'all know how I feel about Josh Downs, AD Mitchell, Michael Pittman Jr. I think he did have a disappointing year, but we've seen Michael Pittman Jr. He can be a really good wide receiver. Those are 3 serviceable guys that if you come into a situation, you're not like, oh shit, this is something I got to really like. Nah, JT, them 3 wide receivers, you're like, all right, something I can work with. The problem with AR is the thing with projects coming in is they really test your patience. I think they test your patience in a big way. And with AR, he was a project, but also dealing with injuries in college. He didn't play too much in college, so he was always a project coming in. You have this big talent that has the arm of Josh Allen where he can throw that shit like 70, 80 yards. He's a big body. You can't really tackle him, but he's a guy which he has trouble with accuracy. He has trouble with injuries in his shoulder. And those are important things. And he's not the smartest quarterback in the world where he can read defenses and stuff like that, but he's a big play guy, And I think with the Colts, their expectations were coming off a Gardner Minshew year where they had an opportunity to make the playoffs. They did. And they didn't make it because, it went down to the wire last game of the season or whatnot. You come in with AR, you're expecting AR to be better than Gardner Minshew. He didn't. Now you bring in Daniel Jones. Now he's injured. He didn't have his best year last year. He's been up and down for his entire NFL career. Also has been banged up. It's that growing impatience and that growing worry of when is this guy ever going to reach even close to his potential? Because now you're thinking potential is probably out the window. Like his absolute peak is probably out the window. You're probably thinking of that. Like usually when you look at a guy, you're thinking of that first level, second level, third level. You're hoping, can he at least get to the third level? That low median for him. And right now he can't get to it because he's always banged up and he's not accurate. He doesn't get the proper reps. It's a whole bunch of things. And that impatience bothers you, especially for a team like the Colts who haven't had a franchise quarterback. They've dangled between Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett. They've danced with these bridge quarterbacks. They haven't found their right guy, in a division like we've talked about. You have Trevor Lawrence, who has also had an up and down career, but we understand his talent. We understand that he can be a top 10 quarterback at his best. We understand what CJ Stroud is. We figured Titans just grabbed Cam Ward. Let's see what they can do with that guy. You're the coach. You're sitting there like, God damn, when is it going to be our opportunity? And when is it we're going to get a guy that we can consistently build around? We've had solid seasons with Carson Wentz when it came down to the last couple games and he fumbled the bag. They could have made the playoffs. We had solid seasons with Phillip Rivers, solid season with Gardner Minshew. We feel like we're just a quarterback breaking through away from being a legit team in the AFC that can consistently make the playoffs, but that impatience, it fucks with them.
And Anthony Richardson's like one of the biggest project quarterbacks we've ever seen. Like coming out the draft, he had every single physical measurable you'd look for in a quarterback to check the box. And then he's skyrocketing to the first round, to the 4th overall pick. And if you're the Colts, you look at him and physically it feels like he's Cam Newton, but he's so far away from that because of how many little reps he's got. Like you highlighted, in college he had under 400 passing attempts. In the NFL, he's had under 400 passing attempts. And it's one thing to develop a quarterback. It's another to when it's a project that's consistently dealing with injuries. So he's not really playing with rhythm, and he's not really playing with confidence necessarily as a passer either. And I really like this Colts receiver room. You have Alec Pierce, led the NFL in yards per catch, had a big step forward this year. Josh Downs, one of the most underrated slot receivers in the NFL. You got in Tyler Warren in the draft. But for all of the weapons that they do have in the offensive end, Anthony Richardson's not the right fit necessarily to get all of them, like Downs and Tyler Warren, involved on a week in, week out basis. And it was always a matter of not just the fact he was raw as a passer, he wasn't accurate consistently, he had one of the most questionable injury histories coming in the NFL too, where it's always one thing after another. So if you're Indianapolis, you do have to be patient, but this shoulder injury is another example of kind of just how much of a risk they're taking when they took him with the 4th overall pick, and now they're in really a state of purgatory.
You know, it's beautiful. They put all this together for Daniel Jones.
He's
I
in a
can't
perfect
wait.
situation
And with Shane Steichen,
to
I'm
start.
excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, you're hilarious.
I'm
for that.
genuinely
start,
excited.
yeah.
Like, I haven't actually been this happy or this excited for a Colts season. Ooh,
Since Peyton.
it's been a while. I'll say this: I really did love Luck.
Okay.
I loved Luck, and it's just a part of me that loved the Colts. And even though I felt betrayed by Irsay and what he did, RP,
Rest in peace.
for what he did for Peyton, and then of course I just couldn't help but root for Luck. It was
I think
awesome.
a lot of people did.
So I think that was the last time, even though Luck did end up beating the Broncos in the playoffs, that really hurt. Didn't love him then. But it's been a long time since I've been excited for the Colts.
Luck with the Stanford, right?
Yep. No, I mean
Jim
that's
Harbaugh protege.
yeah, facts.
This is a perfect situation for Daniel Jones. I mean, this is exactly what him and his agent probably wanted.
dreamed about
We're
this.
going to a team with an unproven quarterback. The team is unsure about him. They wanted to bring in competition.
We're back
Daniel
like we never left,
Jones,
Johnny.
He's
Come
not
on.
getting paid little money. He's getting paid starting quarterback money. He's making, I think, just as much as Aaron Rodgers is with the contract that Aaron signed with the Steelers. So the Colts definitely
Who's better?
signed him. Come on.
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is way better than him.
Okay, just gotta ask those
Who's gonna have a
questions.
better year this year?
Aaron Rodgers. Still. Aaron
Okay.
Rodgers.
Yeah, do I
Yeah,
sniff
14 million.
a little friendly?
14 million is a lot.
14 million is a decent amount
That's a
of
lot
money.
for backup.
No
More
doubt.
than a
Yeah,
Who's
backup.
back?
I don't think that they
These
signed him
motherfuckers started.
thinking he's just going to be the backup.
Yo,
I think they really signed him to start.
Friendly wager.
I like it.
Friendly wager. Dave's Hot Chicken.
Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones.
That's a
I'll
fire-
take it. I'll
Dave's
take it
Hot
with you
Chicken.
all
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
All
It's
day.
a fire bet.
It's
All
just
day.
a fun bet.
Dave's
It's a
Hot
fun
Chicken.
bet.
All day.
I'm cool with a fun bet.
All
Nice.
day.
I'm cool with a fun bet.
I like
All
this.
day.
Because I
How-
can happily take you out to Dave's Hot Chicken.
How are we adjusting for that? What are we doing?
Just like objective. I think it'll be easy to
Will
tell.
you take me for a snack?
No.
Snack wrap? I can
Yeah.
do it. All right, so Dave's in a snack wrap. That's a clean deal.
Snack wrap.
Games missed, we void it. How many games will we?
Nah, we can just do straight up. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, straight up. Like
Okay.
I just think like
It's
who's
Daniel Jones
objectively
and-
like who's gonna be better.
Yeah.
Like,
Let's
I
do
think
it.
it's
Good.
And it's a food bet, so like
Yeah.
I don't care.
Shit, nigga like me, Dave's Hot Chicken. I don't play.
Yo, they're putting one on Route 4.
Oh,
Turn
you're
me,
fucking
I'm
lying.
dead
Oh, yeah, it's
serious.
up. Yeah, I don't play.
No, that's
No.
yeah, it'll be fun.
I was on Twitter the other day and I was just scrolling through it.
We got to start writing down these bets this year, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
write this one down.
Nice. So I was just scrolling through Twitter and I guess the perfect tweet got to me. It was a For You page directly geared towards me. And the Twitter account, it just the @ name was just Fat Kid Deals. And I was like, what the hell? Fat
You've
Kid
never heard
Deals?
of them?
I've never heard of them.
Wow, dude,
But
they're Twitter legends. Go ahead though.
I was like, Fat Kid Deals, what the hell? So then that's when I found out they announced that McDonald's is bringing back the snack wrap.
It's about fucking
I
time.
think
Should've
it's
never
July 10th is the date. I do remember the date. I'm
Uh-huh.
left.
Bro, I've been waiting for snack wraps for like
They should have
years.
never
yeah, I
left.
know you're up.
Is it almost a decade now that they haven't
Think
had
so.
snack wraps?
Keep your expectations at a minimum. They are running the chicken tenders, the new ones,
Oh no,
so you got to be careful.
I haven't even tried those.
The
so-
new ones, all right. So
They're
maybe
solid.
I heard they're mid,
Yeah, they're like all right. They're all right.
Can I ask you guys what a snack wrap is?
bro. No
'Cause I went to
way.
McDonald's a lot as a kid. I don't think I ever got one.
So
I
what a
never
snack
had one
wrap?
either.
Yeah, what a
But I
snack
know
wrap
what it
is,
is.
bro. It's a tortilla, and you can either ask for a crispy chicken tender or like a grilled chicken tender in
Right.
it, and they put lettuce in it, and they put just cheese, like shredded cheese on it.
Got a little sauce,
and-
maybe a little honey
yeah.
mustard.
Some sauce.
You can ask for
Ranch.
ranch. You can ask for honey mustard. That's what it was. I think there's a couple fears with the snack wrap releasing now. Back then, it was like $1.89 for one. So you got two for $4. You were good. Under $4, you were good.
You were eating so swell, but the issue was it took forever to make, allegedly.
That's why they removed it from the menu. But people have been asking for it for so long
Mhm.
that they're bringing it back. But
We
the
know why they
US
brought it back. Because they're scared of Popeyes.
yeah,
They're literally scared of Popeyes.
dude, Popeyes brought a wrap. They brought a wrap into their menu. And then McDonald's like
I've been to
instantly
Popeyes.
released it.
Popeyes has had fast food scared for years.
For real?
Bro, when they dropped their chicken sandwich,
Oh, facts. The chicken
the
sandwich.
world stopped.
It was lit.
Their mac and cheese is good too. Have you
Really?
tried? Yeah,
I don't
the
like mac and
really
cheese
good.
is from
Every time
fast
I've had
food.
it,
Theirs
I've
is
had
really good.
Is
the
it-
worst
Yeah.
gas. in
Yeah,
my
oh yeah,
stomach.
no, it's a
For the
stomach
next
ache waiting
day.
to happen. That being
I've
said,
regretted the last 4 times. I've
my
gone.
hot take is that
Every
Popeyes
time.
has the best French fries in the game.
Ooh.
That is my hot
I
take.
disagree with that.
I can't get
Their
with that.
Cajun
McDonald's.
fries
I can't get with that.
are
Okay.
S
McDonald's
tier.
fries.
I haven't had those.
McDonald's fries is
McDonald's
all time.
fries
All
are-
time. All time.
That's why
I think Five Guys are the best fries.
I think
Five
so.
Guys
They're
does
overrated.
have
They're
the
so
best
greasy.
fries.
That's my hot
They're
take
so
too.
greasy.
Five Guys is overrated.
They're overrated. The French fries are overrated. You just get
say
so
that.
much.
You get way too many.
You
Way
get
too
so many.
I
It's
stopped
too
eating.
much.
I'm trying to eat a little bit healthier, so I stopped eating fries, and then I'll have it like every now
I
and
did
then.
give up fries for Lent too. They're
But-
sneaky bad
But
for
the
you.
Five Guys stuff, it's so greasy, and a
Yeah.
small is like an entire bag.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's insane.
It
So
is
I
a
would,
lot.
I would prefer McDonald's because it's smaller and it's not as greasy.
Five Guys is a lot. They do give you a lot.
I haven't been
Yeah.
to Popeyes in almost 2 years. That being said, John, for your first real Popeyes experience, I would do it because you need those fries.
Never had the Cajun fries.
They're amazing.
I had the regular ones. They're like colder.
And that's years ago, bro. You honestly, I don't even know what they taste like, those ones you're talking about. I only get the Cajun fries, a 4-piece spicy, tender, not the actual chicken,
Mhm.
and a chicken sandwich on the side when I'm on my fat
I
boy.
don't eat chicken at Popeyes. Ironically enough.
He put me on. Their shrimp is decent.
Popcorn
Decent
shrimp.
shrimp.
Shit hits.
Their popcorn shrimp.
Shit hits. Like
Their
for
shrimp
no
is
reason.
decent.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, for no reason.
You would
it hits.
never go to a fast food spot and get
Yeah.
shrimp.
Nope.
Theirs is good.
Yeah.
Popeyes genuinely has a perfect
I like
menu.
the chicken sandwich too. It's good. Like I just don't get it, but it's a
What
good
food
chicken
do you
sandwich.
think smells the most?
Smells like, in
I'm
general,
not gonna say that.
Like the
Yeah.
strongest.
Like
It's a
onions.
strong smell.
I'm not
onions.
saying what I was gonna say.
onions.
What were you gonna say?
Yo, for me it's yogurt.
What
For me, it's Greek
cuisine
yogurt.
smells the most?
Like a Indian restaurant or something.
I hate
He
you.
said it.
You set him up crazy.
Yeah, it's like
I'm
you know,
just gonna go with food that smells the most is onions. The answer's onions.
That's a good pick. When I was in high school, sophomore year English, every single day as a kid in my class I'd have Greek yogurt. And
really.
I swear, I was across the room. Every single day he would whip that out. It must have been close to expired every single day.
Damn.
Because
It was
I would,
punching you?
it would open up. I'm probably 15, 20 feet away. There were days I'd have to almost walk out the room because I was starting to
A
gag.
Greek
from
yogurt.
just how
Greek
bad
yogurt?
it
Have you
smelled.
ever had
crazy.
Indian food?
Nah.
Nah, you haven't.
Mm-mm.
I had a Factor meal,
That was Indian.
buttered chicken.
Okay,
It was amazing.
I won't lie, my palate weak.
it's really good, bro. Like I'll be honest,
does-
the smell is strong.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. I'm genuinely asking. Does halal guys count?
Halal is Mediterranean.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my palate weak, bro. It's very simple to the point.
Fluffies is kind of like a mix though. Like Fluffies
Indian?
is you can get butter chicken there. I've
Get
got it
outta
before.
here.
I didn't know butter
I've got
chicken
it.
was Indian. That's
So-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
Indian
butter chicken was
cuisine, like I really like it. It definitely has a strong smell to it. Like if you
Very
get
strong,
it,
very strong.
it will smell. It will have a strong smell, and it's not for the weak. But I will say, if you can get past it, it is delicious.
Okay.
Especially with the naan. You know what the naan is?
Yeah,
right?
the bread.
Yeah, naan is basically
The
like
naan?
it's like a naan.
Naan.
Oh,
It's
oh,
Naan. It's basically like a tortilla, but it's
You meant
like,
like
an,
nine.
yeah, it's in like
It's
an
like
Indian
pita
style.
bread almost,
Okay,
but not
okay.
really. It's weird.
Yeah, it's
All
like
right.
an Indian style tortilla.
Where
Bro.
do you go for it?
I've went to Fluffies to get butter chicken before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and while I had it, and I was, eating it with the naan and stuff. Jess had to stop eating. She was right next to me. The
For real?
smell was that strong that
Yeah.
she couldn't eat her food
Mhm.
while I was eating
It
the
is
Indian
it
food.
is a strong ass smell. It's very, very strong. Not for the weak for sure. Yeah, no, my palate weak. I gotta lock in. I gotta expand and shit. I'm too picky.
They got good food though. Like I will say, they really do got some good food.
What, fluffies or Indian food?
This Indian food
Oh,
is
yeah,
really
yeah,
good
for sure.
Like I said, the smell sometimes I feel like when you start eating it more, you kind of get used to the smell,
Yeah, I bet.
and it's like this doesn't smell bad no more.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to search it out more because I
Because-
know it tastes good.
It's a specific, I think, spice they use in it. I think it might be cumin.
Okay.
That's what it is. It might be something I know that they use. Indians use a lot of spices in their food, but it's basically the spices that make it smell like that.
That
like
makes
they're
sense.
just that strong of a smell.
Mm.
Let me see. Indian spices they use in food. Okay, I found it. Cumin, turmeric,
Damn it, I should have let it fly. I thought turmeric too.
cinnamon, cloves. But cumin and turmeric are really like
Yeah.
the two ones that are like staples of like Indian cooking and stuff.
Okay.
It's
All
good
right,
though. I like
I'm
it.
gonna lock in.
I like that. So what, you haven't had many cuisines?
Have you had Greek food? A gyro?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Gyros, I think you would enjoy it.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Okay.
Rev looks like a soul food type of guy. What?
Well, yeah. I am black.
You don't like it?
So
You do. Huh.
yeah.
Is
Okay.
that your
Collard
favorite?
greens.
Love collard
Extremely
greens.
bitter.
Really?
I will eat them.
Not my favorite. Cabbage is my favorite.
Do you like candied yams?
My favorite. Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, he's sick. he's
We're
He's
digging
nailing
in-
you right
we're-
now.
We're digging into the cuisines.
I mean, yeah, like yams are my favorite. Outside of black people food, I would say Chinese food, like Asian food. That's my favorite.
It's
Chinese
amazing.
is. I think Asian cuisine is my favorite.
It's all time.
Easy.
You can't
Easy
beat it.
one.
You can't beat it.
You know what I just
Korean
had
is
the other day?
incredible. Japanese is
And I'm
incredible.
talking about like the real, real
yes,
Japanese
yes.
Korean, not the
'Cause
American style.
Japanese, you got sushi.
Mhm.
Oh God.
Chinese food, you guys got like the sesame
Ramen
chicken,
as well.
dumplings.
For
Yeah, facts.
Japanese.
Dumplings,
Japanese.
Mm.
I also like Thai food. I tried it for
Okay.
the first time not that
Interesting.
long ago, but I got the Thai noodles. I
Mhm.
forgot
Okay.
what it's called again.
I like Thai noodles.
But they're noodles, and you can have like a source of meat in there. That was really good. It was really good. I forgot what it's called. I
Mei
like
Fong?
pho too.
Oh, pho is good.
Yeah, pho. What'd you say?
Mei Fong?
It's not mei fong,
Mm.
but it's like those little noodles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, mei fong. Yeah, these ones were thicker. I got them from like this pad Thai place. I think that's what it's called. Pad Thai.
Pad Thai.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's what it's called. It's really good. So
Okay.
I like Asian cuisine a lot. I can go for anything. Like Korean is really good too.
1000%.
Yeah, there's this place in Teaneck. It's called Peck Peck Chicken.
Yes. You told me about
New
it.
York Giants players go there. And it's
tough.
basically Bonchon, but like a mom and pop shop version of Bonchon.
I like Bonchon. Like Bonchon is good.
Never had it. I heard it's like instant diarrhea though.
Yeah, no, you'll die.
Oh.
Yeah, your stomach. You'll do
It's
it.
crazy, dude. I've been plotting on fluffies all week.
Oh, dude, your stomach's gonna explode when you get.
I'm a big
Bonchon.
fan of soul food though. Paula's Soul Food Cafe. You've had that? Shout
Nah,
out to
actually,
Ahmed.
I've never had it
You've
yet.
never had
It's-
I've had it.
It's good. No, it's good.
I don't like everybody cooking my soul food. You know what I'm saying? I'm really picky about it. So like for like
it
soul
has
food.
soul food. I mean, it makes sense. You soul.
Yeah, like my mac and cheeses. I don't like everybody making my mac and cheeses and stuff like that.
Me either.
Yeah, I don't like. It's
Mac
not
and
to say
cheese
they're
is not
good
meant
and
for
stuff.
everyone to
It's
make.
not. It's
Respectfully.
not. Like, and I like mine a specific way. So it's.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. Fast food mac and cheese stinks.
You said the Popeye shit is fire.
I've had it once or twice. It's okay.
You don't like Chick-fil-A mac and cheese?
No, that one's not bad.
That's actually like
I
one of
like
the better
Yeah.
ones.
Boston Market mac and cheese.
See, that's my hot take. I didn't like it.
Really?
It's very creamy.
No, I liked
Yeah.
it.
See,
I
the
liked
thing
it.
is, here, let me shut up because Panera Bread's mac and cheese is genuinely good.
Is it?
It's genuinely
Okay.
really
It
good,
is
and
good.
that one's super creamy.
I'm over here trying all like, yeah, I know what the fuck you're talking about.
You never had the Panera
No,
one?
no, I do, I do.
I was
I
gonna say,
had Panera once.
you
just one
dude,
time.
that mac and cheese is nuts. You
Okay.
get in
So
a
your
bread
favorite
bowl.
cuisine is
Asian.
Asian.
Yeah, it's Asian.
What's
Then
number
soul
2?
food. Then so.
What, John, is yours Italian?
Yeah. I don't eat out Italian really too much. I'll pizza, but I mean, really for me, I guess it'd be Italian food, and then
Were you locked into soul food when you were with that girl?
no.
No, not at all.
No. And then the other one too is gonna have to be Chinese, but I fall asleep very easily. There's a place in
Itis.
Allendale.
He's cooking because I get
When I-
mad sleepy
when-
after.
yeah.
You know what
Facts.
diabetes is, John?
No.
No, dude, after Thanksgiving,
Really?
you eat a ton of food.
Oh, he's falls asleep.
You get
It's
the
basically you just
Sleepy.
you eat a shit ton of
Oh,
food, you just
yeah.
get mad tired.
Chinese
Yeah.
food does make you sleepy.
Yeah.
It really
I think they
Did you
put
know
something.
that there's a certain chemical in turkey called tryptophan?
I've had Turkish food, and that kind of put me to sleep too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, but it's the turkey itself.
Turkey meat.
But yeah,
Oh, I thought you were
yeah.
talking about Turkish
Oh,
food.
turkey and
Like
Thanksgiving.
country. Got me good. I've had Turkish food. I've had
You talking about turkey and Thanksgiving?
Like
Yeah.
Mediterranean.
Okay.
So there's a chemical in turkey called tryptophan
Mhm.
that naturally makes you sleepy.
I don't eat turkey at Thanksgiving.
So what's crazy about it is shout out to Alexandra and that Caucasian Thanksgiving that we have
Right.
at her crib. Bro, she put me on to having prime rib for Thanksgiving. I'm sure I've told you guys this before. It's changed my life. I will never go back to turkey. I will never do it.
There you
Turkey
go.
is very
It's called
dry.
the poor man's bird, isn't it?
I don't know. Turkey is dry though. Dry as
It
fuck.
is dry.
You gotta put. I had to put mad ketchup
And that
on
chicken was dry.
it. Nah.
I've had a lot
Real
of
dry.
ground turkey recently.
Do you like cornbread?
Yes.
Love.
I do. You wouldn't
Fucking
expect it.
Adore.
I will get intimate with
I would get
a piece of
Yeah,
cornbread.
like I can eat a whole pan. Like yeah, I know I don't eat that. I can get a pan of cornbread.
Oh, I
eat the whole
believe
shit.
it.
Okay. Yeah, no cornbread. I did some wild shit one time Thanksgiving. Cornbread had grape soda.
Cornbread is so much better when it's homemade and it's fresh.
Just
Cornbread right here, grape soda right here. I was going fucking bananas, bro.
I can visualize that picture perfect.
It was a moment. Like we had, like we don't, we get the whole grape soda. We don't. Get
Is
the
your favorite
cans.
cuisine Asian too?
yeah, I think pretty comfortably too.
I've never seen you eat Asian food,
Oh my god, I have it all the time.
Yeah.
but you always get cooked food every time I see you.
That's the thing. I try not to spend my money on food.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for fried chicken. Genuinely, I love it. I get it way more often than I should. I know that it's terrible for me. I know that I love going to Korean barbecue. That's up there. I don't really go out for Spanish food. That's the one place where, like, obviously my mom makes it all the time. That's like the one staple at the crib. But yeah, I'm not really eating out as much.
You probably got to go to this place called Sushi Village. It's on 46. Is right next.
I've gone. It's unlimited sushi.
Facts. That too. It's also like a buffet. Like you can get unlimited sushi as well, but they have like meats you can get.
Yeah.
So like bulgogi and stuff like that, and it's really good.
Have you ever gone to Cast Iron Pot in Little Ferry?
Yes.
Okay, that place.
What's it called?
It's on like if I had my last meal type Korean barbecue.
Have you ever had a crispy rice?
Yeah,
No.
Crispy rice is good.
it's bizarre.
Okay.
It's bizarre.
That place Sushi Village makes it. It's basically like a rectangle of rice, but it's fried on the outside.
Oh shit.
And on top of it, they put like tuna and then a piece of avocado with some
hate tuna.
sauce.
It's insane take.
Yeah. No, I hate tuna.
The tuna's orange though. It's not like your regular tuna.
Does it taste like tuna?
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna like
Not
it.
like
Wait, have you had
regular tuna,
sushi
though.
before?
California rolls.
Okay. You didn't like it or do?
It was all right.
Okay.
It was tuna in it.
Well, no, it's crab meat.
Oh, okay.
It's crab meat, but
Yeah.
I think that you would like it if you didn't know.
If I didn't know and I didn't taste it, probably.
You would like it.
But if I can taste and smell tuna, I can't do
you
it.
like spicy food or not really?
Yeah, I'm there with it.
Because I like the spicier meats, like a spicy tuna roll, spicy salmon roll, spicy crab.
It's really spicy chicken and nothing.
Spicy chicken, really?
Yeah,
That's
like
your
chicken
thing?
wings. Yeah, it's
Mm.
really spicy chicken and nothing.
I can't do raw fish when it comes to sushi. Like my cousin likes it a lot, but he made me try one of his, and in a Sushi Village, there's like a salmon, like a piece of salmon that you could just try and like just eat. It's like sushi. It's like has rice and stuff and seaweed wrapped around it, but it's the raw fish.
Yeah.
It's literally raw.
I'm sure you can guess my favorite fish.
Catfish?
No.
Oh,
Fried.
fried.
Yeah.
Fried fish.
Yes, fried fish.
Oh. I just assumed. I mean, catfish is a staple in soul food, isn't it?
No, it's fried.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
catfish is also fried, if I'm
Yeah,
not
it is. It
mistaken.
is.
Yeah.
Catfish is fried.
You probably had so much catfish in your life, you don't even know.
Bro, I be having shit I don't know. I've had so much shit.
All the times I had fried fish, it was catfish.
Like I didn't know, bro. Literally, I was eating something, but it had a shit ton of peppers in it, and
Yeah.
it had the red peppers. But it's always like when I eat red peppers, I never know what it is. I just know it's peppers. So when somebody was like, so I was talking to this girl, and she was like, "Oh, I'm cooking this, and bell peppers." So I asked her in the text message. I couldn't see the picture because I had no Wi-Fi. So I was like, "Hey, like, what's bell peppers?" So then she was like, "River, you fucking serious?" And I was like, "Nah, I really don't know what bell peppers is." She sent me the picture, and it was literally the red peppers I always eat. So I was like, "Damn, I've been eating this shit my whole life. Never knew it was
You would
called."
think they're spicy.
Sashimi.
Sashimi. I hate it.
Really?
I hate it.
I get it. I don't mind it.
It tastes disgusting. to me.
That's a hot take. I get where it come from. Though.
I'm just
it's
like,
weird.
I probably need to drench this in soy sauce so it's not miserable for me.
I get it. But the thing is, so I'm interested to, you say you don't like sushi raw. So do you only get the tempura rolls?
No, I'm fine with raw sushi in that way, like the crab meat and stuff. Just not the salmon. Just not like
Not
that
the tuna
purely.
either?
I like tuna too. Yeah. It's really just like, I think that
The
salmon.
salmon
I
just
had.
rubs you the wrong
Just
way.
the raw salmon really is what I was just like, Like I got this poke bowl
Mhm.
from Aldi, and it had like all the ingredients to make your own bowl. It had the raw fish, the salmon, and I put it in there with the rice, and I cut up the salmon, and then I tried it, and I'm like, what the hell?
It's a weird texture.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, like I don't think I could get past this. This is a little bit too much for me.
I get it. It's not for everyone. The texture's weird.
And then it's slimy.
It is.
It's slimy. It's like it's very hard to enjoy it. I'll be honest.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. There's a lot of great Asian cuisine though, especially in this area. Kiku is another one.
We're up.
I feel like if you eat butt, you can eat anything.
I mean, that is so well said. And ironically enough, I hate cold cheese.
And cottage cheese.
Yeah, cottage cheese.
I do hate, I hate shit like that too.
John got to take us to like his favorite Italian restaurant, but you say you don't get it out to eat, right?
I really don't. My mom makes pasta and meatballs all the time. My grandma made, like, growing up, every year at Christmas, anytime we'd have a family get together, the best pasta and meatballs that I ever have. But I haven't really been to too many places. I've been to a few when I was younger in Brooklyn, because my family came from. But in the area, I haven't really had too many recently. I'll have to kind of loop back and see some good ones.
Bro, culture is awesome because, John on a random Saturday out playing in the park all day, he's just looking forward to getting home and getting some pasta and meatballs.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. I think the place I eat out the most is Chipotle.
Okay.
I had to give that up.
Easily.
I was getting way too much.
I've been hearing a lot. One of my good friends, Joey, he lost 30 pounds, but is not eating seed oils and taking that out of his diet completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been kind of thinking about doing that myself to eat healthier as well. And places like Chipotle have a lot of seed oils in them, so then I wouldn't really be eating out really at all. So
I've been on this thing. I've ate Honey Nut Cheerios for breakfast 10 straight days.
That's lit.
Yeah.
It's just very hard to
Can't tell you the last time I had cereal.
eat clean if you're cooking. Like, thankfully, Jess is cooking, so she's able to, like, do that stuff, but
It's
I
hard
can't
to
cook.
eat clean when you want to enjoy your food. All right? That's genuinely the statement.
All that
Because
shit is-
I will cook for myself.
yeah.
Whether it's good or not, that is not in my head. I'm trying to eat just because I need something in my body. Case in point, today, I made the sorriest lunch of all time. Got home from the gym. I had fajita tortillas.
Mhm.
I threw one on the pan. I put 4 eggs in there. I messed up. I don't know what I did. Maybe I flipped it too soon. The fajita was so soggy. So I turned it over. I put a second fajita on there. That one I also messed up too. Don't know what the hell I did. So I had some rotisserie chicken. I chopped it up, put it in a bowl. I had some Thai chili, threw it on there, put it in the pan, was able to stack it. I made myself a ghetto
Bullshit
quesadilla.
sandwich.
That's what I did. It got the job done. I was not hungry, but it wasn't good. I'm not going to tell you it was good.
That's
But
funny
that's
as
some shit that you can do.
Yeah, there.
You like grits, man?
No, I never tried them. I heard
They're runny.
It can be.
they kind of taste like
If you don't like oatmeal, you're probably not gonna like.
I
grits.
like
they're
oatmeal.
like more
but
runny than
Like
oatmeal
oatmeal.
though.
That's
Yes,
why
yes,
I. That's
But it depends. Like you could like I put like butter.
It's
I
like
put
dry
cheese in mine.
applesauce.
question. Is the comp mashed potatoes?
No,
Interesting.
I would say even mashed potatoes are much softer.
Interesting.
Yeah, no. I would
I've never really had them to say.
comfort grits. It depends on how you make it. Some
you
people
have
like it
grits
thicker.
often.
Yeah.
So what do you? When I used to work at Chit Chat, people used to order grits and they would put like a piece of cheese on top.
Yes, I usually I cook grits, so like I put the cheese first and then. But
Okay.
that's what restaurants do, and it pissed. I think we went to Saddlebrook Diner one time, and they put the fucking cheese, just a slice of cheese on my grits, and I just looked at it like.
I had a funny experience down there.
Bro,
How
this
many
is
times?
Not how I wanted it.
How many times have you ordered grits out
Every time we go to a diner,
when you go to a diner?
breakfast, I'm getting grits. Like,
Have they ever just said, "Yeah, you want grits"?
There's definitely been moments where they're like, we don't have it, and I kind of like don't want to eat no
Honestly.
more. I'm just like,
Have you ever got a moment where you're like, "Can I have some grits?" They're like, "Of course."
I wrote that down already.
No, there was this one time we were at IHOP, and it was me, my mom, my dad, my grandma, my brother. We're all black. So,
Are you?
yeah, we're all like, I'm the lightest.
Fucking around.
So, like, think about it. I'm the lightest. My brother's, you've seen my brother.
Yeah, your
before.
brother is definitely darker than you.
Yeah, way darker. My dad's darker. My mom's darker.
You guys have the same.
Different fathers.
Okay.
He's his father's complexion, but I'm not even my dad's complexion. So we're
Didn't
sitting at the
wanna
table. We're sitting at the table, and the lady, swear to God, came up to the table. Would you guys like some grits? Would you like me to offer some grits? And my mom was like, "Excuse me?" And then my dad started laughing, and I'm just looking like, "Shit, fuck." We're like she's about to have,
She's about to turn up.
a
She's
nigga
about to
moment.
crash
Like,
out.
it's about to happen. My mom started crashing out like, "How dare you? This, that, and third. How would you assume?" But the waiter was black too. So he was just like, yo, I just assumed I would have came in here and asked for some grits too. So I knew, you know what I'm saying? Y'all would have came in here, y'all would have asked some grits. I just start laughing. Like, me and my brother are crying because we're just like, ma, like, it's 5 black people at the table.
How many of you guys got grits?
3 of us. That's what I'm like, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, ma, like, it's a good.
He nailed us. He got it.
No offense. If he's like John's color, I get it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, assuming that fake crazy, but like, he's one of us. Like, come on, he knows what we're getting. And we all got grits. So it's like,
Yeah, she didn't have to turn up there.
but that's my mom. She be tweaked.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude.
So
That is a good story. I'm not gonna lie.
she be tweaked up
So many
sometimes.
different cultures, dude. So
It's
many
4
different
here, man.
cultures. Yeah. You got your culture.
What is my culture? Because you're gonna say everybody else's, but what? Why do I get the your?
I'm Black American culture.
Okay.
Mine is Hispanic culture, but more specifically Salvadoran culture.
Nigga, I feel like y'all all have different.
Yeah.
They're different things.
John's is Italian culture,
Mhm.
and then Drew's is Puerto Rican culture.
He's also, don't forget.
You know what, man? I thought he was gonna throw that out there, and I was about to be like, my brother. Nah, good looks.
Don't forget, he's with us.
I appreciate that.
He's with us. John, what's your like signature? What's your like family signature?
Pasta meatballs.
Pasta meatball
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
I couldn't guess it.
Yeah.
This guy is sick, bro.
yeah. Yeah.
Really,
Do you
no
guys put
way.
anything different in it, or is just
My grandma would cook meatballs very differently.
Mhm.
They're a lot bigger. I can't tell you exactly what's in the recipe, but I know she passed.
it's not
on
your
to
time
my,
yet?
She passed on to my mom.
Okay,
and
okay.
My mom does a great job. My mom's Irish though, so my mom, her family,
Oh, okay.
they ate a lot differently, so to speak.
Shepherd
like,
pie.
Yeah.
So
shepherd
who's
pie.
the Italian? Your dad's side?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like my mom, like she loves mashed potatoes and
Mashed potatoes are good.
Not surprised.
Yeah, I don't like mashed potatoes.
They are good.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
Don't like mashed potatoes.
John, that's fake.
It
A hot take.
depends. It depends on where I get them from.
Okay.
So my mom makes them and I do like them, but if I get them out somewhere, I usually more often.
So you
than
don't
not
like them lumpy.
I don't. I like
Yeah.
them a little bit more like solid and.
I
not,
figured
like,
that because usually you get a lumpy mashed potatoes eating out.
Definitely throws you
Yeah.
off.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's,
I like it because it feels authentic.
Yeah.
it's definitely Italian is top 5 cuisine, dude.
I guarantee top 3.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's so good. It's
It
incredible.
really is up there.
It's amazing.
Italian bread.
My mom's signature dish, without a doubt, is it's pollo guisado. Now, my thing with pollo guisado, which is why I like it a lot,
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't love it the way that my rest of my family does because there's no beans. I am a slut for beans.
I hate beans.
I love them. Pink beans, kidney beans, black beans. Sign me up. They're amazing.
Rice and beans staple in my household.
No bull. Like 100%. And my mom always gets mad at me because I ask her, I'm like, you making beans? Because she makes it a certain way. Do you use sofrito by chance?
Yeah.
So my mom puts in the beans. It goes to the moon. She puts literally sofrito in everything. The pasta that we make too. My mom's
It's a little
funny.
spicy, huh?
It is.
Sofrito,
It is.
yeah.
And that pasta be hot sometimes.
Yeah, it's a
And she
little
needs
spicy.
to calm the hell down. But it's good. It's damn good. So yeah, that's probably our signature dish. It's basically it's like chicken stew almost. That's really how you can describe it. It's amazing.
Nah, dude, I was thinking the other day about just how many different cultures have the same foods for their breakfast, just in different combinations.
Mhm.
Like for Hispanics, it's usually eggs, rice, and beans.
I've never had rice and beans for breakfast. Like
Oh,
my
really?
mom woke up and was like rice and beans for breakfast. Like
Yeah.
leftovers maybe.
My mom does a lot of rice and beans, especially with eggs. And
Sounds good.
There's other like cultures that use like the same type of recipe or like the same type of combinations. Not rice and beans particularly, but like think about American, like the Grand Slam breakfast.
Mhm.
It's an egg, it's like a type of meat, and then it's like pancakes. Like that's American culture. That's
Belgian
like,
waffles over pancakes.
yeah, that's like American culture, but there's also a lot of other cultures that use eggs, especially Hispanics, because Dominican food, you have mango,
Put that
you
shit in the
have
Hall
eggs,
of
you have salami, you have the onions. That's a Dominican
Fame.
breakfast.
Hall of Fame.
A Salvadoran breakfast is eggs, is beans, is crema, a piece of bread and cheese. That's a Salvadoran breakfast.
I can't do
And
it.
they're all basically the same thing. They're just a piece of meat with some eggs and like, a tortilla or like a bread. That's
Mhm.
like what it is.
When I was in Spain, their big breakfast was egg and potato. That's what they are. It would be like a bread and potato on eggs and potato on a piece of bread. It was good, but it was dense.
Yeah.
And they would serve it cold.
Really?
Oh wow, the potato.
Cold potatoes.
Everything.
Oh wow,
God.
God, what
morning?
the fuck?
I hated it.
that was when you were in Spain.
In Spain.
I
Was
wonder
there-
what-
I'm going to be
Good or no?
transparent with you. No.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't. When I went to other spots in Europe, the food was fire. Switzerland, food was excellent. Amsterdam, food was fantastic. France, the food was fantastic. Spain, I would argue it was bad.
Is all of their when you went to go eat at those places? Did you notice a difference in the portion sizes and how they have the portion sizes here versus there?
So, sort of, kind of. I would say it's similar, truthfully. I wouldn't say it's like the exact same, but like they would give you a bowl of paella and it was huge. It was a big portion. That was at multiple spots. Papas Bravas was something that we got religiously. That was great. It was potatoes fried with like some special sauce over it. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
But the fact that a potato dish was my favorite meal, that's when I was like, all right, we got to turn this up a notch.
A sneaky good cuisine is Greek, bro.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
It's a sneaky
Gyro is
good.
elite.
Yes, it's a sneaky good
Lamb?
I
cuisine.
like that you traveled the country.
Kebabs.
Shout out to Moms. She definitely put us on. Because that one summer when we went to Amsterdam, France, and Switzerland, Germany, that was a movie.
I'm not leaving traveling overseas till I get a girlfriend.
Fair enough.
I don't want to
I
travel
did
with
go
my
to
boys.
Spain with Al.
Why
I did
not?
go to.
I want to travel the world with the woman of my dreams.
I understand where he's
It's a
coming
nice
from.
dream. That's heartwarming.
Like in Europe, that's what I want to do.
You
Like, I
wouldn't
feel
want to
like
go to
A
Japan.
respectable take.
with my girl, I feel like my boys is more like for the islands in the Caribbean.
It's funny you say that, bro, because I only want to go to Japan with Charles.
It's your brother. I respect that.
He had a chance to go this past spring break,
Mhm.
and I'll be honest with you, he's gonna listen to this and he's gonna hear I was mad at him. I'm like, you betrayed me.
He went.
No,
Oh, okay.
I was thrilled.
Oh, lit. Yeah,
I told him that. I said, I'm happy you're not going
yeah. I feel like
because I really want to go with you.
I feel like the Caribbeans, like that's where I would go with my boys. Like those are like party
Mhm.
islands and shit like that.
To wrap it up, I would go with his wife and Alexandra, of course. But I need to make sure that the first time we go is with each other.
Oh,
Facts. I understand what you're saying.
I respect that.
Yeah.
Japan is cool, bro. I want to
Hell
go to Japan.
yeah.
It's just the flights are mad long.
Dog, I can't do it. Like I got to be off like 4 edibles, dude. Like I need to go to sleep. Like I cannot. I'm scared of like, bro. When I went to Vegas for my birthday,
Mhm.
like 4 or 5 years ago, dude, I was fucking petrified for 5 hours. Like I'm legitimately scared of heights.
Mhm.
So I'm in the bathroom for like 3 hours of the plane ride, sweating and itching, and I'm like in there having an anxiety attack. It's like, bro, why the fuck are we up so high and I can't do it? I woke up and I'm like, nah, bro, this shit is boggling me. Like I can't do it, bro. Like,
Didn't know you were not a fan of planes.
I don't even get on roller coasters.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I'm legitimately scared. Like I can't do it. Like,
Damn.
that and spiders.
I can get spiders.
You're so ugly.
Yo,
I can't
once
do
I
it.
learned that spiders can jump, changed everything.
Bro, once I seen a spider look what it looked like, I can't do
Oh,
it.
yeah, they're ugly.
They're one of the ugliest things
I
I've ever
just stomp
seen.
on them.
I'm
Yeah,
scared.
no, I stomp on them too, but the fact that it's in my head, yo, it can jump at me.
It can do anything.
That is messed
It's
up.
small enough to get in
Yeah,
your
it
ear
is.
and get in your mouth. It's dangerous.
Allegedly, in your life, you've at least swallowed by now 3 spiders.
See, like, you know how
You
scary
have
that
7 in
is?
your lifetime.
7 in your lifetime?
7?
That's crazy.
I read the same study years ago.
7?
It was 6 or 7.
I'd be pissed.
Yo, I had when I think I was like 5 years old.
I did wake up the other day and I saw a spider right next to me. I turned to my left and I said, that's the first time I've ever seen that in my life. And then I walked to the bathroom, grabbed a piece of paper towel, took it out, put it in the toilet, went back to bed.
Definitely went in your
respect
mouth and came out.
All right.
Not the only thing. When I was 5, I woke up with my eye completely swollen shut.
Mm.
Spider bit me.
That's
I
brutal.
looked like Rocky.
That's brutal.
It was messed up. Like, could not see out of it. Spiders are messed up.
Fuck
They're
them
not
guys.
cool.
We don't need them.
Sometimes I
Yo,
run
we
into the
actually
webs.
do.
For what?
They get rid of hella mosquitoes.
We need them.
We need them.
That pisses me off, actually, because if I could exterminate them,
Do
I
you
would.
hate bees?
Not as much as I hate spiders. I know we need them.
Bees, they definitely worry me more than spiders. And I know bees are definitely more essential.
Yeah.
Bees, I've had bad run-ins.
Really?
Yeah.
I've gotten
never been
stung
stung
like
by a
3
bee.
times. Look, I'm getting goosebumps thinking
Do
about
they just
it.
sting you like out of nowhere?
Not out of nowhere. So one time I was young. I guess I was in a spot I shouldn't have been. Stung me right on my thumb. I was young. I was traumatized, crying like a bitch. Then I was playing basketball. This is not too long ago. Heard something buzzing near my ear. I was like, what the fuck? Popped it. Grabbed it. Squished it. Stung me right on my finger again. Unbelievable.
Last dying breath.
And then I think I got stung not too recently as well. That one was unfortunate circumstance. Like it just landed on me. There was nothing I could do and it just came after me. But we have hella bumblebees near my crib and it's honestly done a great job of me like overcoming my fear of them. Because there's bumblebees that don't do anything. They don't do anything really unprovoked. They will not do anything to you. You run into a wasp.
Those motherfuckers.
Say goodnight.
Yeah.
They want you. They want you
They're
bad.
coming for blood.
They're not cool.
John has firsthand experience.
When I was a kid, it was I don't know what type of bee it was, but in my old house, I was 5 years old in my own room, and for whatever way, they got into the wall, and they got into my room. I had 3 of them all on my bed, and 2 of them stung me. And another one that was like 4 or 5 flying around, and them getting through the wall. When I'm a 5-year-old kid, I thought I was in the Matrix. I'm like, how is that possible? How would they get into my room? They got into the wall. There's a hole in the outside, and yeah, that was the only time I've ever been stung. But I still remember that to this day. It was 2008. Like it was
When I
yesterday.
was 4 or 5, my sister dropped me down the steps.
Damn.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, no. I definitely got put into some bad situations.
Wait, what the
bro.
hell? Did that would
I don't
a wasp gonna sting you?
I don't have no wasp
bee?
beat. Yeah, no, my sister just dropped me. I had a cast when I was growing up. I used to hit people with it, and she picked me up, and I kind of just like, bow, hit her in the face. She was just like,
See ya.
She
Damn.
just dropped me.
Here, take these
My
steps,
goodness.
kids.
It just,
Last story, and then we'll do whatever.
holy
That
shit.
reminds me. When I was younger, my brother, he used to piss me off. So you know Charles now. And what he's shown you guys is one of the sweetest, kindest human beings ever.
Growth.
He's changed so drastically from age 23 on and 23 before. 23 on, amazing, like the sweetest dude ever. 23 and before, that dude was devious. Now, he was 13, so at that time I was 9 years old. I don't know what the hell he did. He was bothering me, pissed me off. I took his glasses, snapped him. Now, that's how I remember it. Now, here's the thing with Charles. Charles is blind as hell. Like, the thickest pair of glasses you could ever see, that's what Charles had. So if you took his glasses, he's not a human at this point. So I remember it taking his glasses off his face and snapping them. He says that I punched him in the face and snapped his glasses. He took me and launched me. I was maybe a centimeter away from being tossed down the stairs.
Oh shit.
So I probably deserved it, but I remember when he pushed me and I was like, yo, what the hell? Everybody ran towards Charles and were like, you okay? You okay? So I definitely punched him. Like that makes me think that I punched him because after he tossed me, I'm like, he tossed me. Anybody gonna check on me? Nah. I regret that one. That's one of the few I regret. I snapped his glasses like a twig.
Sounds like you're the shithead, man.
No doubt. And that's the situation I would
He's like,
say
from
was my fault.
23 younger, he was the asshole.
No, he was. But I wouldn't break his glasses unprovoked is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm more of a hit and run kind of guy. So like I was just airboxing and I was just having fun, and my brother was like sitting down at the couch, and I pretended to just airbox him, not thinking that my reach would get to his face. And I did this, and
you
then
popped him.
yes,
So hit him.
I connected by accident. It wasn't on purpose. It was by accident. My dad was sitting right next to him on the couch, and as soon as I punched my brother, he was about to get up and immediately was gonna do something to me, and my dad just stopped him.
Real.
And I just got I just was able to get a hit, and then I
Peace
was
out.
like, my bad, I didn't mean to. I just punched you in the face
If
for
me,
no reason.
If me and Charles fought, we fought. No, we got into battles. The last time we fought was a decent amount ago. Oh, I lied. That was when we were in Vegas for his bachelor party. We were just all being dumb as fuck and we wrestled. But then I remember one of the last times we were wrestling in my room. and he got me in a chokehold with his legs.
man.
Had my head in between his legs and started to squish my head like a fucking watermelon. And I remember in the moment feeling my eye go like this, vroom, and shut close because of how much pressure was on from him squeezing me. I was like, all right. I was cool. Like we were fine. I was, I think like 14, 15. So like of a decent age, like to know we were just messing around. When I was younger, I used to freak out, cry, be soft. No, but this was like one of the last times I go to the bathroom, my eye completely shut. I'm like, yo, bro, we went too far. This is too far. Because the only one rule you had unwritten, no punching in the face.
Yep.
So everything was valid. Yo, we used to rip kidney shots. Like really, really hit each other. Good times. Good times. Missed those. Even though I got my ass beat more often, I think I maybe won one fight.
It's tough being a younger brother.
No, 4 years.
Yeah, that's
on
usually
me.
how it goes if you're the
Yeah.
younger sibling.
There was only one time it felt real. You know what I mean? Like we used to
Yeah.
fight and like it was
I think only
whatever.
me and my brother, we only had one real fight. Two. Yeah, two.
Because my brother used to always act hot shit for his friends.
Those
And
be the
I
moments.
respect it. You know, you're the older brother, you rip on the little bro. The fact that he let me hang around was cool. But there was one time he was really pissing me off. I said, yo, bro, say one more thing and I promise you, I'm going to hit you. And he kept going. I picked him up. I slammed him into the dog cage. I picked him up. I slammed him into the bed. Completely broke the bed frame. And his friend was over. So he saw that it was getting real and he broke it up between the two of us. Usually they were bystanders. They used to just watch us duke it out and they would just laugh or whatever. But it was real. Like I was genuinely trying to hurt him. That's the only time I would say I caught a dub because there was genuine rage behind it.
That was real.
Nah, but that was bad. That was bad. Yeah, broke his bed completely. Had to tell mom and dad something happened.
We're gonna get into these series adjustments.
Let's do it.
Holy
nice
shit.
little trip down memory lane.
That's a
nice
fact.
little trip talking about cultures and foods, learning new information
That was good.
that I couldn't have ever assumed. And now we're gonna get into adjustments. Now, OKC won Game 2 in convincing fashion and pretty much shut down the Pacers. So we're gonna talk about how they did it and what are your feelings for Game 3 now and what the Pacers can do a little bit differently.
I think they came out guns blazing. I think that you got some heavy production from guys that you didn't get production from in Game 1. Shea was excellent. You're going to anticipate that in every single game that he plays. This is a matchup that realistically he should feast on. But the fact in the first quarter we saw Chet Holmgren come out 4 for 5, 90% true shooting, this is what you anticipate. When Chet plays 7 feet tall, he becomes one of the better players in the game. And in this series, if he plays the way that we saw early on in this game, he can be the second, third best player in this series. He has those capabilities, and we saw what he was able to provide on the defensive side as well. But you just got unbelievable production from your role players. Shout out to Caruso giving you 20 points. Shout out to Aaron Wiggins to coming alive in this game as well. And Isaiah Hartenstein played a really strong game as well. This was just the Oklahoma City that we anticipated coming in. And it's not as if they played bad in Game 1. Game 1, they just gave it away. They took their foot off the gas. Now, let's not take credit away from Indiana. That sounded like that while I said that, and I can understand that. They shot unbelievably well in Game 1, 45%. They were clutch down the stretch. Tyrese was excellent. Got to give credit where credit is due for that Game 1 performance. But I just feel that Oklahoma City is the better team. And we saw that in Game 2 executed at a flawless level. They put a lot of pressure on ball. They forced Tyrese Halliburton to precarious situations when he got into the paint to not get him into those positions where he can go and drive and kick. They just made things very uncomfortable for the Pacers. And we saw the Pacers be human shooting the basketball. I say human where they shot 35% from 3. And for their standards or what they've shown us this postseason, that's not what they've been. So they really did a great job of closing out and really just forcing the Pacers to be uncomfortable like we haven't seen so far in this playoffs. And the turnovers continue to be a story for me in Oklahoma City for their entire playoff run. They did it again in Game 2. Tyrese Halliburton finished the game with 6 assists and 5 assists, but there was a point where he had more turnovers than assists. And for Tyrese, that never happens. They've done an amazing job of making Tyrese uncomfortable like no team has so far this playoffs. And I think that that's been the key difference so far in this series. You had a strong output from Tyrese and the supporting cast in that third and fourth quarter in Game 1 where they were able to pull away with the W. But for a majority of that game, Tyrese looked normal. And for a majority of game 2, he also looked very normal as well. And shout out to D Mills, because I think that he was making he was exaggerating a point, but it was a fair point. If you're Indiana, you cannot have Alex Caruso outperform Tyrese Halliburton. Now, that's not more so true as it is a sentiment. Tyrese Halliburton needs to be assertive. He needs to be aggressive, and he needs to go ahead and understand that he knows his role. Hasn't changed all season long. Get your guys involved, but of course, occasionally you need to know when it's time to get yours. And I think that that's the sentiment. You need to be more assertive. You need to be more aggressive when the time comes. And you can't be outperformed by Oklahoma City's 4th, sometimes 5th best player. That's the difference in this series. I think that we just see how well-rounded Oklahoma City has been, and their role players simply have just played better in these 2 games. I just think in game 1, they shot the lights out of the ball.
Yeah, I think OKC played a great game. I think what Mark Daigneault did with J-Dub too, because I think when you've seen and it's just in the playoffs in general, when J-Dub and Chet play good, OKC typically wins those games. When they struggle, you usually see J-Dub and Chet being on the beneficiary of not playing a good game. But love what Mark did, sat J-Dub down a little bit early, let him heat up in the second quarter, got him going in the game. Like you mentioned, Chet was a great tone setter, and I love how SGA approached the game in game 2, kind of got his guys going first, then started to heat up, do his thing, and I think that was really important. You mentioned it, Caruso, Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, those Lou Dortz early in the game.
No doubt.
Those
He was
guys
amazing
just being
defensively.
electric offensively. Isaiah Hartenstein too. For the most part, I just think Hallie has struggled throughout the series. Maybe outside of a good 4th quarter from game 1 and like a little bit of the 3rd. For the most part, he's been comfortably in check, and they've just been able to put a lot of pressure on him. There's not many matchups, and actually outside of Hartenstein, there isn't many matchups he can just pick apart and exploit. There's going to be a physical, tough defender in front of you at will, whether it's Cason Wallace at 6'2", Lou Dortz at 6'4", J-Dub at 6'5", long arms, SGA at 6'6", or even Chet at 7 feet tall. There's going to be somebody in your face, and he doesn't have that great to elite isolation one-on-one bag work where he can just get a bucket like that. Also, that's not his game. He's not an assertive, dominant scorer. That's not a part of his game right now. I think Indiana is a collection by committee type of offense, and right now everything's uncomfortable for them. They're a team that typically doesn't turn the ball over, generate good looks, and I feel like everything has been pretty tough for them. They're getting into possessions pretty late into the shot clock. That's never been their thing. They haven't been up and down as much as they wanted to in spurts. And OKC has just been able to slow the pace down. And I think that's been huge for them. Defensively, they've been locked in. Outside of a choking game 1 4th quarter, they've dominated this series at home. Now, Indiana, it's going to be at home. Might be a different story. I really don't know how many adjustments they can make, because I don't think OKC is going to let up the pressure. Maybe, if Hartenstein's in the game, try to put him in as much ball actions as you want. But when they're running the pick and roll, they're just switching, and every guy on OKC can defend. It's really difficult to just get these guys in action. They're so disciplined defensively, and you saw game 2, the adjustment was OKC was more aggressive on the boards.
Definitely.
That was huge for them, and everybody was gang rebounding. So for Indiana, if they're not hitting those threes like they were before in that second half in game 1, it's really hard for them to win this type of game against OKC. OKC's playing great, and that's what you got to tip your cap to. Defensively, they've been sound for 6.5 quarters to 7. Offensively, they got it going, and I think it will probably be the same going to Indiana.
I think it starts in transition with Indiana this postseason. Their pace hasn't been what it was in the regular season, but when you compare and contrast the conference finals versus the Knicks, there are a lot more lineups that they could exploit. You have a hobbled Karl-Anthony Towns, you have Josh Hart, who's not the best one-on-one defender, you have Jalen Brunson, and then you go into this series where if you try to push and transition, the Thunder don't have to worry about getting the wrong cross switch. They don't have to worry about getting the wrong cross match because everyone can defend 1 through 4 for the most part. There's a guy maybe here or there like Aaron Wiggins hasn't played for the majority of this postseason. He's one of their weaker defenders. Isaiah Joe, similar story. And in game 2, what separated it from game 1 was that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander came in as a playmaker, was making all the right reads at a pick and roll.
Definitely.
And getting those guys involved early and often to where his 8 assists, only 3 in game 1. And that's kind of the difference. When he is activating and unlocking those shooters, they become a nearly impossible team to beat. And on the defensive end, it is really about Oklahoma City forcing you to take tougher contested shots. Because the same way in that Knicks series, the Pacers are getting quality looks, the shot quality has not been good through 2 games. And the best way to problem solve it, we talked about in the post game, reaction is that Indiana should try to unlock Tyrese more inside actions on the wing, whether it's running pick and roll, getting him THO. It's getting him attack downhill where in that elbow space he's able to get a floater, a jump pass from across the court, or just going all the way to the rim. And if he isn't aggressive as a scorer in this series, they can end 5. I took the Thunder in 6 games. But where it starts for Indiana, like you said, you can't have Alex Caruso matching Tyrese Halliburton's scoring output. For as good as Nembhard's been, Siakam has struggled a bit in this series.
No doubt.
This is a tougher matchup for him with Chet and their wing defenders like J-Dub, who match up so well. But for Indiana, what they've run into is an elite, historically good defense. There have been some great ones in the past. I think of San Antonio in 2016 and some other teams. I believe that their perimeter defense is on par with those groups because you cannot find or exploit one-on-one this group. And pick and roll, they're a very tough team to get good advantages against. And then most importantly, in transition, it's not going to be an easy opportunity where you could just say, oh, just run more and get out in transition because you're still going to run into a same issue where it's you're not getting advantage, they're getting back, and then they're generating a lot of turnovers, 40 through 2 games. And we saw that manifest in game 1. They won despite having 25 turnovers because Obi Toppin just couldn't miss a 3,
Fact.
which was really what kept things within arm's reach to win that game. But I don't expect Obi Toppin to continue doing that. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit jaded by his Knicks tenure as a shooter, but
He's
it's
been
really
pretty great this postseason.
He has been very good for the most part, but I think Indiana's going to get a lot more juice on their bench, and most importantly, they're going to need Tyrese Halliburton to set a tone early in Game 3, and if he doesn't do that, they'll be down 2-1.
And also, before you go, Joel, it's not just on Tyrese. It also has to be on Pascal. Like, Pascal also needs to be more assertive on the offensive side, and like we understand, it is a tougher matchup for him. There's no easy matchup here. There's no easy matchup for Tyrese because you have two of the best perimeter defenders two of the better perimeter defenders in the league, arguably the best in Caruso, in Case and Wallace, how great he's been. I understand that Lou Dort also has to get put on him at times as well. Lou Dort was excellent on him in game 2. Mm-hmm. And then for Siakam, of course, you understand he's going up against J-Dub. He's going up against
his
Shai.
matchup.
There you go. That's
Siakam. Yeah. I thought he played well when Kaysen's on him. When he can get that
which
switch
makes sense, of course.
That's where he needs to.
But I also want to be fair to not, to Tyrese. Yeah, it's also going to be on Pascal because we know when he is at his best scoring the basketball, more often than not, it translates to W's for the Pacers.
I don't want to make a sweeping referendum on the Pacers stars because every star has struggled against OKC's defense.
100%.
I do think that more so for Tyrese Halliburton, his weakness has really been glaring this series of just his lack of creation one-on-one. He doesn't have a quick first step that is on par with the elite scorers in the league. He doesn't have a dribble package he can consistently go to with combos where he can break down a defender. You look at the way that Shai plays offensively versus Tyrese, 2 different players. Shai, per touch, is averaging 7 dribbles. Tyrese, per touch, is averaging 2.5 dribbles. So we're talking about Tyrese usually when he is dribbling the ball, he is very quickly also getting it out of his hands. Where Shai is taking twice as many dribbles and breaking down his defender and getting to his spots. I feel like that's the difference between Shai and how great of an isolation scorer he is and how that is lacking for Tyrese. I mean, he cannot score unless there's a screen set for him. And that's how he generates his offense, off these screens. And they had 9 drives, and he had 9 drives in game 2, and they generated 0.22 points per drive, which is the second worst driving game he's had all season. The lanes for him are cut off by OKC. It's a combination of their help defense. It's a combination of him not having that first step to get by that initial defender. There was a defensive possession where Isaiah Joe defended him well for the entire possession and forced a contested mid-range jump shot. So those are things that Hallie just doesn't have in this game. He's not an exceptional isolation scorer, and he gets a lot of his damage on mismatches. And in this series, you just can't get by like that. So I think the questions for him in this series, if the Pacers want to win, is how can he beat defenders off the dribble, and how can he get by defenders on the perimeter if you're not manufacturing downhill drives for him? Because what John is explaining is essentially manufacturing paint touches for Hallie, because otherwise he's not able to touch the paint against this defense. And I saw some of that in the fourth quarter with the dribble handoff actions with him having a head of steam. Mm-hmm. But I think those things can be schemed against and they can be taken away as well. And with Pascal Siakam, I more so like think it's an offensive scheme issue with him because they've been trying so badly to get the ball to him in the post on these post entries, and oftentimes there is help and they still are trying to pass it to him when they can swing the ball in other directions. And there's also moments where he does get the post entry and Shea has been on him, and that should be a matchup he should theoretically win, but Shea has played some excellent defense pulling a chair on him and just contesting well. So I think with that, they have forced Pascal out of his game, and they have forced him to create above the break to where, okay, now you have to become more of an isolation scorer, not more of a mismatch attacker. So Siakam has really been taken out of rhythm, and there was a double big lineup that the Pacers played with Turner and Thomas Bryant, with Pascal Siakam also on the floor. And in those possessions, the OKC Thunder were cross-matching. They were having Hartenstein on Nesmith. They were having Chet Holmgren on Thomas Bryant. And who was guarding Pascal was often Shea or Isaiah Joe. And in those possessions, I just don't think the Pacers were patient enough to get the ball into Pascal Siakam.
Mm-hmm.
They were often rushing the actions, and they were just taken completely out of the game. I think they were really sped up. Their entire half-court process was sped up. I think offensively, it's going to be a real challenge for them to get anything going. And defensively, I think is kind of where they might have to try to win this series at. They need to have low-scoring games with OKC, and that's very hard to do. But I think part of what they can do is play more zone defense with Halliburton just standing in the corner and playing in that zone, because they are attacking him a lot. They are involving him in a lot of guard-to-guard actions. And if you're playing zone and he's in the corner, they can't really do that. And they haven't played zone at all. I think there's only been like 2 or 3 possessions where Indiana's played zone. So I think that's the next adjustment we see. And for OKC, I just think that offensively they found this perfect rhythm to get Shea going as a driver, because they're setting screens so high up in a half court. It's like near the logo. And when you set that screen, Shea is able to split it, and he's able to get downhill with momentum and attack the weaker defenders. And he's just able to get into spot it into the mid-range pull-up like whenever he wants. So it feels like, to me, Indiana is very outmatched. Like, I know they won game 1 and it was a great victory, but to me, I think the OKC Thunder should win the next 3 games. Like,
100%.
I don't see how this shouldn't end in 5 games. I think OKC has pressed all the right buttons. They have them figured out. And it's going to be very hard for Indiana to consistently generate offense. Even in game 1, when they won, I thought a lot of their 3-point looks were just like shots they were forced to take because they couldn't get into the paint.
I'm going to say Nembhard breaking down Shea for one of the biggest buckets of the game. Like, that's not going to happen. He tried it.
You're the MVP.
He literally tried it again in game 2, this time against Caruso, and that shit got shut down. Like, credit to Nembhard for hitting a tough shot in a big game situation. No way around it. I'm not trying to steal the credit.
That was one of the toughest shots I've ever seen in my life.
But again, it's how sustainable is offense like that?
Nembhard can do that. He's been doing that since his rookie season. I understand what you're saying. It's a tough look.
Brother averaged. Let me not go into the numbers because he's been really good this postseason.
He's a different player in the playoffs.
He is, but
he's a playoff riser.
He is. Yeah. Maybe it
well,
comes
the kids
from.
call him a playoff merchant nowadays.
Yeah, but hey, that's a great,
like to be a
great
merchant.
nickname.
Yeah.
But for him, or maybe for Indiana, maybe it needs to be more so, like you mentioned, with dribble handles, but in different situations, more so somebody else taking the ball up. We saw Indiana really execute a high-level offense in Game 1 when Nembhard really was initiating, and they were able to go ahead and do so many different things with him, and with Tyrese not having the ball in his hands.
He's able to drive better than Tyrese and get to the rim.
He is, and it's
guard.
a weird thing to say, but that's the truth.
A little bit more.
I don't hate that. There's a lot, but that's the strength of Indiana's offense that we constantly talk about. They have so many different guys that can initiate and take the ball up because of how great the system Rick Carl has built in them.
They're like a exploit mismatch type of offense.
And you can't necessarily do that. Yeah. But I also felt like Carlisle, for as great of a coach as he has been, his one criticism I would have this postseason is his lineups at times have been questionable, or I think he kind of overthinks it. A good example of that is in Game 2, Miles Turner only plays 27 minutes. There's no reason why he should be playing the least of any of the starters, because defensively, if you want to win the series, it's going to be off of him as a rim protector. On the offensive end as well, he's too vital to this team, and especially if he's able to. He went 1 of 5 from 3.
He couldn't keep up with
in
Chet
Game
either.
2. Okay, but on the offensive end,
smoking Chet.
On the offensive end, if he starts connecting those threes with a pick and pop option,
I agree.
that opens up the floor a lot.
Yeah.
Siakam, what he's improved with most in this offense is the ability to create and hit shots consistently from above the break. So if you have Siakam initiate more from the top of the key opposed to game post entries where he's not really been very efficient in this matchup, and now you have him involved more from the top of the key, you have Turner getting going from above the break. Chet Holmgren, amazing defender. What's his biggest weakness? It's going to be guarding. He's still a capable perimeter defender, but that's not his strength as a defender. Isaiah Hartenstein, he's going to be in drop a little bit. Miles Turner hits a pair of threes. Then I think Indiana will win one more game. But I do agree. It's going to be a matter of them hitting shots consistently, and you really don't know how sustainable that will be against this team, but I'm excited for game 3 either way.
Miles Turner is the next factor. In the non-Tyrese minutes, I thought TJ McConnell was initiating the offense a little bit too much for my liking. But Miles Turner is the X factor because that's the shot that OKC is giving up. When the screen is coming, they're sometimes switching. They're sometimes sending two to the ball to Tyrese. And Miles Turner is getting that pop action. He's getting the ball on those pops. And he's having to make a decision whether it's shoot or attack off the dribble. And then in the Pascal Siakam actions, when they're trying to get him post entries, he's often the one that is making that pass. So like game 2, they ran a lot of their offense through Miles Turner, I think a little bit too much. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust. I think Rick Carlisle has a couple things up to see that he can do. But we got to see it. And right now, OKC, they pretty much shut the door on their offense in game 2. And just they were coasting.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm looking at some of the responses that people are leaving underneath your ranking quarterbacks list. Somebody has Peyton Manning last. Like, what the fuck?
I haven't even read them yet, but it's interesting to see.
I saw you post it. I'm like, yeah, smart to leave Brady out of there because it would have made the poll.
Or Mahomes.
Or Mahomes as well,
Mahomes,
100%. Yeah. Some people... I anticipated Breeze being second to last or last on a few lists. Peyton? Are you 2 years...
What's the list?
Well, it's
Manning,
the
Rodgers,
6 quarterbacks.
Yeah. I just said,
put him in order?
Yeah. I said rank these 6 quarterbacks based off talent alone. Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow.
If it's based off talent alone, Rodgers is one.
And I respected people having Rodgers
Lamar
over
be two.
Peyton.
I don't know.
I don't hate
Is
Lamar
Rodgers
being
one?
Yeah.
I think
He's the most talented quarterback.
Unless we're going
On
off
this
last season,
We're going
I say
off
in
all
terms
time.
of Lamar, that was Lamar's peak.
Yeah, but
That is a perfect player.
taking their prime years. So it's multiple.
Last year was a perfect player.
Yeah.
I've never seen a season like that from another player.
Like Lamar can do everything Aaron Rodgers can do, and he's freaking run 43.
I don't want to say it's the best season ever because obviously he didn't have the championship, and that would obviously capped it. You could argue it was the most impressive talent season by a player ever.
It's Lamar and Josh.
Who's more talented, Josh Allen or Peyton Manning?
Josh Allen.
Why? Because he can run.
He can do everything.
I'm going to say out this
So
one.
then Big Ben is better.
Josh
Than
Allen's more
Peyton.
talented than Big Ben.
So Big Ben's more talented than Peyton.
Big Ben wasn't the same rush stretcher as motorcycle accident. Even before.
It's
then,
unfortunate.
but
I actually didn't.
Who do you
know
think has a
got
bigger arm,
He
Peyton
wasn't
or
like a
Josh?
great rusher
Josh,
before, but he
easy.
was less mobile.
Josh has
It's
a rock.
Josh and Lamar are the most
Who
talented
has more
quarterbacks.
touch?
Probably Payne.
Payne.
But even though
Who's smarter?
Josh
Payne.
Allen, who's smarter?
Who takes care of the ball?
Measuring their IQ.
Oh, both of them kind of throw a lot.
Not really.
I mean, Payne used to throw a lot in interceptions.
Josh Allen's playoff numbers are much better than his, though.
I bet.
Like I think Carson was looking at the stats. Like he's like what second?
Carson
all time?
probably knows that shit off the top of his
Yeah,
dome
Josh
skin.
Allen's like second all time in a lot of playoff numbers.
No, I understand. My GOAT, unfortunately, didn't always rise, but he always played top level
From
defense.
amazing.
like I know like Peyton Manning, of course he's over
Payne's
Josh Allen,
amazing.
but like from a talent perspective, you don't think that Josh Allen is more just
think-
talented?
So is Kyler Murray more talented than Peyton Manning?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's not 6'5".
I just feel like if
Is Herbert more talented than Peyton Manning?
he can't run like Josh.
Is he more talented than Peyton Manning?
if he could run like Josh,
No. I think Josh has the arm strength factor, and then he can also run. He got wheels.
he
Like
really did.
Peyton Manning's not doing anything outside of the pocket, like
No.
scrambling wise.
So by that measure, Josh Allen's more talented than Brady.
Yes.
Talent for talent. you
See,
can
this is
argue-
why this conversation sucks.
It's just
Talent for
talent.
talent,
Like if Lamar's
talent.
one, Josh should be right behind him. Like the shit he can do out of pocket, like with his arms, with his legs.
I don't
the shit
think
he's
Brady's
done.
the most talented quarterback ever. I think he's the greatest.
That pocket presence will never be replicated.
Talk.
No, but Josh Allen also has elite pocket presence too.
It's
though.
not Brady. Brady's is one.
The shit Josh can
Brady
do,
and
bro,
Peyton are 1-2. Like, however you want to shake it, 1-2.
Allen doesn't take sacks,
He doesn't because he runs.
The shit, bro.
but it's also when his pocket presence. He doesn't take sacks.
Whose pocket presence is better, his or Mahomes?
Right now, Allen.
Shit.
Allen.
I don't
Mahomes has
know.
taken a lot of unnecessary
His threat
sacks
to
over the last
break
2
the
years.
pocket and then
Yes,
rip off a 20-yard
yes.
run.
Bro,
Facts.
the shit he can do, just quarterbacks are not
Like,
doing in open
No,
field.
no,
I
Josh
also-
is a goat.
I
Like,
just
that's
think
what
that
it
his
is.
calmness in the pocket is like over the last
Mahomes
year.
or Josh.
Josh, like
Got it.
even compared to Mahomes, like his calmness in the pocket is there.
His
He
offensive
doesn't-
line's amazing.
Yeah, but
Yes.
he doesn't get as angsty with his footwork. Like I think Mahomes sometimes you could definitely tell he doesn't trust his offensive
Well,
line.
because dog shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Josh Allen has a historically low
The
sack
tackles.
rate. Like he
Oh,
doesn't
no.
he doesn't take
They-
sacks.
continuity.
I mean, to be
They've
fair,
been together for a while.
Mahomes' sack rate was low
Yes.
until this past season.
It's still low.
Yeah.
It is still low. It's just not like Josh Allen. I think has like a 2% sack rate. Like that's a historical.
And you
outlier.
also can't tackle him. Even if you do get him, you
That's the
can't
Big
you
Ben
can't put him
thing.
down.
He's the bigger than some of these linebackers that are trying to bring him down.
They he'll fucking hurdle you.
I'm going to be honest, though. When I see Lamar run in open space,
You're not catching him.
not just that, when he's met by a defender,
Makes him miss. Yeah.
no. He will go right into that defender.
That's a fact.
He's not scared of contact. Never has been. To the point where it worries me sometimes
Mhm.
because he's taking licks.
Yeah.
Like he is getting hit like a
Talking
regular.
about Allen?
No, Lamar. Lamar has taken some shots, and I've seen him. And obviously, Josh is different because that's what he does. He
It's his
looks
body
for
type.
I feel
that.
like
Yeah,
Lamar's a lot more elusive though in
Sheesh.
open space.
without a doubt.
Like,
But
he
my
might
point
take
being is, do you think of Josh as the guy who does take hits because he is the big guy? He's like Lamar is the same way, not as strong as Josh, obviously, but bro, the hits he takes scares me.
Yeah, I know
I'm
what you
probably
mean.
watching different games then. I feel like you'll see a little bit, but I feel like more often than not, it's making a man miss. He'll get hit on his way out of
Nah,
bounds.
I know what he's saying though, because there's been some hits. So you like, damn, Lamar, but he get up, he like, nah,
Like he
I'm
just
good.
straight,
Yeah.
just like okay, next
Yeah.
play.
I've seen Josh though. It take like 3-4 dudes
I
to like
mean,
take him
superhuman,
down.
superhuman.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
Peyton Manning had some unbelievable years with sack rates being low. His lowest year was he had a 1.72% sack
Payne's
rate.
a goat.
Man, I don't know why it ever gets put into question.
Him being last, was nuts.
Josh Allen's best sack rate season was 2.82. That was this past year.
It's the GOAT.
Yeah.
That
No, Payton's a
Pey-
goat.
the pocket presence we will never see again
Payton's a
from
goat.
Peyton and Brady. That is, and I say that because they had to be that good.
I mean, they're 1-2.
they needed to be that good.
Brady never had a sack rate as low as what Payne had. Brady's lowest sack rate in his career was 2.91.
Again, what it comes down to,
Josh
Josh
was
was
just-
2.8.
Yeah, Josh
what
is
it
a
comes down
2.8.
to is this.
Yeah.
He was smarter
Cerebral.
than every defense. He read your defense. He's like, all right, we're doing this, and he's getting the ball out quick as hell.
Facts.
He knew what time it was.
Yeah, their sack rates are pretty insane. You want this player's sack rate is 3.19, very elite number.
Who?
Jordan Love. This past
What
season.
about Tua?
Let's check.
I'm worried. But he gets the ball out.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he gets the ball out really quick.
Bro said
It's
Jordan
not-
Love. We're
it's
talking
not-
about legends. He said Jordan
It's not
Love.
gonna be high.
Like, be so serious.
Oh wait, and
That's Jordan Love's
Tua's
best stat.
sack rate last year was 5. The year before that, 4.92, 4.99, 4.9.
I'm
then
genuinely not shocked. That
Yeah.
offensive line's still bad.
It's 5.17 sack rate.
Yeah.
That's a all right number.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's not an elite number. It's a good number though. It is a good number. Now there was this tweet that came up on Twitter, and I wanted to talk about it on the show regarding Kevin Durant, and then also just talk about Kevin Durant and the Spurs rumor. But there was a tweet that somebody tweeted about how Kevin Durant, after leaving Golden State, has been underwhelming.
Shout out to Hannah.
Yeah, she tweeted that Kevin Durant
Hannah.
responded to her, and Kevin Durant disagreed, of course, with her
He's
statement.
hilarious.
But I also think that
He responded and said, I disagree. You want to debate?
I fuck with that.
I also think that Kevin Durant is 100% right, and I think that we often try to use team success to mask what an individual does. But I'm looking at Kevin Durant
Hey, basketball's a lot different.
after leaving Golden State. He's played in 5 seasons. He's averaging 28, 7 and 5, shooting 50, 40, and 88 from the line, almost 50, 40, 90. 4-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2 top 10 MVP finishes. And in the playoffs, he's averaging 30, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 49, 37, 88 splits. I just feel like Kevin Durant has been nothing short of incredible since rupturing his Achilles. And I think that when you take into account how serious of an injury that is and how players almost never come back for that, for him to come back from that and is still play at an elite level to where he's clearly been a top 10 player every year in the league, if not higher, since he's ruptured his Achilles, has been remarkable. Like, I think it's not been underwhelming. Like, what he's doing individually has been nothing short of remarkable. And then I look at the playoff series that he's lost in the second round, where in the Nuggets series, he wasn't the most efficient, but he still averaged 30 with like 8 rebounds. And then in the Bucks series, he averaged 35 points and 10 rebounds and like 5 assists.
Celtics series?
First round.
Minnesota
That was
series?
first
Oh,
round.
no, I'm just bringing that up.
Minnesota series.
Yeah, he has some series. I think the Boston series, he struggled the most, But overall, like, the knock on him is that he hasn't got into the conference finals. But in the second round, he has played at an elite level still. And the Suns team was just devoid of talent around him and Booker. And then the Nets, he just had injuries all around him, with Harden and Kyrie getting hurt, I think in game 3 or game 2 it was. So I just look at Kevin Durant. I think he's been sensational. And I've been very annoyed with the amount of Knicks fans that are attacking KD and they're hoping that the Knicks don't trade for him. Like, oh, you're a bad teammate, you're this and you're that. I think that Kevin Durant has just been scapegoated by the situation that he's been in, but he's clearly still an elite player. And for some reason, people are just overlooking at it and they're running with narratives when it comes to him.
Knicks fans would love and adore him the second he puts that uniform on.
Yeah.
They would treat him like he walks on water. I've seen the way they treat Brunson. I've seen the way they treat Karl Anthony Towns. I've seen the way that they treat Dante DiVincenzo. You're telling me that that Kevin Durant would not come to the Knicks and you wouldn't treat him like the second coming? 1,000% you would. Kevin Durant has been amazing. No doubt about it. I think the unfortunate part has been there's been moments that he picks up these weird injuries throughout a season. He'll miss a little bit of time, but he comes back and he's still the exact same player that he left. The issue is that the team around him has failed, and that is where he's 100% right. I agree with you, Joel. It is a team sport. Has there been moments where I felt like I want more from Kevin Durant? Yeah. The Minnesota series wasn't the greatest, even though he still was pretty good efficiently. The team around him wasn't great, but he still had his moments where he wasn't good. The series versus the Celtics, where Jason Tatum kind of took his lunch money. That was a really strong performance by Boston and probably the worst version of Kevin Durant that I've seen in a playoff setting.
Yeah.
It was a really bad showing for him, but what stands out the most to me and what I'll use to defend KD in this situation is the series versus the Bucks, where he was a one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. It is unfortunate that his foot was on the line. It is unfortunate that he went 0 in overtime because it robbed a lot of people's perception of what actually was a really strong showing by Kevin Durant. And I think that he makes good points about where he's tried to go and the situation seems to be good. That could be a knock on him, that he's not the best decision maker. Like, okay, maybe you wanted to go to the Nets. That didn't work out. You wanted to go to the Suns. That didn't work out. Now it seems as if he wants to go to the Spurs. It's kind of hard to see how that might not work out. That being said, you are the guy that has made some interesting decisions, some good, some not so good. You decided to put the ultimate burden on yourself by going, or you decided to put the ultimate target on your back when you went to Golden State. You obviously were uber successful, but you wanted to leave to prove a point. That's why people look at you and your tenure post Golden State, and that's why people look at it as overwhelming, or excuse me, they look at it as underwhelming, because Steph reached the mountaintop in 22. LeBron reached the mountaintop in 20. Giannis reached the mountaintop in 21. Jokic reached the mountaintop in 23. Tatum even has a title. Now SGA's about to have a title too. Your window to win a championship is very, very close to being zero. It's really dependent on where he decides to go this offseason or where he ends up going this offseason.
Did he prove a point leaving Golden State, or did he just not like Draymond no more? He didn't rock with him.
There was a little bit of both. It was like, oh no, you think you don't need me? Okay, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna go do my own thing.
His time in Golden State had run its course. There's no other way for me to look at it. It's kind of sad and disappointing how much NBA fans take what Kevin Durant did for granted. The Achilles tear for most athletes means they'll never be the same, and for some it ends their career.
Facts.
He missed an entire season, and he came back in 2021 and was arguably the best player in the world. And since then, he's gotten better in almost every single part of his game. And each and every single year, we've seen the teams around him or himself get injured consistently. in 2021, if one of Kyrie or Harden don't get hurt, they go to the finals that year. And all of the time in sports, we say, oh, this, that, and the third would have led to this, that, and the third happening. But that net team looked unstoppable before Kyrie got hurt. And I think it was game 3 or 4. And the years afterwards, those net teams were so poorly equipped, and specifically 2023 when they got swept by the Celtics, 2022 that was. You can pin it on Kevin Durant, but the following season, he gets hurt in the postseason right before in warm-ups with the Suns. But I think it's very sad that people can look at a player who got better off a career-defining injury and literally I think he was the best player in the world in that postseason, and people just seem to somehow forget that. Like it never happened. Like in that series, he didn't go bar to bar with Giannis, who was the Finals MVP that year, and he was the better player in that series. But because his supporting cast was worse, the Bucks end up winning that series. It's a team sport, and I look at where he's at now, and a lot of fans are kind of viewing him as a polarizing athlete for more ways than one. It really, to me, though, should not be taken for granted the type of player he's been at 36 years old, because to me, he's still a top 10 player in the world. But a lot of the attention goes to stars everywhere else.
Another Kevin Durant topic. I have to be sensitive, or I have to be careful in these conversations because of my biasness towards the situation. You guys mentioned it. You mentioned a lot of good stuff. You know, Achilles tear is definitely brutal. It's something that can hinder a guy's career, especially at that age. I believe he was
31.
31. You know, and it was unfortunate because they were on the cusp of three-peating, you know, and I think that's important in history. Not many teams could three-peat, you know, only Boston back in the day with Martin Luther King, the Lakers, Michael Jordan twice, you know, so it's not many teams that can three-peat, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. So when you three-peat, you get into a different type of conversation, and those Golden State teams were in, even if they didn't three-peat, they were in different type of conversations because of how great they were. So with Kevin Durant, if you're just talking individually, yes, he's done amazing things. I think what puts a sour to people's, you know, feelings is what Drew mentioned, how whether he left Golden State because he didn't like Draymond, or whether he left Golden State because he wanted to not be under the shadow of Stephen Curry, because that's what every podcaster, that's what every beat reporter, that's what everybody kept saying. This is Steph's team. Kevin Durant's jealous. Just a bunch of stuff that they probably made up. You know, these guys wanted to win. They won. Steph didn't care who was the best. Kevin Durant just wanted to play good basketball. He's spoken about that repeatedly. He just wanted to play fun basketball. That's what Golden State was. But sports beat reporters, ESPN, all that, they made it a bigger thing. Kevin Durant left. You have a standard to keep up. You have a standard to meet. I get it's a team sport, but NBA basketball is a sport where one player holds a shit ton of value to a team winning. And I think obviously there's opportunities where, like you mentioned, the Nets where Harden was injured, Kyrie got hurt. That was an opportunity where they could have won a championship. In Phoenix, it hasn't been all sunshines and rainbows. You know, the dysfunction over there, the team building over there. But at the same time, like you mentioned, Drew, it's like a little bit of both. You watched Steph Curry win another one. Watched him win prior. You choked. You watched LeBron win one in 2020. You know, you've watched Giannis win. You've watched the Joker win. Yes, Kevin Durant has been a top 10 player over the last 4 or 5 seasons, but he's probably one of the few top 10 guys where you look at and you're like, can he lead us to the promised land, or do we need another alpha? You know, is he the guy that can lead our locker room? Is he the guy that can be the guy? Like, of course he comes to play. He's give you that 30, efficient this, efficient that. But can he be the leader? Kevin Durant has spoken about how he doesn't want to be a leader. You know, so it's stuff like that that's been, you know, kind of weird. So I think people definitely underestimate how great Kevin Durant was. Kevin Durant's probably like a top 20, top 15 player of all time. You know, undoubtedly. You know, you can't name 15 and 20 players better. Obviously, there's moments in his career that's a bit sour. But at the same time, it always leads back to the decision he made in 2016 where he went to Golden State and he ended up winning with them. And that's always put his career in a different light. And I feel like because he didn't win a championship regardless, everything is going to be swiped under the rug, whether good, bad, great. He's never going to get the true praise after what he did.
No, he's not. I mean, that's why Shea right now could win a title and then be like the greatest OKC Thunder ever. You know, I think KD's a better player than him, but it's because,
Russ is Mr. Thunder too.
Yeah, Russ is Mr. Thunder. It's because of what he did. So I understand that. I also think that Kevin Durant, his longevity is overlooked because he's playing with LeBron in the same era. Like LeBron's longevity is just so crazy that it makes everybody else's longevity look normal. But usually a player really starts declining and stops being an elite player at like 34 years old.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah, that it usually happens pretty fast. So for him to still do it, and I think the craziest stat that showcases, I think, Kevin Durant's greatness is that he is averaging more points per game post Achilles injury than he averaged before he ruptured his Achilles.
Which is insane because he won 4 scoring titles in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
There was years where he averaged 30. He averaged 30.
Better shooter now.
One of the best shooters in the league. And now he's doing it now by pressuring the rim the same way because he doesn't have that same first step. He's shooting 55% from mid-range. When he does get to the basket, he's still finishing at an elite level.
Hey, that's 7 feet.
His three-point shot has improved as well. He's averaging 27.9 points per game after his Achilles, and before it was 27.
And people can't say that, oh, it's because he's taking this inefficient shot. I say that because Shea has been one of the leaders of taking...
It's only inefficient if you can't shoot it.
Exactly. If you're shooting a mid-range at 55%, why wouldn't I look at that shot and say, yeah, you should do that more than any other shot? The one complaint I can hear is that he's not attacking the paint as much or attacking the rim as much. I think that that's fair, but also at the same time, he is up there in age.
Hey.
Like that seems normal to me that he's not putting the pressure on the rim when he is this elite shooter.
Yeah, listen, people can say what they want about the mid-range, Hall of Famers, all-time greats, guys that are 5-time champions, 6-time champions, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, guys like Kawhi Leonard. Then come playoff time, they head right to that box. They head right to that mid-range game, and they go to work. And sometimes as an all-time scorer, even SGA, heads right to that mid-range, go to work. As an all-time scorer, you need that mid-range. Sometimes you need a little bit of everything because you need a variety of toolboxes because they're going to send a kitchen sink at you if you're a different type of player. And that's what they do, and Kevin Durant has the mid-range. So
we're going to rank, or you want to say something else, John?
No, but it is crazy he's turning 37 in September. Not that far from 40, still playing at an elite level.
Him, Steph, LeBron, shout out to them. Longevity. Chris Paul.
Chris Paul needs to be
Mike Conley to a degree.
James Harden.
Kyle Lowry's still around. Shout out to them guys. Kawhi.
I feel like the Nets would still be contenders right now had they just kept their team.
I agree.
Probably, yeah.
If they had KD, Kyrie, Harden, with Claxton and Cam Thomas coming off the bench.
Especially in the East, yeah.
I just don't see how they still
Even if
wouldn't
they just
be
kept
contenders.
KD and Kyrie, I feel like they still would have been a really
and
good
they
team.
built around those two. Like, I think the Nets got so impatient when it came to their stars. They could have still been in a contending window right now, and they got so impatient so quickly.
No, and I said it when it happened. I said I don't want to be the GM responsible for trading all three. It's good because they got their picks back at the minimum. Like, that's something you can hang your hat on if you are a Nets fan. It seems to be like they're going in the right direction. Then you have a draft lottery like this one where now you have the 8th pick. Sometimes you just get unlucky, even when you're trying to do all the right things.
Should the Bulls went like 3-4 straight years, the 7th, 8th.
Yeah,
pick.
that's why you can't take for granted having superstars.
Yeah.
The Nets took it for granted bad.
I think they did because they weren't homegrown. They
Yeah.
signed with them. If they had developed those players and draft them, there's more of an investment.
Yeah, there was
Be
no
patient.
attachment, even though it was
Yeah.
the most real success that they've seen since
Looking back
2000.
now. Yeah.
And also the owner just clearly had a problem with Kyrie Irving.
That too.
Yeah.
Like, it was
people
clearly
did.
it was clearly like just like, you know, he
was
couldn't
weird.
set that aside.
Kyrie didn't help himself, but I also think
They
there
didn't give him any
was
grace.
other things
They were very
that
strict
were
about
going
it.
against Kyrie as well.
Yeah, it was
Like,
too
again,
much.
there were some things Kyrie definitely didn't help himself.
Kyrie sat on the floor, feet crossed, like, we don't need a coach.
That was so dumb.
Yes, we don't
That-
need a coach.
yeah.
KD like, we
Yeah.
just play ball.
They did.
Yep.
Yeah, they
Yo,
definitely
I needed a coach
They definitely
badly.
Yeah, the hard-headedness on the anti-Semitism, that was bad.
They must have been high.
But the
It had to be high.
one thing I will give him the pass on is the COVID vaccine. Because other players who did not have
That
the
shit didn't
vaccine
make
could
sense.
come
They're
into
forced
Brooklyn
to,
and play,
yeah.
but he could not play in his own state, in his own city.
And I
because he
respect
didn't
him
have
for
it.
holding firm, like, nah, this ain't right. I'm not.
I do respect it to a
That don't
certain
make
degree
sense.
as well.
It didn't make sense. Like,
Everybody has their own beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't want to get it, it's fine. They shouldn't be forced to. Predict the 3 teams that will have the biggest offseason in the NBA. So my number 1 and 2 are pretty clear. My
Biggest
number 3,
off season.
yes, like they probably
Could
gonna
be
they're
good,
gonna
bad,
make
it's
the
just gonna be
biggest
big.
moves.
Phoenix Suns, man.
I
A
was
team
gonna-
that you think's
wow.
gonna really do a lot to maybe
Okay.
improve or maybe not.
To
improve
me,
this
number one, I would have the Rockets. I think the Rockets are in a prime position to make a big move because they saw how great their defense can be. They know they're a piece away on offense. Number two, believe it or not, I still believe it's going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think the Thunder realize they have a legitimate chance to solidify themselves as the best team of maybe the 21st century. There's a chance to be that with how much assets they have.
Ooh.
And I understand that there's been some amazing
It's
teams
hard.
in our time.
2017 Warriors.
And I want to say that more so on an organizational level because the
Mm-hmm.
2017-2018 Warriors obviously are OP. We understand that.
Fuck that. 2016, 2017
But
Warriors.
you look at how many assets the Thunder have, how amazing they are on top of the amount of assets that they have. And like I've said in the past, I believe this version of the Thunder is just scratching the surface of how genuinely amazing that they can be. They have so many different ways that they can get better next year. I'm going to put the Thunder at number 2, and number 3, I'm going to have the New York Knicks because they understood that they were extremely close to reaching their goal, and that was the NBA championship. I think that for the Knicks organization, their goal was 2 things: to beat the Boston Celtics and to make the Eastern Conference Finals, because you haven't done so in 25 years. They accomplished both of those goals. So for that, I'll give them the credit of having a successful season, but you guys know how I operate. You don't win a championship, to me, I'm still not counting as a success when you did what you searched out to do. And we thought that by beating Boston, that would be the final boss task, and then you disappoint us against the Indiana Pacers. There's obviously a window for them to be better next season, and with all the conversations of either a Kevin Durant, a Giannis Antetokounmpo, with Kevin Durant being one of the guys that they were trying to target at the trade deadline, they realized that there's an opportunity for them to get better as well. They fell short at the deadline, but I think that it's going to be their mission this offseason to go ahead and get the job done to get to that next level.
If you have OKC at 2, you think they're getting Giannis?
Fair enough. This was ranking. I'm just listing 3 teams.
Okay, sure.
I think that if I'm going in the ranking of who I think will make the best moves, I still would go Rockets 1. I would go Knicks 2, OKC 3. I have 3 because I think that OKC, of all the teams that have a chance to get Giannis, the team with the best package, with the best chance to get him, is Oklahoma City.
So if you're OKC, you win a championship, you would still go get Giannis.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think
However,
they stayed pat at the
if
deadline.
they decided to do that, I'd understand.
Me too. I think they stayed pat at the deadline, rocked with their team, they won a championship. I could see them maybe making like marginal moves, but for the most part, running it back. For me, number 1 is Phoenix. I just have this gut feeling they're both going. Like I really do firmly believe both of them will be traded before the start of the 2025-2026 season. Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting
You heard
confused.
about Devin Booker's 2-year extension, right?
Yeah, and I
He'll
think
get 76
I think he'll get the
million.
money, but I think like you're in a situation, and I understand Devin Booker and Mars made this tweet. Shout out to Mars, it was a great tweet. He said something like, I don't know it in verbatim, but he was like, the guys that are between the 14th to 20th ranked guys that are probably gonna get supermax contracts are hard to build around because those are the guys you don't build around, but they're gonna get the franchise money, but they're not going to be getting the top 10 expectations. I think Devin Booker is of that, where I think he's at an age where if you plop him into a foundation already, he can be your guy. But I don't think he's at that age where you can start over again. And I think that's where the Suns need to be. They're incomplete. Like, I think they can retool and maybe be like a 8th seed, 7th seed in the West. But do you really, like, if you're Devin Booker, do you really want to go through that again? You know, if you're Devin Booker, do you want to sit through another couple years of bottom of the West or, you know, the lottery and stuff like that? I think he tasted winning. I think he's tasted losing too much. And I think he wants to get his money. I think he will get his money. But I think he also wants to win. And I think he's a guy that's going to see. I don't see Kevin Durant being here past the lottery.
No.
Like, past the draft.
He's going to get traded.
Like, Kevin Durant's getting traded. And I think Phoenix, if they trade Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they will get a haul. And I think that's, for me, that's number 1. Number 2 for me is probably the Pelicans. I think they're sneaky. I think they're a team that you can sneaky see make some moves. I think they're not fully bought in to their core. And I know we've talked about it a ton about them having a plethora of talent. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones is one of the best role players in the league. Zion Williamson, you still have him. I think C.J. McCollum's a quality role player too. But I also think they're in this situation where you can't stay healthy. And being that you can't stay healthy, you still have talent, but you still have talent that's like, you still have this puzzle that's still trying to figure out what piece goes where. And I think they're like sitting there like, what do we do? I think this is a team that has a ton of talent that could be moved. Number 3 for me is Boston. I could see Porzingis and Drew getting moved this offseason for money purposes. I could see them having a real shot at getting Giannis. I don't think they will, but I think they do have a real shot at getting him. If the Bucks plan on maybe wanting to retool or something like that, they have the players for it. But Boston being as if they're going to move Porzingis this offseason, they probably might move Drew. And if you move those two guys who were being in talks for being low, well, Porzingis was definitely an all-star caliber player. Drew probably on the low spectrum, like the bridge between high quality starter and
quality role player.
Yeah, like high quality starter and then like low end all-star. He's like the bridge between that. You're moving two really important pieces that just helped you propel you to a championship. So those are my 3 teams.
So I kind of separated this from buyers and sellers. Because I think this all season is going to be the busiest we've seen since 2019. There's 3 expected buyers to me, teams I think should go out and actively seek ways to upgrade. Those teams are going to be the Warriors, the Knicks, the last one is the Rockets. My 3 sellers, I had the Pelicans in a TBD range with a new GM that has not drafted any of these players, has no loyalty to them. What do you do with Trey Murphy? What do you do with Herb Jones? And do you keep Zion? Because I would at this point. There's so many different layers with the Zion storyline I want to get into. My 3 sellers, which are my 3 teams that I expect to be the most active. Number 3 is going to be the Bucks. Dame's going to be out the entirety of next season. You don't have a team nearly good enough to build around Giannis, partly because you have a point guard making $60 million to not play. So I think Giannis does get traded this all season. And my main landing spot for him would be the Knicks. It's going to require them, though, getting up a boatload, every single draft pick they can, plus players. Number 2 for me is going to be the Phoenix Suns. Like you highlighted, I think they trade both stars this all season. I strongly believe Durant plays last game with the team. And if I were the Suns GM and they're moving on, a new head coach, new GM, it makes no sense for them to keep Devin Booker the way they've not been able to build around him, with exception to those few years with Chris Paul. I think it's been the D-Book era in Phoenix is more around its course to me because they can't build around him. I'll look to trade him to the Rockets to get their picks back. But the number 1 team to me is going to be the Boston Celtics because it's going to be 2 more years until we see Jason Tatum back playing playoff basketball. Now, the Celtic team's already over the second apron, well over, to a point where I think we talked about this a month ago. A player like Sam Hauser is making $10 million. Will be an $80 million check for their new owner. And when you look at the current players that they have, Drew Holiday is 34, Derek White, who's turning 30, they do not provide the same value to you without Tatum as they would to another team like the Warriors that's trying to get that last piece. So I think there's a possibility this all season the Celtics surprise a lot of people. They don't trade Porzingis because his value is at an all-time low. Why are you going to move him now? And they do move not only Drew Holiday, but a player as good as Derek White as well to get as many picks as they can. You get 4 or 5 picks ideally.
4?
Maybe
For Drew, maybe if he doesn't
Oh, you're
retire,
saying
you
both?
get
Oh, I'm sorry.
in separate deals.
I'm sorry.
The hope would be 4.
Mikal Bridges went for 4. Derek White could go for
And
four,
they
four,
look to
excuse me, for
Nets
retool,
fleeced.
and they look to retool their entire roster around Tatum and Brown by getting under the second apron. You get yourself financial flexibility. You get yourself an abundance of draft picks, and the Celtics basically rip apart half of that championship
Actually,
team.
if I'm Golden State, I'll definitely send 3 for Derek White.
100%.
Yeah.
I would do it for the
Actually,
Lakers.
Maybe there's a
You got
a
4.
third team in there.
Yo, do you think the Celtics would take Reeves and a first
You
for
have to
Derek
stop.
White?
Like at some point,
Dude,
the
If
money
only
doesn't even
sometimes.
the money doesn't even work. Derek White makes 30.
I love Reeves, but
And dude, no, 1 first in AR.
dude,
Troll.
can we stop underrating AR?
Derek White clears.
Derek White's trade value is very high.
Clears. So what does he do to Garland?
What do you mean? Garland clears AR.
Okay, I agree with that. That being said, I don't know if he clears actually upon second thought.
That's a bad second thought.
Actually,
no, he doesn't clear him. He doesn't
I
clear him.
maybe. Austin Reeves in a first round pick. It's not the worst.
Yeah, I
package.
know.
I scoffed it at first, but you had
not
an extra
awful.
first because he's
For
on a great
Derek
contract.
White,
His contract's 4 for 56.
Come on.
you can get
You have to
Derek
pay
White.
Derek White soon.
You can get Derek White
You
for
gotta
way
pay
more
Reeves
than that,
too.
dude.
yeah, you got to pay
Reeves
both.
you can get Derek White for way more than AR in the first.
How
I
many
agree.
people are giving
Hey.
you what AR can give you?
What? No defense and offense? A good amount.
Like great offense.
Good amount.
It's great offense.
How many people can give you a Derek White can give you?
Not many.
I
man.
blinked. White got the extension last all season. So,
Yeah,
I don't think it's terrible.
I kind of think they just trade Drew and Porzingis.
No, I think Derek White. You could argue untouchable.
No
you could
way.
argue he's untouchable.
You gave him two
No
first-round picks in AR. It's a very good package.
You went from,
Two decent first,
From the Lakers? They're probably
From
going to
the
be
Lakers,
the playoffs.
no.
That's what
Like
I'm
the
saying.
theory of having like a top.
Oh, we
50
can't just make
yeah.
shit up. No, it's the Lakers picks.
Yes and no.
Sorry.
Yeah, Luka now. So
That's true.
picks are valuable.
Thank you.
You're not troll.
The three
It was
teams that I
valuable.
think is going to have the biggest off seasons. Number 3, I got the Timberwolves. They have the 17th overall pick, the 31st overall pick, and Nas, Randall, and Alexander Walker are all pieces they could use in potential trades. So I think that alone gives them a lot of options on how they want to approach this offseason. Number 2, the Houston Rockets. They have young talent. They have the picks. They have the 10th overall pick from the Suns. They have the Suns' future picks. They have their own picks as well. I think that they're in a position to make a big-time move. And number 1, I'm surprised none of you guys mentioned it. I'm going with the San Antonio Spurs.
I don't know.
I
You're
think
right,
the
yeah.
Spurs realize that Victor Wembanyama is already an elite top 10 player in the league, and they have the 2nd overall pick. They have the 14th overall pick from the Hawks, and they have a ton of young players that you can match salary with. Like Devin Vassell and Harrison Barnes is making $17 million per year. You
19.
can 19.
Yeah.
He's around 17, 19 million per year area. The Spurs have the assets to go make a move, and I think they could realistically go out and get Kevin Durant without using that 2nd overall pick and having the big 3 of Fox, KD, and Wemby. And I think that sounds intriguing. Or they could go big fish hunting and just go out and get Giannis. But I think more realistically, maybe they could get Kevin Durant for not that much of a price. Like I think a trade package with the Suns, it would look a lot like this. It would look like the Suns getting Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Harrison Barnes, and the 14th overall pick.
For who?
KD.
If he forces his way there, that's a good package. He's only got 1 year left in his deal.
I think Keldon has like 2 years left.
Let me ask you guys a
Keldon's
question.
dead money.
Would it be the most insane thing to see De'Aaron Fox get traded?
They should trade him.
I'm
No.
being
No, they
genuine when
should.
I say this.
No.
Do
That'd
you
be funny
need,
as
do you
hell.
need
No.
De'Aaron Fox?
Bro, they're gonna give him a 30% max, and I don't believe it because the amount
That'd
of
be
money
funny
they're
as
paying
shit.
him. I don't believe it's the best thing for Wemby long term.
No.
That'd
You're
be
immediately
Yo,
accelerating that
I
timeline.
mean, if you draft
but they
Dylan-
traded him. They
You
traded
draft
him.
Dylan. You package.
You could trade Fox for
De'Aaron-
KD.
I would be very
Ooh.
patient. I wouldn't even.
You don't even got to do it, KD. Yo, that-
You know
for
what?
KD, yeah.
then
you
you
know
got
what?
Harper,
Fox in the
Castle,
first,
KD,
yeah,
Yo,
Wemby.
That doesn't sound better than Fox, KD.
Promise
and
you it does.
Wemby.
but I'll be honest.
Maybe
the
long
long
term,
term, exactly.
But I'm thinking right now, like the trade
Dylan
package
Harper's better than Fox.
that
We
I
don't know
listed
that
out.
yet. Stop. We might.
The Spurs would still have Fox, Castle, Vassell, KD, Wemby,
Vassell does
and then
not
they
move
would draft
me.
Dylan Harper. They would have a lot of good
I need a
players
backup
still.
big.
I need Vassell.
Can we
to
get
go.
a backup
They need
big?
an extra big.
I need Vassell to go.
not a
No,
great fit.
no.
They need
not
a
a
shooting.
bad player.
He's not that
They need the
good.
shooting.
6 man
Oh,
off
he's a
the
good
bench
player.
this
He's not
year.
that
He
good.
will
They need the
cook.
shooting,
Please.
He's not that good.
He's
That's
a
a-
good player.
His
That's
shooting is
nuts.
inconsistent.
All right.
Was he shooting 37% from 3 this year?
It's so up
That's
and down.
good.
You don't like a starting lineup of Fox, Castle, Vassell, KD, and Wemby?
That's
No,
too
I feel like fast.
I
Vassell,
almost said
sorry,
it's,
we
I
eat
almost
up
said it's too
shot
small,
attempts.
but like
It's not.
it's just Vassell at the 3.
KD's already playing a 4.
You're right.
Vassell to eat up shot attempts. I don't want that.
Vassell can go
Or
down
they
in
just
shot attempts.
spot up and shoot.
Oh, that's not really his game.
That's what they got Harrison Barnes for, who might be a piece in one of these trades.
Yo, old but
He's
solid.
32, but he's very stellar as like a 5th starter. But the De'Aaron Fox deal, there was kind of like an agreement between them that they're going to extend him. But when they made that trade, they didn't know they're getting the 2nd overall pick. And I'm high on Dylan Harper, but it's less about the player. And years ago, we had this conversation with Jaylen Brown, the Celtics, and giving him a supermax deal. But De'Aaron Fox, I don't think he's a good enough difference maker to be worth the 30% max when you're supposed to maximize Wemby. And when you look at the Thunder, it's been patience. It's been maximizing assets. It hasn't been splurging for stars in the now. Because quite frankly, I think Fox is a good player, but I don't look at him as like a top 20 to 25 guy that is going to take them to immediately contending next season. So I will look to trade him before I give him $200 million.
I'd wait it out and I'd give it one season. Like if I go
I'd give it one
if I go
season.
get
Well,
KD, like
is contracted. That,
Yo,
that
also,
deal's coming now. This
Giannis
offseason.
also said, "I look forward to playing with the Bucks next season."
I don't believe that shit one bit. I don't believe it.
but also
With
also
who, Taurean
John,
Prince?
like to be honest, when it comes to like the whole De'Aaron Fox thing with the Spurs, I get in theory you never want to lose a player for nothing. What the Spurs traded to get Fox was essentially nothing.
Yeah, it was not much.
Like it was essentially nothing to where like I would, even if he walks in free agency and I don't extend him beforehand, I wouldn't be like, damn,
Right.
we didn't get anything
You
for
have
De'Aaron
none of
Fox
your
back.
premium
Yeah, they
picks
didn't
or
give up
players.
any premium picks.
Yeah.
I think
They
the
still have the Hawks pick.
they gave
Yeah.
Zach
They have
Collins
2 and
though.
11,
I think
right?
that's who they gave up. They
Yeah.
gave up Zach Collins. That
Mhm.
was like
2
the
firsts.
best player, and Trey Jones. It's like at that point, you know, I'll let Fox test free agency, and if he doesn't get what he wants on the market, maybe we just re-sign him on a cheaper deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I wouldn't be tripping to like maybe I got to trade this guy now before I have to pay him. I just I'd let it go. I let it rock.
You think the Bucks would bring Bobby Portis to the Spurs?
Yeah, it's a potential option.
I need a big that can space next to
I think
Wemby.
we
But I
another
love the big
defender.
three of Fox, KD, and Wemby.
Love,
With that 14th
I
pick,
love it.
love.
like Colin Murray
Yes,
Boyles a
I
lot.
think it would be awesome.
I
If he's there.
really.
At 13?
14 if he's there.
I don't know if he'll fall that far.
I don't want to get caught in semantics.
Like in
I like
a
it.
situation where
'Cause I
De'Aaron
love
Fox, he doesn't have to settle for jump shots and he can just drive to the rim and pressure the basket and he has that spacing around him. I like it a lot.
It's cool. It's cool.
It is cool.
It's cool.
It's damn
Now,
cool.
how does he play off the ball? That's going to be
That's
something
what I'm
that they have to
wondering.
monitor.
Because with Castle in the mix, I would prioritize him too long term because I think he's like a perfect third option. I just don't think Fox is a great fit in San Antonio. I feel like you'd have to really kind of build around him more when your focus is finding the best complementary
You
players to
need
Wemby.
spacing in San Antonio.
Yeah.
However, Kevin Durant provides that.
And Fox is also a good defender. He has size to him too. Like I think a fit that everybody was enamored with for a long time was like Trae Young to like San Antonio.
Mhm.
Because he
And-
can throw lobs and
Yeah, and like as a playmaker, he's way better than De'Aaron Fox, but he's also like one of the worst defenders in the league. And
better.
No.
He's gotten
Can't
better
really
on
play
defense.
off
he
the
does
ball.
have Wemby
He's
back there.
undersized, but he
He
gives
puts
effort.
Yeah, he's gotten better.
He's
on the
undersized.
There's a narrative they
doesn't
Unfortunately,
make him not
effort,
bad.
it can't help his size. That's
No,
the
you're
unfortunate
right,
part.
but-
it doesn't make him not bad.
There's
He's still
Wemby
bad.
back there, though. So,
It's hard to be bad with him behind you.
I guess.
Yeah, unless you pull him out the paint.
Where
Fuck
does
Castle,
Where does
calm
De'Aaron
down.
Fox rank? Like
Castle's an
40th
amazing
player in the
That's
defender.
what
league?
I'm saying.
yeah.
That's
We got
good.
players, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
but
different times in San Antonio.
Well,
I don't want to say we're
where
up.
does
but
Fox rank? Where?
in the NBA.
Top 40.
That's what I'm thinking.
I was throwing a number out. I could be wrong.
Like when you're the best player on the team, I
Shit,
think
wait.
that it's not
He's-
good enough to rank top
He's
40.
top 40.
Yeah, maybe.
He's top 40.
When you are the third
not
best
top.
player on the team, being where De'Aaron Fox ranks is perfectly
100%.
I agree.
100%.
He is
But
the
when you're
third
the
guy.
third guy, you have to fit perfectly.
We the
And
third
he
guy
can
getting
defend.
paid the second most,
He's-
though. It's like,
Yeah, he's a solid defender.
And he
For
can
a
pressure
point
the
guard,
rim.
Yeah, he can.
I
But
don't
he
know,
doesn't
man.
get to the rim nearly as
I
much as he
just
used
will
to.
say,
Now
if
he's
they,
more mid-range heavy scorer.
It wasn't that long ago though. I still feel like he could get to the rim.
he can
Like,
still
maybe.
get to the rim.
if they trade De'Aaron Fox,
That should
it
be
will be
hilarious.
one of the
See-
funniest moves in recent memory.
See, this is my thing. I don't think he's a top 10 point guard. And I don't.
No.
I want to go through it real quick. Luka, Shea, Steph, Brunson, Tyrese, Cade, Trey, Kyrie, Garland, Dame, John Morant. And then Harden, I would probably
De'Aaron
take.
Fox not better than Garland?
At
No.
what?
He's not better. at point guard.
Basketball.
Like what?
Basketball.
No,
Like
tell me a
what?
skill he's better at.
Like a legit skill.
defense,
Okay.
That's like the
Um,
seventh most important thing in your point guard.
getting to the basket.
Okay.
He doesn't
He's not a
get to
better
the- He doesn't get to the
finisher.
basket a whole lot.
You know what?
Not that much.
His efficiency still is really good at the
Not
basket.
better than
Not better
Garland's.
than Garland's.
What's Garland's efficiency at the basket?
He was really efficient this year.
Well, at the basket is not close. Fox is better at the
Yes.
basket.
As
doesn't-
a jump shooter, not close. It's
Garland clears as a jump shooter and a passer though.
Basically,
And
the
ball
most
handler.
important
And
things
ball
of a
handler.
point
Yeah,
guard.
and a ball handler.
But
yeah.
attacking and putting pressure on the rim.
Garland can put pressure on the rim.
That's my thing. He
It's okay, bro.
when they
I know you hate him,
when they
but
won
you don't gotta-
I don't
46
hate him.
games,
I don't hate him.
he was getting to the rim a lot. But since then, he's gone to the rim far less, and he's been a more
What was
mid-range oriented
Garland's finishing
scorer.
this year?
I also
Man.
think that's in due part because the spacing on the Kings is not good. And I think that's a big part because of the players they thought they were going to develop into better jump shooters, or they thought were jump shooters, were not.
Yeah,
De'Aaron
Keegan
Fox
did
this year-
decline as a shooter.
31% on catch and shoot threes. The year before, 39%.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
31.
That's
Wait,
like
what was
Drew.
last year?
31
This
or
past
39.
season was
Shooter again.
31%. Last year was 39%.
It's a drop off.
I think he's in the middle of
Like
that.
hell.
He would need to just work entirely in the offseason, like on just catch and shoot jump shots. Like that's his offseason regime. He got to do.
Yeah. So,
But
De'Aaron Fox this last season got to him 28. Wait, hold up. 28% of his shot attempts. The year before that was 23, and the year before that was 19% of his shot attempts.
Oh, so he's just more aggressive to get.
So
to
this
the rim
year
now.
he was a little bit more, but it's kind of like lost season in San Antonio. So the last 2 years he really wasn't getting to the rim much.
What's his efficiency? I needed that.
Hey,
It's pretty
Garland was 61% at the rim this year.
It's really good.
For a 6'1" guard, it's
Really
kind of
good.
fire.
De'Aaron
Perfectly
Fox
in the
was like
glass.
75.
He was
Oh, yeah.
61% this year, but 69, 67% the 2 years before, which is very good. But it's more so the frequency and like the rim pressure. I'm kind of disappointed with watching him play.
Yeah, he is settling for a lot of jump shots.
He's a good mid-range scorer, but he's not like a D-book or Hawaii
No.
level mid-range.
Those
shooter.
are buckets. Those are bucket getters, man. Fox ain't a bucket.
You ever think about how Kawhi turning into a bucket getter is like one of the craziest developments?
turn to elite shooter?
Like how he turned into that is scary.
And now people think that just any random role player that plays well in the playoffs is Jalen Brunson. Is the next Jalen Brunson.
I know what you're saying. Like, who's going to be
Like
the next?
how every
yeah.
3-and-D archetype is like. I think that Nembhard is so far from Brunson.
It's not even close. He'll never be that. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
God damn it.
Bless
Brunson had a 40 ball when he was the guy with the Mavericks when Luka was out in the playoffs.
Nembhard had a 30-point triple-double on y'all as a rookie with that alley one night.
you.
I'll
I
never.
promise you, Nembhard just.
I remember. I was pissed that
I just
game.
can't be
Can-
moved by him.
He,
can't
Nembhard?
I can't be.
He's so tough.
He's a good player.
He's a very damn good player.
Like, he's a good role player.
Wait,
He's
you
also
don't
the
think he's a
second
good
point
player?
guard. He's a
He's
second point
good,
guard
but
on the
like
Who's the
talent.
better offensive player? Just offensive player. I'm not talking about defense. Payne Pritchard or Nembhard?
Payne Pritchard.
like not close.
Now, Payne is nuts. Like, Payne is nuts. Give me Payne.
Nembhard literally showed up,
Hey, wait.
and I will give him his respect, Riv. He showed up
All last year.
for, let's just say, 18 games this year. Let's just say, I'm not sure how many games they played. Let's just say it's 18. And let's say 18 games last year. Maybe a little less, so let's go 12.
in the playoffs.
Yes, let's just say.
That's important.
And he's played really well in those
Like in the regular
moments.
season, a little shaky.
Shaky?
A little shaky.
Less than shaky.
What can you do? What do you want more?
I want some
I mean,
consistency.
I get. I agree with you, but like, you're not. He's getting paid 18 mil. What are you really asking from him?
You're not wrong, but like, I don't know. I would rather it be this. I would
Yes,
rather it be what he's doing
100%.
now.
100%. Like,
Especially-
if you really want to question somebody, what the fuck is Benedict Mathurin doing?
You're,
He's had some. He's had some.
he's
Big
had
nights.
moments.
He's
He's
had
had
big-
moments.
Yeah, he's
but
also
like,
had some.
He's not wrong.
All right.
He's not wrong.
He was a
I
top
get what
10
you're
pick.
saying,
He's
John.
a spark plug. He's a top 10
That's the
pick.
fucking problem.
Yeah, that is the problem.
He's still getting meaningful minutes as a very good
Sometimes
six
he
man on a
doesn't.
team that's in the finals.
Sometimes he doesn't.
And Nembhard to kind of
Meaningful minutes in the finals. Now wait a
to
minute. I don't think I
rebuttal
saw
your
him
point-
20 minutes in
to
2 games.
rebuttal your point, he's had some big outbursts. To rebuttal your point about Nembhard, he was
Uh-huh.
hurt to start the year. Was on a minutes restriction
Hold on,
for a
hold
little
on,
bit.
hold on, hold
And
on.
what did he do when he was healthy?
He played 65 games and shot 28% from three.
Thank you.
Hold on.
65 is a decent amount of games to understand his sample size. For him to do what he's been doing in the playoffs, good for him. Like, genuinely, he's been really good.
John.
Who are we looking at? Benedict?
Yeah, Benedict Mathurin. I'm not.
He's been up and down. He's been up and down.
He's like a
He had
3-inch taller
2 good
Cam
games
Thomas.
with New York.
Yep.
He had 23 points, 20.
Really good.
And one time he had 20 points in 12 minutes.
That's
That's
amazing.
what I'm talking about.
Game before, 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
He has good scoring output sometimes.
They're a deep team.
He's inconsistent.
Yeah, this is not what I want.
He had back-to-back 20-point games in the conference.
He also had back-to-back 0 and 2-point games.
Spark plug man.
He did say spark plug.
You did. But
Yeah,
like, he's
he
a
did.
top 10 pick.
Oh, by the way, 20 points and 8 shots. Just want to let you know.
No, I just read that. I'm with you.
Jarris
I'm with
Walker
you.
was a top 10 pick. He
Yeah,
barely
he's
plays.
barely playing on this team. And he's still been productive. He shot 40%
moments.
small volume. So
Like, this
I mean,
finals, he had 14 points last
they're
game,
playing-
14 minutes a game.
they're
For.
playing valuable rotation roles off the bench on a very deep team that's in the finals.
Yo,
I'm not gonna
Mathurin
be
had
critical.
this
But
crazy
John, am I
three last
bugging
game.
to ask of more?
Do you remember the
They
shot
come off
I'm
the
talking
bench.
about?
Where they,
Was
you
it
got
in
a lot
the
of
corner?
good players
Yes.
in
I
front
feel
of
like that's
us.
a problem.
Yeah, that was
How
a
the
good shot.
fuck did that go in?
You said it's disappointing, but
That's
He's
what I'm
good.
saying. Like, am I tripping for asking more of a top 9 pick to eventually be a part of the rotation fully? Because right now it's up and down, up and down.
No, yeah,
Sometimes
you
he
should
ends
be. I mean, it's like the Rockets.
same thing with
Jalen Green.
Jarris, but Jarris is a year behind. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm asking for. Because like you got guys like Neesmith, who's not homegrown. Nemhart's homegrown. If I'm not, yes, he is homegrown. He's with them. Hallie, Miles Turner's like the long homegrown dude. You know what I'm saying? TJ McConnell, like all vets for the most part, the young players. But I feel like for a team like Indiana, who's not going to be big in the getting a superstar probably, or not this big market, I should want to expect a little bit more from their top 10 picks in Jairus and Mathurin. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
And that's going to do it for this episode of the Pick a Side Podcast, episode 491. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.